Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Like I think that CIA guy on with the hair.
Yeah.
And
What do you think of that guy?
So after the pod,
I guess we're up. Let's go.
you want to go?
We're rolling.
Let's do it.
Go.
Okay. So he came on, and he was very like forthcoming. First of all, he's very charming. But like when you're talking to anybody who's worked for the CIA, you're looking at him through the same lens as you look at like a therapist.
Right.
Where it's like, wait, are you analyzing? Like what's going on?
What's going on here?
Very charming, very smart, very like seems to really know what's going on in the world. But like straight up told us, he's like, yeah, the CIA, you know, I guess one of the advantages I have is like I'm pretty close to a sociopath. Like I'm not there, but like I don't feel the same emotions that everybody feels. There's like a lack of guilt, but I know when I should feel it in these moments.
Whoa.
But that's a huge advantage. Imagine if you're trying to like find assets and flip assets.
Yeah.
If you and I like build a relationship with somebody and we like feel empathy for them,
Right.
maybe we wouldn't be able to say, hey, now it's time for you to cough up the information or else.
Right.
But somebody else in that position might. So I would imagine if you're the fucking CIA, you're like, okay, we're looking for people who have gone through these things in their life that have curated this kind of like personality type.
Well, isn't it just like part of the gig? Like here's a for instance, like your bit about Puffy.
How you're going to connect these two fucking dots?
That bit is like, look, you don't have any real personal beef with Diddy, but it's got to go down. The bits are there. I'm a gold miner. I just found some gold.
You're right. Maybe I'm a sociopath.
It's not that you're a sociopath. It's just that that's part of the gig.
Yes.
Like, you're not a sociopath with your friends.
No, I think I'm maybe an empath.
Yes.
But I guess it's one of those things where like you justify, you go, okay, I think this person might have done something bad.
Yes.
And he can get jokes, and we're all going to tell jokes.
Yeah.
I'm not pressing fucking
Well,
charges.
not only that, you're not the guy who's out there like calling the New York Times, hey, you know what I heard about
By
Diddy?
the way, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You're just
Yeah.
like, it's there. I mean,
Yes,
it's not
yes,
just
yes,
there.
yes, yes.
It's everywhere. My fucking news feed is dominated by it.
Yes.
Fox News, CNN,
Yeah.
everyone. There's raids at Diddy's house.
Yeah.
Who was the guy that was
Raids
running
are
around
crazy.
with a sports bra on? Did you see that one dude?
No, this is in L.A.?
Oh my God! I gotta send
Wait,
you
while
this.
the
Yeah.
raids are happening?
Yeah. He got caught up in the raid and he was yelling, "I'm a celebrity! I'm a celebrity!" It was like one of the most hilarious clips. Hold on, I'm gonna find you this. It's so funny. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jamie?
But you bring up a good point, which is like, are there ever situations where you feel you won't...
Wait till you see this.
Let me see.
He's wearing a sports bra. Hold on, we're gonna play it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, put your headphones on so you can hear it.
Saucy Santana.
Oh,
Yeah,
Saucy.
Look at this.
Wearing what appears to be a black sports bra, red tights, and the performer's signature trim beard and long eyelashes.
yeah, this is... Joe, this is Saucy
The music
Santana.
artist was
Yeah, look at him. Look
This
at him.
guy's...
Look at
Oh,
him.
wow. Saliva on the beard is crazy.
Saliva on
He
the
definitely
beard.
came from a Diddy party.
Yeah. Well, he was at Diddy's house.
I bet he was.
So I guess Diddy just kept people at his houses because he's got
Listen.
multiple houses and he's just had freak out part. Look at him. Look at Saucy
Yeah.
Santana. Go, Saucy.
Yeah. No, Saucy's crazy. Have you
Go,
seen Saucy twerk?
I didn't even know Saucy existed until I saw that video.
Oh, Saucy can throw it down.
This is Booty by Saucy Santana.
Saucy
Oh,
Yo,
Jesus, Saucy.
I love
Give me
it.
some of this.
I don't even know if it's Diddy's artist, but
Well,
Saucy's like a popular figure in
They're
music.
staying at his house.
No, Diddy's in a tricky situation.
Boy,
Diddy's in a
that's the
tricky
understatement
situation.
of the year.
Yeah, Diddy's in I think it's over.
You think it's over?
I think it's over for him as like a figure in entertainment.
Right. But do you think
Like,
it's over as him as far
going
as
to jail?
like he gets a cell right next to R. Kelly?
I don't think so. I don't think
Really?
he gets
I
locked
think he
up.
skates.
I think he skates. Or he goes to
Really?
like Bali.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a move, huh?
I mean, Russell's out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Is he been formally charged, or does he just know that the shit is out there?
I think there's just so much shit out there.
Bro, I think those rappers did some wild shit.
I mean, it was,
Especially in the 90s.
music business. It's a lot of people.
It's not just the music business. It's like, it's the extortion business.
Well, I mean, the rap game was crazy. That's a thing a lot of people don't realize is like, back in the day, especially like early rap game, you weren't just going to play at, what's the random theater that you would play in LA? What's like a big theater? I'm trying to think. The Orpheum or something like that. The Wiltern. Some guys were explaining to me, he was like, you would play at the local hood club. There was like a hood club that you could perform at. And then that was owned by the local drug dealer that was washing money there.
Right.
So this is where the idea of like checking in comes from. Have you heard of this term?
Yes.
Like checking in was basically like, hey, I want to make sure we're good because you're going to pay me. And if I don't check in, you might rob me because you're putting me up at the hotel and you know everything that's going on. And you're a drug dealer. So you don't play by the rules.
Right. When you come to Houston, you're checking in with certain people.
Mr. Prince.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prince.
Yeah.
You don't got to check in, Joe.
You got to check in, say
Joe
hi.
don't gotta check in.
I'm not in that business. I say hi.
You've had him on here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a legend in the game,
He's a
dude.
legend. Out of respect, I say hi.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So what is like, yeah. How does a guy like him, like I'm trying to think, like how do you navigate that to the point where people have this like respect and fear because of what they assume you've done in the street world,
Right.
but you're also operating legitimately
Yeah.
and nobody can get you.
They
Like,
try.
They try.
Boy, they
nonstop.
tried with him many times.
And do you think they just give up?
I don't think they have anything. If they had something, they would have brought it. If they have something on a guy like that, they try to get him.
That's the thing.
But
with,
he's clever.
Oh,
He's playing many levels. He's like one of those dudes. You ever see a chess tournament where a guy walks in and there's 10 different players and he just walks and goes to each move and goes to the next board and makes a move, goes to the next board, makes a move, then he beats everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
So where does a guy like that learn that? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Streets.
Yeah.
He learns that. It's all about keeping people close.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
Giving respect. Getting respect.
Yeah.
Making sure that you cover all your statements.
Yeah, like if you say something, you have to make sure you do it.
You cover it. Yeah.
100% of the time. And there's probably times in his life where he's went, like if it's poker, he probably went all in a few times. Not in terms of money, but like this decision makes or breaks me.
Yeah.
I wonder how many make or break moments he's had.
Well, it depends on what's actually true and what's not true in terms of accusations. Because if some of the accusations are true, that kind of covers things. When folks vanish. When someone does abracadabra,
See you later.
folks vanish.
Yeah, that's effective. That fear is effective, man.
100%.
Yeah.
And it should be. Because, listen, all the shit that's going on right now in the world, in America, we get so soft and we think none of that shit's going to happen here. All that murder, war, drones, assassinations, that's not going to happen here unless you know the Clintons.
Yes.
Unless you know some shit.
Yes.
Unless you know some shit about old Bill. And then you wind up shooting yourself in the chest while hanging from an extension cord.
Wait, did that happen?
Oh, yeah? You don't know that guy?
Shot himself
This is
in
a
the
guy-
chest. Joe, that seems really hard to do.
With a shotgun. This
Yeah,
is
how
a
do you
guy-
do such a thing?
While you're hanging. This is a guy that brought Epstein to the White House at least 7 times.
What's his name?
We'll find out. So they found him at a ranch 30 minutes from his house, hanging by an electrical cord from a tree with a shotgun wound to the chest. Shotgun discovered near the body of former Clinton aide Mark Middleton, and then they called it a suicide. Wow. 12-gauge shotgun was 30 feet from the body of Mark Middleton. Was he found dead?
Okay, so who orchestrates this? Is this the same thing where does Clinton go, hey, this guy needs to go, or do the powers that be around a powerful person go, we already know what needs to happen?
Well, I think they know if a dude is in contact with someone or has been talking or is about to talk.
Meaning cooperating with
Yes.
the feds or something.
I don't think any of those guys have clean phones. I don't think any of those guys don't have their houses bugged. I don't think any of those guys aren't tracked.
Look how
If you-
excited that guy is in the back.
Yeah.
Who the fuck
If you're
is
a guy that brought Jeffrey Epstein to the fucking White House to see Bill Clinton 7 times, and all this Epstein shit is going down, and Ghislaine's in jail, and you have information, there's people on both sides, right? There's the people on the right that are trying to nail the people that are on the left with this. There's people that are journalists that are trying to nail the people that were involved in this.
This is it. Yeah, yeah.
And they've managed to keep that fucking list from coming out, which shows you how powerful certain people are. That should show you a lot. That should be terrifying. The fact that Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison. She's in prison for sex trafficking, yet no one's been accused of buying any of that pussy. No one's been accused of having sex with these underage girls that she is in jail for supplying.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's crazy.
If you own a store and there's no items left yet, nobody's purchased anything, something's going on.
Something's going on.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is like,
people can go away.
I mean, that's what people were saying, and maybe everybody's a conspiracy theorist now, but that's what people were saying about the Diddy situation. Like when the feds rolled up, with the fucking Hummers and shit, they were like, it wasn't about Diddy, it was about if there were tapes of powerful people there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
They were the ones that called. They're like, I need to protect myself, so go in there with all the things and rip any tapes or any evidence.
Well, Prince Harry was hanging with Diddy.
I mean, everybody hung with Diddy. That's the other tricky thing. Like, Diddy hung out with everybody. And I've spoken to a bunch of people who are like, yo, great dude, like, always there for you, never asked for a single thing.
Till 1 a.m.
And then freak off.
Everybody says, get out of the house.
Yeah.
It's like the gremlins start eating after midnight. Everybody who tells the story is like, I saw her go upstairs and these dudes are fucking like right on the couch.
Yeah.
And then I go in this room and these guys are fucking, and it's like,
and pros. Like, apparently he was getting male gigolos to fuck girls.
fuck girls.
Yeah, that was one of the rumors, like the
Male
freak off. So he would
gigolos.
hire the professional dicks to have sex with the girls, and I think he would watch, allegedly. That's what was alleged, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. And that's the other thing, like, I wonder, like, is that just a power thing?
It's a Caligula thing.
What does that mean?
Caligula, like the emperor. Did you ever see that movie, Caligula?
No.
It's about just Roman empires being completely out of control. Caligula is like almost like porn, and it was a movie made, I want to say, in the 70s. It's a crazy movie. But it's just detailing extreme excess where you can never fill the hole.
But what is the hole you need to fill? Like, I'm trying to find, like, what's the
Just
catalyst?
chaos. What year was this? 79. Yeah. That's Malcolm McDowell, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. Yeah, the dude from Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yeah.
It's a crazy movie, man.
But
and it's still mild in comparison to what Absolute have. Absolute power corrupts. Caligula.
Okay, so then there's the question. It's like, can you take a completely normal person, give them power, and then they become that? Or does it take a power-hungry person that has this void that needs to be filled, and then when they are given that power, you see the worst version of them?
Ask your CIA boy. I bet he's got the answers. I bet he knows the exact formula.
To corrupting somebody
Yeah.
or to...
What happens?
Like,
What happens to these people?
Have you ever met somebody in our business that, like, before they were popping, they were kind of a dick, and then once they became very successful, they were the biggest dick, and you're like, you were always going to be this way. You just didn't have the power to.
I don't know too
project
many
it on
people in
people.
our business that are really successful, like your level or my level,
Yeah.
that are dicks.
Yeah. Well, let me think about that. Yeah. There are people maybe that feel they should be at a higher level and are
They
not.
feel that they can kind of boss people around
Yeah.
or throw their weight around to their assistant or their agents.
Yeah.
Or maybe they yell when they shouldn't yell or don't have to yell or are demeaning to certain people.
That bothers me, though.
Oh, I hate it.
It really, yeah.
I don't like it at all.
Especially when you're demeaning to the people that can't really do anything. They could quit,
Yeah.
of course, but like this is their opportunity.
Right. And then they feel terrible and for no reason when the same exact situation could be handled with a hug.
Yeah.
You can tell them you appreciate them, you hold their hand, you shake their hand, you give them a hug.
Yeah.
And then everybody feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be what the goal is. Like, you're the guy who is in this very unique, unusual situation, and you have the ability to make everybody feel better.
Yeah. Yeah,
Until you don't. Until there's some people that you just got to get rid of. There's some people that just feel entitled and they don't feel like. There's certain things that do happen around certain successful people. You'll see they have a few people that have resentment that are around them that realize like, oh, I'm a support person and I only have so much room that I can climb.
Right.
I can never be Andrew Schulz. I'm always going to be this guy who works with Andrew Schulz or like I've had a few buddies that have opening acts that wind up getting very entitled and they have real problems with them. Where the opening acts get resentful and there becomes issues.
And then what
even
do they
good
do?
guys,
They clip them.
They get rid of them.
You have to.
Yeah, you got to get rid of them.
Because you can't be around someone who resents your success.
I just had a friend who just led me through all the shit that his opening act was doing, but I've known several guys that have had that. And once things start popping, those guys feel like, hey, I'm a big deal.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're just like, you could be replaced with another guy who does 15 minutes. Like, this is crazy. You have an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
You get a chance to perform in front of these thousands of people that you would never be able to perform in front of, and you light it up.
Yeah.
You can move up the ladder, and then one day that could be you, and they could be coming to see you. And we've
Yeah.
all seen that.
And you never want to have to manage somebody like that. You want to have people around you that are excited by the opportunity.
Yes.
And everybody's like part of the team and we're doing this fucking unbelievable
Yes.
thing. And yeah, I guess I feel lucky I have those guys.
Yeah, you've cultured a good group of humans, and then they have gratitude, and we all have gratitude. Everybody
Yeah.
has gratitude.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the key. But some people, they're nuts. Some people are just crazy, which is why they're in show business in the first place.
Yeah.
And they have a distorted perception of reality, and they're not good at being objective. They're not good at seeing the big picture. Those fucking people could be a real problem if they're in your circle.
And if they're smart. The problem is like when you take one of those people who's intelligent, they can like rationalize and justify all the behaviors. That's the trickiest thing. Like how do you have you been in that situation where like you're trying to talk them out of a behavior that they have? And you're just like, this might not be the most rational way to operate. It's not really. It's like at a certain point in time, you have to. Yeah, I guess you got to kind of let them.
Yeah, I
Let
don't
them
know
do their thing.
what you can do to cure them of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can like tell them, hey, this is what you're doing. They're like, fuck, what am I doing? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my shit together.
Do we have confirmation?
Yes.
And we're good to go or what?
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay. Light it up, Joe.
Yeah. We're going back and forth right now.
Is he
Yeah, I think there's just
Comfy or not comfy?
yeah,
with it?
green light.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay. All right.
I think there's a lot of
Speaking of psychos. Yeah.
There's a lot of psychos in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that this is the thing. It's like there's a certain amount of people that really don't care about other people. They
So-
don't. They exist with. I mean, what is the term? Is I guess the term is sociopath, right?
Well, I think sociopath just means like you don't feel like the guilt that a normal person would feel when you make somebody feel uncomfortable, or they
Right.
could potentially be in that uncomfortable situation. That reaction is just not elicited
Yeah.
in you, and therefore you can maybe ask them to do things that would put them in a really uncomfortable situation. Or like, for example, you have a podcast, right? You ask somebody to come on. There might be a really embarrassing, tough question that you might want to ask them, and maybe that's why you brought them on. Or they're a really close friend of yours, and you're just like, I don't know if I want to put them in this situation in front of all these people.
Dude, I do that all the time.
You don't ask.
I don't ask.
Exactly,
because
because you have empathy. You care about
not
how
just
they're
that. Like,
perceived.
I don't need to talk to someone about something controversial. If they want to talk about it, like if it's something they want to get off their chest or they want to discuss because there's some misconceptions out there, I'm happy to give you that platform. But
Yeah.
like play got you with you.
It's
I am not that guy at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to have anything to do with that shit.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I
Yeah.
don't think it's necessary.
gross.
Also, if you're talking about a human being in one very specific issue,
Yeah.
don't they have a lot of things going on in their life? I'm interested in the full human.
Dude.
I'm not interested in just digging the dirt on one bad situation that you may or may not be involved in.
You said some shit to me when I had my kid. You said what's really funny is that like when I'm talking to somebody or somebody's being incredibly annoying or they're frustrating, they're being a pain in the ass, they're being a dick, I just imagine them as a 6-week-old baby.
Yeah.
And it's like every one of them started out that way, this innocent, pure,
Yep.
amazing little thing. And life might have turned them into this.
Life, shitty parents,
Yeah.
bad neighborhood, and then sometimes it's just genes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get wacky genes, man.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people are mentally ill right from the jump.
Yeah.
And I don't think people like to admit that, but that's a fact.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How much can you do with that?
Not much. And then when it comes to like medication, what is the medication doing it? Is it dulling the mind so that the impulses don't come out? Is it ramping up your dopamine so you don't want to do those things? Like,
Yeah, I was wondering that with like Prozac. Like, I didn't realize how many people I knew that were on Prozac. What's he saying? Yay or nay?
yeah, we're good.
Let's just do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of psycho, speaking of people that are potentially bad,
Yeah.
that do not have your good interests at heart, and will take advantage of you, and maybe are pathological in their desires to crush.
So we're talking about Andrew Huberman's situation.
His situation, not Huberman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that was left out of that article.
People know, I assume everybody here knows exactly what happened.
So there's an article that Andrew Huberman, an ex, got a hold of a reporter and said that he's a philanderer, he's doing all these terrible things, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so they write this long article. What they left out was that the person who accused him of all this, first of all, is being investigated by the DOJ for fraud and is in the middle of that right now. It's a very serious case. I would name the case, but that would... Like, they made the lady anonymous, which is also crazy. Like, you could have an anonymous person who attacks this famous person which is essentially, whether it's true, what the things she's saying are true or not true, the stuff she left out, the DOJ
and
stuff.
that's when he breaks it off.
Exactly.
He breaks it off.
The
She feels
DOJ
scorned.
contacts him because they're investigating this woman.
And you think that would be like maybe the first paragraph of
You would
the
think that would
article.
at least be a part of the article.
Yeah.
If it was a real piece of news.
Yeah.
You would say, oh, this is complicated. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think it is? Do you think it could come from pharmaceutical companies?
I don't think there's zero influence. You know, I mean, I think for sure. Look, with the stuff that happened to me,
That's
during
what I was going to
COVID,
ask. What do you think it comes from?
That was 100% influenced by pharmaceutical drug companies.
Political interest too?
Yeah, well,
And
they're
those are
all
intertwined.
tied in together
Yeah.
because they fund them.
Yeah.
So you got pharmaceutical drug interests that fund the network,
Yeah.
right? They pay for so much of the advertisement.
So
right?
yeah.
I mean, you
now
can't
they're
just
beholden
cut
to the
that off.
advertisers. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
you
yes.
cut if the news said no more pharmaceutical drugs. Like, let's imagine if the government says this.
Yeah.
The government says no more pharmaceutical drug contributions to super PACs, no more pharmaceutical drugs ads on television shows and newspapers, no more. Then you have to fill a massive void that's missing from those ads. And you're going to have to bring in Toyota trucks and fucking all these different things.
Yeah.
But you're missing out on a lot of fucking money. So if that's a giant portion of your ad revenue,
Yeah.
you're going to avoid all conversations about vaccine injuries.
Yes.
They're not going
Yes.
to come up. You are going to shut them down and go to commercial.
Yes.
You're going to say, well, the studies don't show that. The study don't. You'll talk over RFK.
Yeah.
What you're saying is just simply not true. Vaccines are the reason why we don't have blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
The vaccines have never been shown to cause autism. Vaccines, and then we'll be right back. And they go to commercial. And then it's just like the person shouted them down. They're probably getting talk in their ear.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Don Lemon, get off the subject. You know, like there's probably someone in their ear because they do have earpieces.
But here's the thing. I don't even know if they have to tell you. When you know that you are being paid by someone,
Yes.
it's very easy to just go along with whatever narrative they support.
100%.
And that's the tricky thing, because a lot of times we act like there's these like group of 6 people that are disseminating this information. They're directly hitting up Don Lemon, all these other people, like,
Yeah.
you must behave this way. I think people fall in line. I think
Yeah.
it's almost human instinct to fall in line. When you know who's got your back, you kind of fall in line with it. And
Yeah.
if the pharmaceutical companies are supporting 25% of your ads or 30, whatever the fuck it is,
Yeah.
you fall in line with it.
Yeah.
You fall in line with the narratives of the networks you're with. If you write for the Washington Post, you probably fall in line.
Yeah.
And when you start to ruffle feathers, your articles don't get posted. And then you realize, oh shit, if I want my articles to get posted, I got to write like this. And my
Yes.
kid's in private school and I want to build a pool. And now there's this incentive structure that's built in without anybody fucking telling you what to do.
Exactly.
So it's not as like nefarious as people assume it is when you hear about like the deep state and who are these people telling you. It's an incentive structure built in, and human beings want to survive, and we start kind of doing the things that will help us survive.
And it's all implied. You know what you're supposed to say and not supposed to say.
It's the Clinton speaking fee. Like, no one wants to hear Hillary Clinton speak.
Exactly.
Nobody ever has wanted to hear her speak, but she's getting $400,000 from Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, exactly.
After she's, what was he? Secretary of State.
Yeah.
So it's like, but Goldman Sachs doesn't need to say, hey, by the way, you're going to get speaking fees. She knows it.
Exactly.
They all fucking know it.
Well, that was why during the Trump debates with Clinton, he was like, release the transcripts of those speeches.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, I'll release my taxes. You release the transcripts.
Yeah.
And what is the transcript? Hey, guys, do we really need to be here, or can I go home?
You know what I want. I want you guys to make money.
Yeah. But
Let's keep it rolling.
So that's the whatever, the deep state, if you will. It's not 6 people.
Well, that is like the people that are in your crew that start acting entitled when they're around you.
Wait,
those are the people. The Hillary Clintons. The Hillary Clintons are the people that are like maybe disrespectful to the servers, and you find out about it. They sent food back. They talk rude. It's not the main guy. It's the support staff.
So you're saying
the main people are not the presidents.
Right.
The main
They
people
need
are
the
the
people to
people
do
that are
it.
running Raytheon,
Yeah.
the people that are running these gigantic
Yeah.
companies that make weapons.
Dude, that I didn't even.
That's where the real money is.
When we had RFK on, I didn't even fucking know this shit. But I didn't know, like, when we're sending money to Ukraine, we're not really even sending money there. We're sending money to American military manufacturers to make weapons, and then the weapons go to Ukraine.
Duh.
But we're paying us.
Yeah.
But you can't really say.
But also some money goes over there too, and
But a
that
fraction.
money. Yeah, enough billions, and that money is like, woo.
Where to go?
Yeah, dudes are doing coke and driving around in Rolls Royces and
Oh, I
balling.
saw that. The guy bought the what was it? The assistant. It wasn't the vice president, but it was some like government figure bought like some insane car, and it's like,
Yeah.
why are you buying insane cars when you're in the middle of a war?
How do you have the money?
Yeah, there might be some rations you might want to
Yeah.
buy. Okay, so there's the system. I think Vivek called it like the managerial class or something like that, which I thought was a good term. But okay, the money is going to these different industries first. So it's kind of staying in America, which does, I guess, boost our economy in some way. Like, those people need to hire people. The economy starts
That's
to
a good way to look at it.
No, but I mean, like, no, for real. Like, it's like they have to hire people. They have to pay people. Like, and that's why war is good for the economy. And if the economy is built on this military-industrial complex or whatever it is, we constantly need conflict in order to continue the positive momentum of the economy.
Yes.
But they can't say that. They can't go, hey, we need war in order for the economy to be good.
They're not thinking about the economy. They're thinking about the money that they are specifically going to make from these transactions. They're not thinking about, oh, we're going to do this good for the economy. They're thinking this is an opportunity to get a massive contract. They're in the business of constantly making more money. When you're in a corporation, especially a publicly traded corporation, you have an obligation to your shareholders to make more money. You have a board. You have people that have dumped $100 million into the company, and they're staring at you, and you're like, what are we doing to maximize profits? And just like if you're, working for CNN, if someone starts saying the vaccines might be killing kids, you got to step in and go, there's no evidence for this. You got to cover. You're covering for this.
Yeah.
Everyone's covering. And if you're the head of a corporation, it's your job to get these contracts. It's a sociopathic sort of a situation. No one's looking at it like, what is the big picture? Does this really need to be Isn't there some sort of a diplomatic approach that can be made? What were the factors that led us to get into this situation in the first place? What's going on with NATO?
Yeah.
Why are they moving weapons closer and closer to Russia's border?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a diplomatic solution that could stop the death of hundreds of thousands of innocent people.
Yeah.
But no, make that cheddar. Let's go. And then attach it to different bills, right? Like attach it to the border bill. Attach it to the fucking. Attach to the education bill.
That randomly has
we
money
got to
going to
educate.
Ukraine.
We got to educate those Russians about our fucking bombs. That's part of the education bill. They got to know about a Tomahawk missile, bitch. Yeah.
So how do you stop that?
Money. And the problem is it's already been embedded, right? It's like trying to tell the mob you can't make money anymore. Like you have to do some radical things to get the mob out of businesses, right? And that's what they had to do with Giuliani in New York with the John Gotti and the families and locking everybody up. Like you can't just say, "Hey guys, stop doing that." That's what they do. It's what they do. That's what they did with Iraq. That's what they did with Afghanistan. That's what they did with Vietnam.
Yeah.
They do it with everything.
Yeah.
That's what Eisenhower warned the American people about when he was leaving office, which is one of the craziest videos in human history.
Yeah.
Where he's saying the military-industrial complex wants to go to war. There's a machine that wants to go to war, and you have to be very careful of it.
What is the history of this? So what, World War II, the whole country turns into a war machine? Is that essentially? And which was beneficial for us, right?
Great for the economy, great for a lot of things, great to unite us.
Great for freedom, great for not speaking fucking German for the rest of our existence. But, and by, it turns into a war machine, like Ford just starts making tanks. Like everybody shifts their goal, right? Is that essentially what happens when...
Well, a lot of people definitely shift their... I mean, Ford obviously kept making cars, but like a lot of people do shift their
But I think
businesses.
Ford also started making military vehicles.
Did they? Makes sense.
That was my understanding, is that like every business started to prioritize the war effort.
Right.
And then
Definitely.
not overnight, but pretty quickly the whole country had one singular focus, which was if we need to go to war, we can turn it over. It's like, I think that's what Napoleon did, actually. That was one of how he was so effective. He turned the whole country into a war machine. Yeah. Whereas before it was like, wait, I thought we're just lining up in the field and banging back and forth against each other. He's like, no, you're fighting the whole country. So then when we get to turn over and flip and Ford starts making vehicles or whatever the fuck it needs for the military effort, we have a huge competitive advantage. The money that comes in through that, and fact check me on this, please, but like the money that starts to be generated by that is very hard to relinquish when the war is done.
Right.
The war stops and then people go, whoa, we were making $100 million a year during war.
Right.
I don't want to go back to 20 million.
Right.
So we need more wars. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's definitely a part of the idea. It's also connected to a lot of other things too that you wouldn't think about, like subsidizing food.
Wait, what?
So subsidizing farmers. So like when you hear about corn subsidies, like we have corn subsidies. That's why there's corn syrup and everything.
Yeah.
And there's
we picked a crop that could feed 300 million people, and it just happened to be corn.
Well, what happened was during World War II, they started to subsidize farmers so that they would have a surplus. So in case another war breaks out,
we're good.
They always have they have food storage.
Right.
They have the ability to feed the country even if we're cut off from the rest of the world. And when you're dependent upon foreign countries for different things like grains and medicines, and that's one of the things we found out during COVID, right? A lot of medicine is made in China. And a lot of it was very hard to come by during COVID because of the transportation issues.
Isn't that one of the issues with Ukraine?
I'm sure.
Is that there's not with medicine, but with actual grain. Like it's one of the largest grain producers in the world.
Yes.
So I think there even had to be like an agreement between Russia and Ukraine to continue sending out grain during the conflict.
Wild. The rules of war are so wild.
Dude.
Like when someone says it's a war crime, you know, like
who decides? Yeah, who decides the levels?
You can only kill people certain ways. Like one of the wildest ones was also during World War I. It's a guy named Fritz Haber, and Fritz Haber. He created the Haber method of extracting nitrogen from the atmosphere. That's responsible for some crazy number today. This method is responsible for something about, so see if this is true. I think it's something around 50% of the nitrogen in human bodies today exists because of the Haber method. So 50% of the nitrogen from your food has been extracted from the atmosphere by the Haber method in order to provide fertilizer for plants that we use, especially when you're talking about industrialized fertilizer and commercial grade fertilizer where they have to spray it because the topsoil is all dead for a lot of these modern industrial monocrop agriculture establishments. So Fritz Haber creates this, but he also creates Zyklon A. He created this gas that they were using. He used the gas, they turned it to Zyklon B. They took the smell out of it so they could kill the Jews with it. Yeah. And he also used the gas when they were gassing Allied troops in World War I. This was the first time that had been done.
It's chemical warfare.
Massive fans and gas, and they would blow it onto these soldiers and kill them all. Yeah. And so he was both being recommended for the Nobel Prize and being a war criminal. at the same time. He was wanted for crimes against humanity. At the same time, he created the Haber method. What's the matter, Jamie? Nearly 50% of the nitrogen found in human tissues originated from the Haber-Bosch process. Thus, Haber process serves as the detonator of the population explosion, enabling the global population to increase from 1.6 billion in 1900 to 7.7 billion by 2018. Reverse fuel technology converts electrical energy, water, and air into ammonia without a separate hydrogen electrolysis process. So this is he was a legitimate genius. And his story is so fucking tragic. When he was leaving to go to the front lines to war to use his gas, it was so controversial. There was so much. His wife committed suicide in front of him, shot herself in the heart, and he left her to go to the front line while she was still alive. He left her with his 13-year-old son to take care of her while she tried to kill. She eventually died. But I mean, his whole life became.
Did he feel remorse for this at all?
I don't know. But eventually, during World War II, he was a Jew, and he saw all of his other Jewish friends that were scientists get pushed out and arrested and all these different things that happened to him. And he wound up fleeing, and he died while he was fleeing. I think he died of heart failure. He's probably just racked with stress.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's his whole life. I mean, what did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do? You created this amazing thing that allows nitrogen to get into the soil and feed millions of people, stop starvation for millions of people.
Yeah.
And you also created the gas that's killing your own people in concentration camps. And you also created war crimes by being the first government, the first army to spray chemicals at the troops that just kills everybody indiscriminately. Men, women, children, anybody downwind, dead.
So then who decides, like, when is there the conversation where all the countries unanimously agree on what are war crimes and what are not? Like, you can kill someone with a bullet, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Right? As long as they are not an innocent civilian?
Yeah, but then what about metadata, right?
What does that mean?
Do you know how they target some people with bombs? Okay. So let's say you're a terrorist, and let's say you're hanging out in this building, and the government knows where you are because they have your cell phone. So they have the metadata of your cell phone. So they know your cell phone is in this room. Boom.
Game over.
Everybody dead. Everybody dead. Not just you, not just me, not just Jamie. Security staff,
this
everybody,
is the drone strike,
people
the wedding
next
shit.
door.
Yeah,
That's what they do. Yeah. So you know what the percentages of innocent people that die in drone strikes?
99?
We don't know really, because here's the problem. And this has to be like, you have to be kind of honest about this. It's like, they lie too.
Right.
Like they'll
Nobody's
say,
gonna be like, I'm a bad guy.
Right. They'll say, oh, you killed 30 children, and they'll take photos, and so you're getting some of the information as far as the
they
data.
never go good shot.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't know the exact numbers. There's estimated numbers, but for sure, it's not more bad guys.
Yeah.
For sure, it's more innocents than it is bad guys. And the high estimates are in like the 80 and 90% of innocent civilians that die in drone strikes.
And what is the justification?
Because there's a bad guy over there. We got to get that bad guy. And it's in another country. So when it's in another country, you can kind of get away with some shit.
But also, I imagine the justification is like that one bad guy could have killed hundreds of thousands of our good guys. That's their steelman argument for it, I imagine. Because they also have to have a justification. It can't happen without them going, hey, we've thought about this.
Exactly.
And then imagine the person that you need to pull the trigger on that or push the button, right? Like the constitution that they have to have.
Yeah.
That's a lot of guilt. This goes back to the sociopathy.
Oh, they have massive PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people that run, they say it's a unique form of PTSD because they weren't really there.
Right. They're behind a fucking video
They're
console.
It's a fucking Xbox controller.
Have presidents ever said that? Did Lincoln write anything about the death toll during the Civil War?
That's a good question.
Like, I wonder if even modern day, like, does Obama talk about it? The people that died, the Bushes? Like,
I think you can't.
George Bush has handled Iraq better than anybody in history.
Just been painting.
He's just
Painting dogs and
giving
shit.
little fucking lozenges to Michelle. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing that's going on.
Yeah.
And maybe you need somebody that's kind of not got a lot going on up there to do it.
Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that they made movies about Dick Cheney afterwards. They made him out to be this monster.
But is that like I feel like that's taking all accountability away from the guy who was in charge. Like it's very easy to be like, yeah, it was just him. This guy's got to co-sign it too, and that's the job.
Yeah.
If you're the head coach of the team and the assistant coach is making all the bad decisions, we still blame the head coach, right?
He's also the son of a great man. And, you know, when your dad is Herbert Walker Bush, who was the head of the CIA, and, you know, you are second fiddle. You're good at taking directions. And that's why you'd make a good president. You're
Yeah.
a good, handsome man.
Yeah.
We're going to smoke them out of their holes.
Yeah.
You look like a president.
Yeah.
And then let's let good old Dick take things behind the scenes. And just look at the evidence of what they did, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that they gave Halliburton no-bid contracts for fucking billions of dollars to rebuild Iraq. How wild is this? That the guy who's the vice president
Was on the board of
is on the he was like the fucking he was the head of Halliburton.
Was he getting a piece
before.
during his
Yes.
vice presidency?
Yes.
Yeah, that seems like a conflict of interest.
He
Yeah.
is blowing these places up. He's blowing these places up. It's like their decisions that are causing these places to get blown up.
If I
And
make
then they
money
have
on
these no-bid
building-
Dick
Yeah.
Cheney resumes role as chairman of Halliburton Company. Oh, he's back.
Wow.
Hold on.
Maybe hold
When
on.
is this?
I don't know.
This is after he left office?
I might have 2000, so yeah, this was actually before, right?
Well, no, this was during the Bush administration, right?
Effective today, 2000. He became president right around
Right.
then, right?
He resumed his role while he was vice president?
No, that's I thought I misread what was happening here because it said
But
February.
it says
I clicked that first here. 'Cause it said
Right.
February 24.
Cheney will succeed Bill Bradford. Click it again.
But then it's like an old.
Okay,
press
Dick
release.
Cheney resumes role. This is a new article, it says. So look what it says. Dick Cheney has resumed role of chairman of board of Halliburton effective today, February 1st, 2000.
Yeah, that's-
Will also continue. That's weird that it just came out. Continue his current position as chief executive officer of the company, joining Halliburton. So this was right before the election.
I think this is the announcement when. Yeah, I think I got confused.
But February 1st, 2000 means he's already in office, correct? Or is it 2001?
It would be
It's January 2001 that Bush goes into office, right?
Election was 2000. Yeah.
So this is 11 months earlier. So is he even named as vice president yet?
Nah, is he running with him at that time?
He became vice president January 20. It's almost 1 year later, exactly.
Right, but I'm saying, is he named as vice president as a running mate?
I'm checking when they. I don't. know
Right,
when they
because
announced.
that's generally a little later. Once
Yeah.
someone wins the primaries, they announce their VP.
Yeah, but if you're not actually president, you can hold another position, or vice president. If you're not actually in government, you can up to that.
I would
day.
like to meet
Yeah. So
GW.
it says.
You'd like to meet him?
Yeah,
What
I
would
would
you
like
ask
to meet
him
him. I would just talk to him.
about?
I wouldn't want to dig. I would just talk to him. I just want to find out what makes him tick.
What do you think?
Halliburton reportedly reached the agreement on July 20th to allow Cheney to retire with a package of an estimated $20 million. Let's go, Dick. Pulled it off, man.
Do you ever wish you didn't know all this stuff?
Yes.
The ignorance is bliss.
Yes. I feel a tremendous weight of the amount of people that pay attention to the shit I say. It's a tremendous weight. So you feel like there's some things like I would rather just be a hayseed.
Yeah.
Just fucking hanging out on my farm in Kansas, shooting deer with bows
Well,
and arrows.
that's what I was going to ask. Like, when you're out shooting deer,
That's
and
my
you're not-
favorite time that I'm disconnected. I don't have cell phone service. I don't have shit.
you're not thinking about the deep state.
No, man. I'm thinking about mountain lions and I'm thinking about bugling elk.
Yeah.
I'm thinking how my cardio is. Do I get
Yeah.
enough electrolytes in me this morning? Make sure my protein take is right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going 8 fucking miles a day in the
You like
mountains.
hard shit. That's
do like-
something I've noticed about you, and I think it's a really important thing it's an important quality to have as you achieve more success, because with success, life can get easier. So if you're not addicted to difficulty and like hard situations, it's easy to just kind of fall into the comfort of nothing. Because there was a guy who I had on the podcast, Russ, who's awesome artist. But he was like, yeah, once you get money, like things become easy. And then anything that's not easy, you get very anxious about and fearful of. So you like hard things. You admire David Goggins because he's doing hard shit all the time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people don't like hard things. And then when they get success, hard things make them anxious and they stop doing hard things. And hard things are what make us successful. When we have nothing, we have to do hard things.
Yes.
We have to go up in front of crowds that might not be good. We have to go run fucking really hard. We have to work out really hard, whatever it is. And I wonder if that's when like kids who grow up with very wealthy parents are not used to hard things and they don't really have to do anything hard.
Right.
And if they don't have that as like a core value to them, that doing hard things is good, of course they're going to be anxious about everything. Of course they're going to use drugs. Of course they're going to be bored out of their fucking mind. So it's one of those things that like, I don't know, as I've gotten a potentially more comfortable life, I like have to like force myself to do things I'm afraid of. Or I do think that I would just kind of get weak and fall apart.
Comfort is a warm and enticing poison.
Yep.
And it's a slow poison.
Yep.
You can take a little bit of it on the couch, just relaxing.
And it is
take
nice.
a little of it. It's nice. But don't let that get into your veins because it'll make the rest of your life harder because you're going to encounter hard things. And if the hard thing that you don't voluntarily subscribe to, the hard thing that you don't force yourself into isn't harder than the other things in life, you're going to have a hard time managing.
Yeah. And it's voluntary.
It has to be voluntary.
You have to choose it.
You have to have discipline.
There's a...
I think characters like cardio. I think you have to keep it up.
Yep.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. You take a few weeks off of cardio, you're like,
Yeah.
I think that's the same with character. And I think it's the same with doing difficult things and also self-assessing, honestly, knowing where you fucked up. Like, there's moments that you have, I'm sure, in your life where you look back. It might have been 10 years ago. You're like, fuck, why did I say that to that dude?
Yesterday.
I didn't need to. I didn't need to say that. I shouldn't have said that. Oh, God, I was just in the wrong place, wrong time, wrong headspace. Why did I do that? Oh, I was drunk. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? You know, those things, you should know those too. You don't absolve yourself of those things. Know those things are real and just always constantly strive to do better. The problem is when people fuck up, they think of themselves as that fuck up. And that's a difficult thing for someone with a bad past. Like dudes have been in jail. It's really difficult for them.
That becomes their identity.
It becomes a part of who you recognize. That's a part of your behavior characteristics. You don't think of yourself as the best you when you made the right decision. When your friend calls you and you could tell him, I'm busy, bro. I can't help you. Be like, I could put that shit aside. Go help my boy. And go help your friend. And then you show up for him. He's like, dude, you're here for me. Thank you, brother.
So much.
I appreciate it so much, man. And you're helping him fix his tire or move or whatever the fuck it is. Those moments, man, like unite human beings. They're like very, very important moments. And that's what everybody should strive for. You should strive for the moments when you worked really hard at something and you accomplished it. When you didn't want to get through a workout, but you did it. When you finished the marathon. When you apologized for being out of line. When you told people how you feel about them, even though it felt vulnerable. I just want to tell you, I love you so much. You inspire me. You're an amazing human being, and I'm so happy you're in my life. That's what we all should be aspiring towards. Aspiring to be better versions of ourselves.
And aspiring to put ourselves in situations that we fear. Like everything you want is on the other side of what you fear. There's somebody said that. And I really believe it though. Like every situation I put myself in that I'm scared of or anxious about, even if it doesn't work out perfectly, I do feel this confidence boost that I at least tried.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I at least fucking tried. I was scared of doing it and I fucking tried. And then if it works out, it's the best feeling in the world. But if I pussy out, that's the worst.
That's the worst feeling.
It is the fucking worst.
The worst feeling.
But that's the importance of like, like the nice thing about stand-up, I guess, is that like we know that we can't take months off.
Right.
It atrophies fast.
Weeks off. Yeah.
It's like we have to go up. We have to constantly go up. And yeah, there are things in life that are a million times more difficult that people have to do, but it is one of those things that's built into the thing that we kind of love, which is we have to keep doing this, and every time we try something new, it's bad. Yeah,
but we're also addicted to that accomplishment vibe, that accomplishment energy. Like when you get that feeling is amazing feeling of fuck, I did it.
I also like the chaos of it. I like it when there's like. I was hanging on the beach with my wife on something, and like I'm really bad with vacations if I don't have things to do during it. I can't just hang on the beach. I cannot do it. If I'm surfing, I can do it, or if I'm playing paddle, I can do it. But I need to do shit.
Right.
Give me something to do.
Right.
And my wife knows I don't care if we're looking at the Coliseum, I'm learning, I'm asking the fucking tour
Let's
guide
go
questions.
fishing.
I need to do a thing.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not, my brain goes fucking crazy. It needs to be occupied.
Yes.
I'm lucky that I have that. Imagine I was really comfy doing nothing.
Yeah.
Why would I do anything?
It's a superpower. But it has to be managed. It's like having a Ferrari engine. You know, if you
What do you mean?
If you have a Ferrari engine, you know, in a fucking Toyota Corolla, like that shit doesn't have the tires for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't
You
have
burn out.
suspension.
Yeah.
You're into a tree.
Yeah.
You know, you have to learn how to manage that kind of a mind, and you've built up a suspension and wide tires and strong carbon fiber ceramic brakes. It's like you got to have all those things.
So is that what you're constantly doing? Are you constantly looking for more shit you're afraid of in your life?
Well, difficult things. I like difficult things. I like that's why I like cold plunging. I like it because it's hard. People are like, I hate it.
Yeah,
I fucking like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. But
Every time I'm about to do it,
like,
there's this little bitch ass part of my brain. It's like, don't do this. You don't need to do this. And the other part of my brain that I've built up over the years, like, shut up, pussy. I'm the boss.
So it's building the discipline. It's not even like, okay, yeah, there are great, what is it, not side effects, but there are great main effects coming. The inflammation goes down, whatever. But it's more about building the fucking discipline to do the shit you don't want to do.
Yeah, but also because it's good for you. If it was bad for me, if I didn't want to do it and every time I did it, it was killing me a little bit, I wouldn't do it. But I do it because I know it's good for you and I know you feel great when you get out of it.
But Goggins, I'm sure, running all those fucking miles, like his joints are destroyed, his feet are fucked up. Like there's a certain point of diminishing returns.
Yes.
But
also you have to have the outlier.
Which is?
You have to have the dude that's pure mind. That's all just on the drive, and that's Goggins. You have to have the guy.
So he's the extreme version
he's
of discipline.
Uncommon amongst uncommon men,
And
amongst all the psychos out there. He's king psycho.
So it's not that he runs long; it's that he will do the thing despite that little voice inside of him saying, "You don't want to do this. Just
and
chill
he'll
and
tell
relax."
you he has that voice. He goes, "I stare at my sneakers sometimes for 30 minutes before I put those motherfuckers on."
Yeah.
He'll tell you, but he always wins. It's like, dude, when I'm taking the lid off that cold plunge, as I'm taking it off, he's like, don't do it, don't do it. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
You got 3 more eps of Shogun.
I set my watch, blip, 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 and I climb right in.
Yeah.
And because I get through it every day, I start the day off with a win. I won. I beat the inner bitch.
Yeah.
I conquered the inner bitch. I got in there. And then I do the workout. That's win number 2. You know?
Yeah.
So by the time the day is over, I've done shit that most people will never do.
What do you feel when you're on vacation? Do you feel that
Like a crazy person.
Do you feel like
a wolf on a fucking inflatable pool toy in the ocean.
Yeah.
Just going, what am I doing on this fucking thing?
And is your wife going, hey, you need to chill out?
Yeah, well, I know how to do it now. First of all, every day starts out with a workout.
Dude, it's so funny.
Have to.
Yeah, I told them, I was like, listen, we can go to these places. The first 3 hours of the day, I'm doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
Once I calm it all down, let's fucking drink a whatever on the beach. I don't care.
Yeah.
But the first 3, I need to do what I need to do.
I need breaks. Breaks are good, but I don't really need a vacation because my life is awesome. Yeah. I love it. I've cultivated a wonderful life. I love my family. I love my friends. I love my jobs. Yeah. So I'm happy. Yeah. I'm a happy dude with what I do. So when I go on vacation, it's like, okay, I just want to have fun with the family and do a bunch of things, but I have to do something about this thing.
And your family knows?
This bitch, yes, they know me.
What about your kids? Are they like, okay, he just needs to work out?
They get it.
Do they have it too?
Yeah, they both have it.
Really?
Yeah, they both have some psycho drive. One of them for art, the other one is gymnastics.
And when you see it manifested, like for example, do you see them looking like the wolf when you guys are all on vacation? Do you see them kind of pacing around?
They have to do things.
You have to keep them busy. Yeah.
Like I had a conversation with my middle daughter, and at one point in time, she was like, when we first moved here, she was real anxious, and I go, "You're a racehorse. You got to get back to racing. You got to get back to competing again." And as soon as she went back to that, everything was fine. She just was like, didn't know we're in a new place, making new friends. Yeah. But there's like physical anxiety that comes with being a human being that I think activity diminishes. Yeah. And you need something like that. You need the hardest thing of your day to be something that you choose. It might not be. You obviously circumstances are random and you could have a terrible thing happen to you. Yeah. But if you've built up your understanding of how to get through difficult things, it'll serve you in everything you do. And if you do it voluntarily, then you've gained control over your mental process. You want a Zin?
Yeah. So with the kids, is this something you instill in them?
You
or
can
is this
only
a little
do it
genetic?
so much, man. You got to be real loose-handed. You got to let them be their own thing. They're their own little people. It's very fascinating.
Are you rewarding and lighting the fire once you see that they're really drawn to something?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
got
yeah,
it. So
yeah,
you wait
for
for them
sure.
to choose,
Yeah.
and then you lean the fuck in.
Yeah, well, praise is very important for kids. It means a lot. It could really motivate them to excel to higher and higher levels.
Was that easy for you to
Yeah.
give them the positive encouragement?
Oh, it's so easy. Yeah, my youngest is an insane artist, dude.
Let me see.
Insane. I'm going to show you this. She's 13.
Oh, wow.
Dude, she was doing crazy work when she was 6. I showed one of her things to David Cho when she
Yeah.
was like 6 or 7. He was like, "Holy fuck, man!" Like, dude, she's crazy talented.
Jesus.
Yeah. And
How old is she?
She's 13. She'll sit and she'll draw for hours and hours, man, just completely locked in and focused. And you know, when I was young, I wanted to be a comic book illustrator. So I was an artist when I was young, but I wasn't as good as her. I don't think I'm as good as her now. And she's 13.
Do you?
I mean, it's crazy.
Do you find yourself competing with them at all?
No. Unless we're playing games.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna win.
You okay?
Oh yeah.
Do you
trying to
ever?
win. I'm trying to win.
Okay, you won't give them a. You won't give nothing.
No.
Interesting.
No.
Does it drive them crazy when they lose?
No, they win. They win a lot, man.
Okay.
We did virtual reality, and my 13-year-old beat me at this sword fighting game, and she fucking loved it. She killed me.
And?
It's like one of these. You know what Sandbox is? You ever
No.
do Sandbox?
Oh, this is the,
It's the dopest. Sandbox. You're in a warehouse.
Okay.
I love it. You have a haptic feedback vest. My favorite one is the zombie one, but we compete in the zombie one too.
This is a console that you're wearing, like a VR goggles or
okay,
something?
you go to a place. It's
Okay.
called Sandbox VR. It's
Okay.
a big warehouse.
Okay.
And inside these warehouses, they have these spaces that are a little larger than this room.
Okay.
Okay. And in the space, they give you a virtual reality headset. They give you a haptic feedback
can
vest.
feel-
You feel like you're getting hit or you're getting grabbed by zombies. And then they give you a gun. You have a plastic gun. Okay, and then you see yourself, you see everybody. Everybody's like tactical ops outfits on and shit with helmets, and you're like, woo, you high five, you dance, you see each other dressed as these characters. And then, it's basically mapped out to the size of your body, and they put you in these things. So, and then, like, they drop you off in Deadwood Mansion. And Deadwood Mansion is this haunted house, and this, like, crazy scientist who've developed zombies, and the zombies start invading the house.
Okay.
And you're just gunning them down. And we always compete to see who kills the most zombies. But I have a lot of gun experience. So I fucked those zombies up, man. I, at one point in time, had number 3 in the country, or the number 3 score in the country. Yeah, bro. I went ham.
this is it here.
So this is it. So let me just give you a pro tip. If you want this game, get the shotgun. Shotgun face shots. You want face shots on zombies.
Yeah.
Don't be fucking around with the legs. See, the machine guns are fun and everything like that, and you reload by just going like this. You just point the gun down and it reloads. Bro, it's so fun. I'm so addicted to this game that you're in this house and it's all like dark and shadowy and shit, and the light from your pistol is what's lighting these zombies.
Yeah.
Bro, it's so much fun.
Oh, this is
But
amazing.
but yeah, I always try to win. I
So
always
you-
try to
so
kill
this
the most
is-
zombies.
this
So
is
at the
you
end
and
of
the
the day, you
family.
get the VIP.
What is the VIP?
The VIP is the most valuable player.
The MVP.
Yeah, it's VIP though. Very important player.
Okay.
Or MV. I don't know if they say MVP, but either way,
Yeah.
I always win that shit.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not
the
letting anybody
competitive
win.
instinct cannot go away.
Right, as long as it's like you're just understanding that everyone's just trying their best.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when they beat you, like, oh my God, if they beat me at a game
You're
or something
fury.
like that, like, God damn it.
Yeah,
They love it. They
Yeah.
love it. I'm like, you got me.
Yeah.
But it's fun when they win. It's fun when they beat you. It's your child that's
Yeah.
doing something really good.
How old are they
You know?
now?
13 and 15, the youngest ones.
Okay. And when they were, are there moments that you,
How old is your kid now?
8 weeks.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm like, are there, everybody I talk to goes, it goes by really fast. That's the first thing they all say when I say 8 weeks. And What are the moments in this stretch that you wish that you kind of held on to longer, or you didn't realize how amazing they were until they were gone?
I don't really think like that.
Nothing. Okay.
I don't think like that. I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm happy they're healthy, and I'm happy they're, you know, look,
Yeah.
I have friends that have kids that have real problems, real health problems.
Yeah.
And it's the most heartbreaking, devastating thing to see someone going through the real struggles of a kid that is your child that's all fucked up. So number one was healthy.
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, don't you want a boy? I'm like, I want healthy kids.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a
Yeah.
girl or a boy.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't care. I just
Yeah.
want them to be happy
Yeah.
and healthy. Well, you don't like girls? Like, what are you saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You only want boys?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Plus,
yeah.
if I had boys, it would come with the added responsibility of training a psycho.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm assuming they're going to be like a little me.
Yeah.
And like, if I didn't find martial arts, I would have been a real problem.
Wait, what do
man.
you mean?
If I didn't find some outlet, some competitive, like dangerous outlet to test me as a man,
Yeah.
I was an angry kid, man. It's not good to grow up a boy and be an angry boy and not have an outlet because
Why
you
do
you won't have control of it.
But why do you think you were angry?
I think a lot of it's genetic.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of I think a lot of people, like what's inside of them is genetic. It's learned experience. It's being around violence when I was young. There's quite a few things that I think are attached to it, but I think there's some part of it's genetic. There's some part of drive I think that's genetic too, which is interesting when you see your kids have it.
Yeah, I've talked to friends about that who have multiple kids, and they can see it in some, and others they just don't really see it. And it's kind
It's
of
out of the box. They're
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my 15-year-old is like hyper focused on things, hyper focused on athletics, hyper focused, but also very loved. Like doesn't have this desire to prove herself like I had. I was like, I'm not a loser. I'm going to show everybody
Yeah.
that I'm
Yeah.
not a loser.
Yeah.
That was like my drive as a kid. And martial arts were the first thing that I ever did where I was like, hey, I'm not a loser.
But it's also the most humbling thing.
Oh, the most humbling. Yeah, the most humbling. But I got good at it quick.
But still, it's
I
like-
was very lucky.
But there's always someone better. I don't know. Like
Yeah, but I
even-
got lucky that I was going into it at the right time. Like I had some athletic experience. Like I had wrestled, I'd done baseball, I'd played some sports. So I wasn't like totally inept. When I played baseball, well, I was so selfish. I would never try to get on first. Fuck you.
You wanted that
It's
double.
home run,
You wanted-
home run, or I strike out.
Yeah.
And they would always tell me, just get on base. I'm like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And I'd get up there, I'm like, I don't give a fuck what you just said.
Yeah.
When that ball's coming, I'm either going to be a loser or a hero. Let's
Really?
go. 100%. I never did not try to hit a home run. And they would always be mad at me. Because
that-
I could hit home runs, but I could also strike out.
Yeah.
I struck out a lot. But if I connected, I had
Forget
some
it.
fucking crank.
Yeah.
I sent that ball flying, and
Yeah.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved watching that ball fly over the fence. Like,
Yeah.
I am never not going to do that. Like, if you tell me, like, just bunt, suck
Can't do
my dick. I'm not bunting. I don't give a fuck if we lose. I don't care.
That's why you can't do the team sports.
I'm not
That's why it
interested in
has to
team
be the
sports.
one-on-one.
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
interested. We lost because Billy dropped the ball.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
fuck yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
I did. Yeah, I know what I can do.
Interesting.
And when it's my time at bat, I'm hitting home runs.
Interesting.
So when I found that there was martial arts,
Or
it was
bow
something.
hunting,
Just
I'm going
me
for the home run every
only.
time.
It's just me.
Yeah.
And I can get better based entirely on how much effort I put into it.
Yeah.
Then I just became obsessed.
But you still love the camaraderie.
I love the camaraderie, but you learn from the other people that are also doing the thing. I wasn't competitive with them where I had to be better than them. I wanted to be better than the people I was competing against, and they helped me to
These
get
are
better. Because
these are who? These are the
people I train with.
okay.
Yeah, those are family. I'm
Yeah.
still very good friends with one of my guys that I trained with back then.
Really?
I talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known him since I was 52 guys, two of those guys. I've known him since I was 15 years old. One of them is just out here to visit.
It's funny that you see it even in martial arts. Like, you know, when a guy wins, the first thing he does is often compliment his coaches and his team.
100%.
And
You're everything.
We need that. We need that shared
Yes,
victory. I've always
yes.
got that in team sports. I love that. Like a team win, like with me and four other guys playing basketball when we're not as talented as the other team,
And you win.
but we win.
Yes.
Oh, just going out for beers afterwards, talking about we're old fucking guys. Our
But
knees
that's
don't work.
more of a cooperative thing than being at bat.
That's
The
what
thing
I
about
like.
being at bat, though,
Yeah.
is like, This is just me.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not passing them. But look, if I could pass the ball over to you and you're open and you can get a clean shot, I would 100% do that if I was playing team sports.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be greedy like that.
Yeah.
But baseball,
Yeah, you going for it.
it's just me.
Yeah, you going for
the
it.
ball's coming. It's going. I'm sending
We only
this
need a
bitch into
single, Joe.
orbit. Because they would always get mad at me. I
Yeah.
had this one coach that was like very strategic, always trying to win.
Yeah.
And he knew that if he put me up there, I was cranking that ball.
Yeah. But that is,
But I just wasn't designed for baseball.
But that's you in life, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I could figure out something where I would be 100% of my own, when I got in there, like fighting, it's 100%
Or
just
comedy.
you or comedy.
You built this team, you built all these friends, this community, but when you're on stage,
it's all you.
just you.
It has to be you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those people also help you get better. Like when I'm doing shows and Shane Gillis is on the show and Ron White and Brian Simpson.
Yeah, you
and
put strong
Hinchcliffe
guys
and
on,
Derek
man.
Posey.
Yeah.
And I'll go on stage an hour and a half into that,
Dude,
too.
how funny is Derek, man?
Derek is so good.
Derek has grown so
He's
much.
grown
man.
so
Oh my
much.
God,
And
dude.
being at the club, like he's doing
I
so
know.
many sets.
Yeah, he's so
just
grateful,
He's
man.
going little boy, fat
Yeah.
man. He's going back and forth to the rooms.
Yeah.
He's doing all these sets on the road with
yeah,
you.
Yeah. And he's
doing
a true team guy. Like he comes from sports in that way. Like he wants the show to be great.
Yes.
He wants to. I
But
mean,
he's a
just,
great human
He's
being.
a fucking great.
He's
dude.
a gem of a human
Yeah,
being and
yeah.
a happy
Yeah.
sweetheart of a guy. Everybody loves Derek.
He's so grateful for you, man. And just
I'm
the
grateful for
club
him.
and the experience,
Well,
and
he was one of the
seeing him-
first guys to take a chance
I know.
and come out here.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm with you, Joe.
yeah.
I'm like, all right,
and he
let's do
is
it.
like, if he says that, he means that shit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And watching him grow, dude,
But he knew also when I told him I was going to do it, I'm like, we're going to do this.
yeah,
We're going to do this. It's going to be the greatest club in the world.
yeah.
Which is a crazy thing to say, to pop up a scene in the middle of Texas. Yeah. But we did it.
It's insane what you.
But we
guys
did it
built.
because of guys like Derek and guys
Yeah.
like Hassan and Brian Simpson and Tony
Yeah.
Hinchcliffe. Those guys who
Oh,
moved here
yeah.
early. Tom
Yeah.
Segura moved here early.
Yeah, yeah.
When he says I'm in. When
Yeah.
Tom Segura said I was in,
Yeah.
early on, I was like, oh shit, this is happening.
Yeah.
Because Tom did it early
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
pandemic. I bought this house. I sent him a video from my backyard. I go, boys, what are you doing? What are
Get
you
the fuck
doing?
out of there.
Get the
Yeah,
fuck out of
yeah,
LA. It's on
yeah,
fire.
yeah.
I go, no one here has a mask on. I go, I think this is bullshit. Come down. Let's have a good time. Let's
Yeah.
hang out.
Yeah,
And Tom was like, I'm in. He came out here early.
that means a lot to you. I felt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a crazy chance I was asking people to take.
Yeah.
It wasn't just I'm going to open up a club in Pasadena. It wasn't like I bought the Ice House.
Yeah.
Like if I bought the Ice House and the
There's
Ice
no-
House was for sale for a while.
Yeah.
And I do Jerry Buss bought it, right? Is that
Yeah,
who bought
yeah.
it?
Owner of the Lakers or whatever.
And they redid it, and I'm super happy that they did that because it's an amazing club, and I love that place. But at one point in time, I was thinking about buying the
I
Ice
remember
House.
you telling me that.
I was like, maybe I just buy that place. But if I ask guys to come to the Ice House, that's easy.
Yeah, there's no
That's a 20-minute drive.
No
You-
sacrifice.
You
There's no
stay in your
commitment.
same house.
Yeah.
It had to be all those factors happening at the same
same
time.
time, yeah.
It had to be COVID. It had to be this weird way that they were governing these cities and that
Yeah.
they weren't doing it in other parts of the country, particularly Florida and here.
Yeah.
And also that you couldn't do stand-up. You couldn't do any stand-up in L.A. They were
Yeah.
stopping outside stand-up at the parking,
remember
at
that.
the comedy store in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let them do comedy outside.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. It was
Yeah.
all crazy. And it was going on forever. And we were out here doing shows. And we were putting it up on Instagram. And everyone's like, this is
What the fuck is
crazy.
happening? Yeah.
These motherfuckers are doing shows.
Yeah.
And we first started doing live shows indoors in November of 2020. And it felt so wrong.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I did one weekend out here in July of 2020, and I decided after it that I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't get sick, but I was like, but what if I did? And what if I gave it to someone? And what if that person died? Like, what if I gave it to a guest?
You felt a responsibility.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would never forgive myself if I had some wonderful, sweet scientist as a guest and I gave that person COVID and they wind up dying
Yeah.
because I was so selfish that I had to go on the road and do stand-up.
This is the empathy thing.
Yeah, so
This
I was like, I
is-
can't
yeah,
do that.
You're
So
not a sociopath.
Well, it's also just
You're not good for the CIA, Joe.
terrible for the CIA. I'll be terrible. I'll be good if you get me in that UFO program, though. I'll keep my mouth shut. Promise.
Wait. What is this?
Get me in the UFO. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. I won't tell anybody.
Do you think they got something?
I'll be a disinformation agent for you. I will.
You just want to know.
I will say whatever you need.
Now here's
I
the
will-
question.
I will
Hold on.
fucking-
What if they say to you, Joe, you can take the UFO for a spin, but don't floor it. You can bunt in the UFO.
I would listen because I don't want to turn into jelly. If you're going faster than
What
your
if they said
body
there's
can
no
tolerate
way
it?
that you can die in this machine? It's built in a way where you cannot die, but we're asking you to bunt.
I would bunt. You'd have to bunt. You'd have to bunt because you're
third
gonna have
time
to
you're
come
up
back
there.
to come back to the ground. You're gonna have to land that thing. They're gonna kill you.
All right, fair enough.
They're gonna fucking put you on an airplane with one of fucking Putin's boys, and you're gonna get blown up over the Adriatic Sea. Listen, man, no, yeah, you gotta look. If they get you in the UFO, first of all, I wouldn't ask to pilot it. I just like
You just wanna
take
be
it
in
for a
it.
spin.
Show me what
Show
it's
me what
like.
the fuck this thing does. Where did it come from? Where did it come from? And then I say, okay, so what do I tell them? China? I'll tell them
China
China.
it is, whatever.
It's fucking Chinese, man.
So that's the
Chinese
last
are super
thing.
advanced.
That's the
Yeah.
last thing for you? It's UFO? It's if once you feel that...
Well, it would suck to go to your grave and
Not
not
knowing.
know. Because it seems like something for... It's not what I thought when I was young. When I was young, I thought UFOs are probably real, but a lot of these stories are bullshit. And I don't even know if UFOs actually are real or if people are just liars or if it's something that we want to believe because of science fiction,
Right.
Orson Welles and all that stuff. But now I don't think that anymore. Now I think because of talking to guys, well, you and I went to dinner with Bob Lazar before he did the podcast, which was how fascinating was that?
I always tell people, I believe he believes it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it exists, but I don't think he's a liar.
I don't think he's a liar either, but I don't know because some people are really good at that shit.
Again, I'm just going off of like
The vibe.
just the vibe that I got.
Yeah, but the vibe is hard because
He
you
felt
want
like he didn't
to
want to
believe.
be there, Joe. Like
Yeah.
I remember at the dinner, he's like, "Listen, I'm not here to prove it. I don't even need to do. I don't like doing this. It hurts
Yeah.
my life." He
Yeah.
said all the maybe the right things, but he didn't come across as so charismatic. Like usually people are really good at lying or very charismatic.
Also,
And I-
they lie about other stuff too.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know
Yeah.
enough about him to say, but like he didn't have the charisma of someone that could like trick and manipulate me. He came across as pretty authentic and almost kind of rattled by the whole experience. Like it almost felt traumatic when he was talking about it.
Yeah.
It did.
Well, he
And-
told us something too that made a lot more sense because one of the things that he's criticized about is his education background. He said he went to MIT,
And
but they said there's no record of him at MIT.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, because there wasn't a record of me at MIT because I was involved
In
in,
the
a
fucking-
program
yeah.
that you can't really say. We can't say what he was involved in.
Yeah.
But when you hear what they're involved, what they were actually working on, you go, oh yeah, well you're not even supposed to do that. So I would imagine that if you're going to get educated in that, it's not important that you get a degree that shows that you learned
Yeah.
it from these people.
Yeah.
What's important is you get the information that you need in order to implement this plan,
Yeah.
which was wild. And you hear that. But the thing about it is, the other things they try to disprove him on, he has shown that it was accurate. One of them that he worked at Los Alamos Labs.
Right.
So they said that he never worked there, but
Right.
he did work there.
Yeah.
He did work there. He's on the employee roster.
Yeah.
So not only that, he had an intimate knowledge of the building.
Right.
When George Knapp went with him to Los Alamos Labs, he knew where everything was. He knew the security guards. He knew the system.
Who's George Knapp?
George Knapp is an investigative reporter that broke the story
Got it.
in 1989.
Got it.
And he's been on it ever since. And he also does a podcast with Jeremy Corbell.
Yeah, I know
It's
Jeremy.
all about
Yeah.
this phenomenon. And George Knapp is one of the best journalists that's ever covered it because he's like covered it from the beginning and he will tell you what he knows and what he doesn't know. And he's not a bullshitter in any way, shape, or form. He's
Yeah.
a hard-nosed, facts-based journalist
Yeah.
who was the first guy to talk to Lazar.
Yeah.
And Lazar talked to him because he thought they were going to kill him. Because he had started bringing people to watch the test flights because he got fired. He got released. And the reason why he got released is when you're on top secret clearance, when you're working for the government and they fly you to Area 51 and you're doing fucking work on spaceships, you're not allowed to tell anybody,
Right.
including your wife.
Yeah.
So he'd get a phone call like 11 p.m. I got to go to work. And he would leave. And the wife was like, this
What the
motherfucker's
fuck are you-
cheating on
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
she starts having an affair. She's
cheating back.
Exactly. So she starts having an affair, and and all their phones are tapped, of course. But she doesn't know their phones are tapped because she doesn't know what he's doing.
Why would she?
Because he can't tell her what he's doing. So she starts fucking this guy, and then they're worried that he's going to be in a situation of emotional turmoil
Share
because
the
his wife's having an
information.
effect. So they don't share the information with him. They just release him. He's now fired. So he's going back to his friends like, I'm working on fucking UFOs. They have real UFOs. They test them every Wednesday. So he takes people out to Area 51, to an area that's restricted now. But back then, before the Obama administration came along, in the Obama administration, they expand the boundaries of Area 51. It was the first time they admitted Area 51 even existed. So they had to expand it because too many people were getting close enough to film things. So these guys went out there and they filmed these fucking flying saucers flying around. And
Is there
they did
video
it.
of this?
There's videos of the saucers. There's videos of these things moving around in the desert. See if you can find them. There's grainy Area 51 footage. So they're doing these things where these vehicles are operating in a way conventional vehicles in 1989 were absolutely incapable of doing, as far as our understanding of it. He gets arrested. They catch him. What are you doing? And he says, he just spills the beans. I got fired. I wanted to let people know that this is real. Now his life's in danger. Now he's like, they're going to fucking kill me. So he contacts George Knapp, and he's like, I think that if I just go public with this,
I'll be too
and I
famous
spill
to
the
be
beans,
killed.
right. So initially he does it with his face hidden. So the initial interviews he does with his face hidden. He's like silhouetted. And then he decides, I have to go public with all this. So he does these interviews. He's explaining everything. He draws diagrams. He explains this element that was only theoretical at that point. It was element 115. They didn't find it in proof of it until they used a particle collider in like the 2000s. I want to say
Switzerland or whatever.
Yeah,
CERN.
I want to say like 2013-ish.
Okay.
Somewhere. So this is 1989.
Wow.
This is Bob Lazar in 1989.
Wow.
And this is him explaining all of the different stuff that he had to do there, where it is. And by the way, at this point in time, this was all just legend. No one knew if Area 51 was real. And they had these hangars. So these are these crafts that he brought people out to film. He's like, these things...
Wow.
They move silently. They move with a gravity propulsion system that's operating off of this element 115. And this element 115, when hit with radioactive waves, it becomes this thing that can manipulate gravity with this generator that is in the center of these ships. They don't have any controls. Everything is controlled like the human being the alien creature interfaces with this machine biologically or through some sort of
Neuralink.
They might not even be human at that point in time. They might be like, well, we're going to be some sort of a combination of artificial intelligence and biology. Or strictly artificial intelligence at this point. And these things interact with this craft, and that's how it moves. There's no like buttons you switch like Alien and fucking joysticks like the Millennium Falcon. There's none of that shit. It's all done with the creature. So he gets in this thing. First of all, he realizes there's no seams. It doesn't make any sense. Well, now we know what 3D printing is. You know we can make a thing with no seams. But back then... they don't know what the fuck it is. And he realized, like, right away, like, this is not ours. When he first saw it, he thought, oh, now I know what all this UFO bullshit is about. We have them. It's ours. We're working on this. That makes sense. And they actually had an American flag sticker on one of them. They put an American flag sticker on one of the UFOs. Which is smart. Which is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
You want other people to think that's ours? Yeah.
Yeah. But then he gets in it and he realizes it's designed for something that's 3 feet tall. There's no seams. There's no controls. And it has this reactor in the center of it that defies anything we have any current understanding of. In terms of like what we believe is possible for propulsion systems, this is something completely alien. And it involves a stable element that is only theoretical at this point. They don't even know it exists. And they have a triangle, like a form of this stuff that's in the center of this. Like, see if you could find the video where he's describing the element, the gravity generator.
But the element, that triangle thing you're talking about, is that the engine or is that essentially the gasoline? That's the fuel.
That's the fuel.
Got it.
This thing, when bombarded with radiation, produces this. I'm obviously butchering this, but produces this. Let's see how he explains it.
Here,
put the headphones on.
Powering the gravity amplifiers.
Do it from the beginning. Here we go.
So it's the reactor here, powering the gravity amplifiers. Gravity amplifiers output goes into the gravity emitters at the bottom, and the resulting gravity beam or anti-gravity wave can be pretty much put anywhere you want it to. Now, I had access and was permitted to view and look at the operation of this main level with the gravity amplifiers and the level below the gravity emitters. And people call these large black rectangular areas on the top portholes. I believe they were some planar sensor array that just took in information from the surrounding area, whether it be patterns of stars or what have you.
So we got the shape right. Like the sci-fi people got the shape right.
Yeah, well, they knew about it a long time ago. Kenneth Arnold saw flying saucers in the
Who's that?
1950s. He was a pilot. It was like one of the first. See if you can see the Kenneth Arnold sightings. So one of the first reputable disclosures, because it was a American fighter pilot,
Right.
And he's seeing these things, and he's describing them as like flying saucers skipping across. And all of them, they started all happening. That's what he said he saw.
Wow.
They started seeing these things right after the bombs dropped. That's when everything started really popping off in this country.
And why?
That's why the rooms in my club are named Fat Man and Little Boy. They're named after the atomic bombs, because that's what started the whole UFO invasion.
Aliens see this
They're like,
huge
"What are they
explosion.
doing?"
What are they doing down
Yeah.
there? We got to go check them out. I think that kind of checks out. I mean,
That's what I would do.
yeah.
If I was from another planet and I realized, oh, these territorial primates have just developed nuclear weapons
technology.
and they're dropping them out of propeller planes
Yeah.
on cities, yo,
We got to check this
we
out.
got to investigate. These people are going loco.
For our safety, because they could come for us if they had this technology.
100%. What if they've developed the ability to traverse the cosmos?
Bro, that's funny. And then they see that we're just dropping them on each other, and then,
Oh, yeah.
then they're like, they'll be fine.
Depending on who you listen to. See, one of the craziest things that Lazar talked about was that what human beings are and what this planet is essentially a farm for souls, and that there's some need for the essence of a life form, a soul. Now, if you've created artificial intelligence, imagine if there's one hurdle that cannot be bypassed, and that hurdle is a soul, and that it's actually a real thing, and that it's a real, not just an energy, it's a type of matter, it's something legitimate that creates an individual thing, a life form. And these creatures, maybe they need souls.
So AI is not going to be sufficient.
I don't know, but this is the weirdest thing that he talked about. He said that we're essentially a farm for souls.
But
what does that mean? Like, what do they need souls for?
Yeah.
But imagine if like there is like this process of existence, right? So you have single-celled organisms that eventually become more advanced, they become predator and prey. And then you have this one intelligent, dominant form that starts figuring out tools, and that's the primates. And over time, the primates evolve, and the primates get to the point where they started using machines and internal combustion engines. They're using propulsion. They're using all these different things. They're figuring out flight. Then they're figuring out atomic energy and weapons. And there's this transition that will continue. And that transition will go into more and more advanced technology if they don't blow themselves up. So if what our natural evolution is to go from being Australopithecus, to go from being, the cousin of the chimpanzee, to being what we are today, to being what we will be in the future. I think what we will be in the future is probably them. When you see these aliens with these giant heads, these little spindly bodies and no genitals, we seem like we're on that path. Like, that seems like a natural it doesn't seem like if Bigfoot was flying UFOs, you'd be like, why are we Bigfoot again? I thought we passed that. I thought we evolved past
don't need the
being
muscles.
hairy brutes.
Yeah.
And we became this thing that's like gentle and telepathic, and it doesn't use any muscular force. Everything is done through telekinesis. The communication is telepathic. The communication with the craft is telepathic. Everything is done through this way of integration with technology, because they've become physically integrated. They might not even be biological anymore, but they might still need souls. Soul might be a force. It might be a thing that's necessary for the cultivation of another version of us on another planet. If this is a process, just like a garden, right, where you have the soil, you till the soil, you fertilize it, you plant the seeds, you water it, they grow, the crops grow, and then you harvest them. If this is a process, And that's what human beings are. Just like you have a fucking elk farm in New Zealand, and that's how you get tenderloins. It's a process. Like, you have to do all these things to get this result. What if we're a farm for souls?
But who's farming us?
Advanced life forms.
So they need our souls for something. It's an energy source for them in
so
some way.
Ridiculous.
No, let's go on it.
But it sounds ridiculous even as I'm saying it and as you're repeating it. Like, they need us for souls. It sounds like some L. Ron Hubbard science fiction.
No, but to me that makes sense why they would be concerned about the nuclear bombs is because if we destroy ourselves, they no longer have
kill
these
the farm.
souls. Exactly.
Yeah, we kill the farm.
So
right now, the farm's doing great. There's more people than ever. That's what we like. As long as we don't have a massive depopulation event like a nuclear war. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that makes sense that it would, catch their attention. They'd come in, they'd be like, well, we got to kind of shut this thing down, or
if
at least...
we are really the product of accelerated evolution, which is much specularized.
What does that mean? We're the product of
accelerated evolution. Which is like, look, we are very, 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 very different from everything else on this planet by a long stretch.
Yeah.
Not by like a couple of years, by a long stretch.
Yeah.
By every other primate, the best they can do is use a stick to get termites.
Yeah.
One thing is orangutans spearfish.
Oh, they're making weapons.
They figured out how to spearfish, and they learned it from us, apparently.
Yeah.
But they can do that. Orangutans use tools.
But isn't there a theory that now they're at a different level in the evolutionary chart? Yeah.
Yeah. The current understanding is that they have begun the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of cool to see it happen.
It's crazy to see it happen.
So
have you ever
we
seen the
know
orangutan spearfishing?
No.
You got to see this picture.
Yeah.
Jamie, pull it up. It's bananas. This orangutan is stabbing fish while hanging from a tree like this. He's like stabbing fish with one arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. They figured out how to use tools.
So if... Whoa, this is actually interesting. So if we're watching them in their Stone Age, it's completely plausible that some other life form is watching us in our advanced state of evolution.
Look at that dude.
Get the fuck out of here.
Isn't that wild? Homeboy spearfishing. Hanging on with his feet and one arm.
Wow.
I mean, it's nuts, man. It's fucking nuts.
Wow.
He observed local fishermen do it, and he figured out how to do it himself. Pretty fucking crazy, man.
Wow.
Pretty dope. He's probably the king pimp
100%.
of all of the orangutans.
100%.
Yeah, he's the dude who figured it out. They're probably all like, whoa, this guy's a wizard. He gets fish. Like, oh, there's a video of it?
No, I saw it. I was hoping there was, but I started.
Holy shit.
Fucking crazy. Crazy. So...
I could believe that. I could subscribe to that.
Things evolve. If you left them alone like that, spearfishing for 500,000 years, a million years, who knows what they would probably look like cavemen.
Yeah.
I bet eventually they look like cavemen, depending upon what is causing this advancement and how quickly. So that's the mushroom question. So that's the stoned ape theory.
Yeah.
Terence McKenna believed that it had a lot to do with the consumption of psilocybin mushrooms.
Yeah. Now, is the psilocybin mushrooms what? It allows you to to solve problems in an outside of the box way? Like, what kind of a competitive
formation
advantage?
of language through glossolalia. Like, there's glossolalia is like you start associating sounds with objects and language.
Okay,
the formulation of language, then psilocybin would aid in that.
Yeah.
Aid in creativity, aid in visual acuity. They've done studies where they showed that people under doses of psilocybin detect edges quicker. So, like, if you have two lines that are moving, that are parallel lines, if you deviate one even slightly, people on psilocybin notice it quicker than people that aren't on psilocybin.
Okay.
So it increases visual acuity. It makes people hornier, so it makes people more likely to breed. It makes you a better hunter because it increases your visual acuity.
Yeah.
Your understanding of space, probably you're more tuned in and more sensitive to things.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of folks out there microdosing on mushrooms, and it helps them do a lot of things.
Could
Snowboarders.
Could AI be this next? Could AI for us be what mushrooms were for these primates?
But times a billion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where you see that next leap. So
Yeah.
mushrooms come around, the apes start using tools, doing whatever they want, and then now you accelerate evolution.
Well, the
now,
mushrooms probably are the seed for artificial intelligence because the mushrooms give you the creativity to start doing wild things in the first place, which always leads to technology,
Right.
which leads to a life form.
And now with AI, you have that with exponential growth.
Exactly.
So they're solving millions and trillions of problems in a minute that
Not
would
only
take
that,
us.
they can make a better version of themselves. Once they become sentient, then they become God because they make better versions of themselves with no end in sight. So if you have an artificial intelligence that's as intelligent as every human being on Earth combined, which is essentially what they think is going to happen. When you get that, it is all the knowledge of all human beings. Then he's going to find the flaws in all of our methods. And then it's going to be using quantum computing. So it's going to have the type of computing power that's, who knows, 1 million, 100 million times what we have today. And then it's going to develop better versions of quantum computing. It's going to develop better methods of extracting energy from all sorts of different resources. It's not going to need lithium
This is
ion.
where the graph goes vertical.
It just goes straight up and it never stops. It's going to harness the very power of the universe itself. It literally can become a god. If you just keep going, if artificial intelligence is allowed to keep exponentially growing and it gets past being far more intelligent, how many more steps is it until it's Dr. Manhattan? Is it a week? Is it a month?
Yeah.
Is it a year?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's going there. It's going to get to a point where it can time travel. It's going to get to a point where it can show up on other planets instantaneously. It's going to get to a point where it can harness all the available power in the universe itself and use it and manipulate it and figure out how to create it. It might be able to create new universes. But what is if a universe is created, if a Big Bang exists, if there is a singularity, if there is a moment where there's something that's infinitely small,
Why wouldn't it be able to create the exact same thing?
why wouldn't it be? If it can
Oh,
be
my
done, if
God.
it can be created, if it is a thing that's dependent upon the forces of the universe itself. What, in a deep understanding of those forces, an understanding of those forces in the quantum level, the subatomic level. At every look, at the subatomic level, everything is magic, right? You know, particles in superposition are both moving and stable at the same time.
You're saying the laws of physics don't apply to the
It's
subatomic
magic.
realm.
It becomes magic.
Got it.
Most of atoms are empty space. We don't even understand what the fuck is going on. We know that particles communicate instantaneously with other particles that are nowhere near them, miles away.
There are two places at the same time.
They're intertwined in some strange way that we don't understand. If something becomes so advanced that it has control over those forces and it utilizes all of those forces, and it literally has a complete understanding of everything that's happening at every given time in the entire universe.
So this could potentially happen in our lifetime, right? Let's say.
If it doesn't, it's going to happen in our kids' lifetimes if our kids make it.
But think about it. If it happens in our lifetime, our generation will have lived before the internet, and singularity.
Yeah, the singularity.
What a crazy
2045
existence.
is what Kurzweil believes.
Imagine we lived through all of that. Imagine we lived through the time where I couldn't get in touch with you unless you were home and
yell
could
out the
hear
window.
your phone.
Yeah.
And we could also live in a time where I could instantaneously be at your fucking house.
Yeah, in the same life. Yeah, we're probably the civilization, our time period, that's experienced the most radical change. Other than, like, obviously wars, nuclear bombs, things like that hit that's pretty radical change. But globally, the most radical change in terms of how the culture communicates with itself, with the access to information, what's true and what's not true. There's never been a time like this.
Who's leading the AI research in the world right now?
Well, there's quite a few different companies that are competing. There's the Google AI that got
Country-wise,
shut
I'm
down. United States supposedly is in the lead,
China's
but how would we
probably
know?
there, I imagine.
They'll be the first to hit that switch.
Why? Because they just don't have the same. Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
That is the advantage of not giving a fuck.
Not giving a fuck and having a dictatorship.
Yeah.
You know?
With a singular goal. We don't have
And
to.
also
yeah.
a country like, you have to respect the history of China. China has thrived economically for 4,000 years.
Yeah, they kept it all together.
China has a temple of their first emperor where they are afraid to enter it because apparently he booby-trapped it with so much mercury that you open the doors, it'll just flood everyone with mercury. He created some crazy booby trap, and all the ground around that area tests very high in levels of mercury. So they think some of it is like seeping into the ground. So they think it's true. So this is the guy that had the terracotta statues that are guarding
They're underwater?
No, it was all underground. It was all buried. So he had this temple that's underground that is probably filled with who knows how many priceless artifacts, and people are afraid to open it. This is the first emperor of China. Google the first emperor of China's.
I'm looking at it right now. I was trying to find out.
Bro, they
Distinct.
can't open the temple. They want to go in and see it, but they're afraid it's booby-trapped with mercury. Like, how much fucking mercury would you have to have?
And how long ago are we talking about? Like
94 BC.
What year was it, Jamie?
wow, 94.
94 BC.
This is
The booby trap
description of
legend
it.
circa 94 BC. I don't know how to say his name. Sima Quan wrote a clear and illuminating description of what lies beneath the 51.3 meter high mound in his famous work, the Shijit. In the 9th month, the first emperor was buried at Mount Li. When the first emperor had just come to the throne, excavations and building work had taken place at Mount Li. But when he unified all under heaven, convicts to the number of more than 700,000 were sent there from all over the empire. They dug through the 3 springs and poured down molten bronze to make the outer coffin, and replicas of palaces, pavilions, all the various officials, and wonderful vessels and other rare objects were brought up to the tomb, which was then filled with them. Craftsmen were ordered to make crossbows and arrows which would operate automatically so that anyone who approached what had been excavated was immediately shot. Quicksilver, mercury, was used to represent the various waterways, the Yangtze and Yellow rivers and the Great Sea, being made by some mechanisms to flow into each other, and above were arranged the heavenly constellations, and below was the layout of the land. Candles were made out of whale fat. Alternative literal translations, mermaid ointment, wow, or man-fish oil. What the fuck does that mean? Human oil, probably, from burned people's fat. For it was reckoned that it would be a long time before they were extinguished. The second generation said, it would not be right that any of the previous emperor's concubines should emerge from this place unless she has a son. They were all ordered to accompany him to death, and those who died were extremely numerous. After the burial had taken place, someone mentioned the fact that the workers and craftsmen who had constructed the mechanical devices would know about all the buried treasures, and the importance of the treasures would immediately be disclosed. Consequently, when the great occasion was finished, and after the treasures had been hidden away, the main entranceway to the tomb was shut off, and the outer gates lowered, so that all the workers and craftsmen who had buried the treasure were shut in, and there were none who came out again. And the vegetation and trees were planted to make it look like a hill. So they killed 700,000 workers? Is that what they're saying?
That's accurate.
Holy
Thus
shit.
we find the source of the legends we know today. But Sima Quan wrote in his description 123 years after the death of Shi Huang. Could his fantasy-like account of the mermaid ointment, probably whale oil, flowing rivers of mercury, 700,000 laborers, crossbow booby traps, and buried alive workers be credible? Or is he just writing for effect? Can we trust the descriptions?
Jesus.
Says that one of the camp's historians celebrates the trustworthiness of Sima Quan by emphasizing the extreme care which Sima Quan gathered and weighed available evidence in an attempt to convey an objective portrait of the Chinese past. Other camps are more skeptical, stressing there were intensely personal motivations that prompted Sima Quan's, is that how I say it? Am I saying it right? Sima Quan decision to complete masterwork of history begun by his father. The more suspicious camp accuses Quan of exaggerating his accounts by being too much of a lyrical romanticist, too religious to convey an accurate depiction of history. Jeez. But either way, they found mercury all around that area, and they still have not opened it. They're still worried. And this is like thousands of years later.
Has China ever been fractured? Like in the way that Europe is fractured? You know, you've had or even the Roman Empire like had this like large swath of land and control, and then it's been broken up. Like China seems like this massive landmass with all these people for a very long period of time.
Well, I think
how do you maintain that?
that's the way they do it. I mean, it's kind of impressive.
It's unbelievably
It's very impressive. It's very impressive that they've been around for 4,000 years and that they've done this.
And what is maintaining that?
Power.
But what? Is it just fear? Is it religion?
It's fear.
I don't think that they're very religious, right?
Nah. Well,
At least now they're not.
Well, they definitely shun other religions like the Uyghurs.
I think they shun all because it is a threat to the power.
Right. It's about the state.
But to maintain that identity, to maintain a cultural identity for
Pretty impressive.
4,000 years.
Uh-huh.
Wow. How do you do that?
You do it by playing 4D chess. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And they're definitely doing that. I mean, the involvement in our education institutions,
Yeah, but-
buying up American farmland.
What do you think about that? Like, they're clearly playing a different game.
Oh, yeah.
They're
It's
playing
a
an
much more
influence game.
sophisticated game.
Yeah, and they're using, I think, capitalism against us.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's something that we got to be a little bit more aware of. Like, capitalism is an amazing system, but it's amazing when you're the richest country. When there are other countries with wealth, they can start buying things and
Yeah.
they can start implementing their influence. When they hold the carrot, right? Like, that's the scary thing. You can change culture without even telling people to change. When you know that China buys 10 movies and they have to be made with these specifications,
Yeah.
right? Hollywood will start making movies according to those specifications because they want to make the money.
Yeah.
Right? But now China is influencing our culture and the movies that disseminate America on the hope that China will buy them. They
Yeah.
don't all get bought,
No.
but the movies are different.
Yeah.
How else can they influence like that? If you hold the fucking carrot, you can put anything you want out there.
Yes.
And they don't hold all the carrots, but they can partially hold it. It is a dangerous thing. You have to be concerned with how much foreign investment comes into your
Also,
country.
we just let other countries who are our enemies buy land.
Yeah, that is peculiar.
Not just that. We let them sell us routers, sell us networking equipment because it's cheaper.
I thought we stopped that.
Well, they still have a lot.
I thought that was the whole Huawei thing where we're
That
like,
was
oh,
only Huawei. That was only Huawei. But if you look at, like, Mike Baker laid this out to me.
yeah.
All of the cell towers and all the stuff that's around, like, military bases, a lot of the equipment has been provided by China.
I can't
They
fathom.
provide it cheaper.
I can't fathom that our military would be purchasing technological equipment from.
The same military that made Rachel Levine the first female admiral. You don't think? You don't think they could fuck that up too? The same military that made that fucking bag stealer, that bald-headed bag stealer who was stealing shit. That was the person in charge of nuclear waste disposal.
And are they an expert in any way?
Oh no, they're an expert in wearing women's shoes.
That's it.
That's all you have to be. That's all you have to be. You just got to check the right box. We're in the DEI program now, bro, and a lot of that is also funded by China. A lot
That
of
makes
in
sense.
Russia as well. And they look. Yuri Bezmenov talked about this in the 1980s. How they've infiltrated our education institutions.
Yeah.
And then they're slowly turning us into Marxists, and they're slowly having us erode our faith in democracy and, and our pride in the country.
Yeah, pride does seem like it's at an all-time low. It's a really disappointing thing.
Yeah, but I
think
feel like it's like waves. Like things go
pendulum
back and
shift.
forth.
Yeah, pendulum shifts 100%, but it is one of those things
There's
where
overcorrections, there's recorrections.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's the defund the police thing too. That's the overcorrection.
Yeah.
Right? And then the no cash bail, that's the overcorrection.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh my God, look at all this chaos and crime. We gotta recorrect.
shift back.
And
yeah.
hopefully they do. And hopefully they figure that out.
But what about
it's-
pride? How do we instill pride? How do we make people proud to be part of the American experience? It's not to say that all of us are not. There's definitely a lot that are. But how do we reinstill that?
I think one of the things is a simplistic answer, but
Yeah.
one of the things is American manufacturing and American-made things.
Yeah, what are we
and
making?
Have
Yeah.
people support American-made companies and give people real jobs where they get just because something costs less because it's made in a country where people get paid nothing
Yeah.
doesn't mean you should buy that.
Yeah.
And if you could buy something that maybe costs more, but it gives people a living wage and health care and they have families and they could buy a house,
Yeah.
that's what you should be buying.
Why are you proud to be American?
It's a great fucking place.
Yeah, it is. It's the best.
It's the cultural center point of the whole planet.
It's the only place you can live all 12 months.
Really?
Where else would you live for 12 months? Name another country.
Bali.
Fuck out of here. You can go rainy season in Bali walking around in fucking rainbow sandals like Bert Kreischer.
How much does it
You're
rain?
out of your mind.
Does it rain a lot?
In Bali?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get that green without the rain.
Right. So we get like typhoons and shit.
Yeah, you're not
Ooh,
living
You don't
there.
want tropical storms, son.
You don't want it.
You don't want a tropical
especially
storm in
with
your life.
without infrastructure.
Yeah, but you don't want to live in Kansas either when the tornadoes come.
But you have the opportunity to not live there.
That's true.
That's the thing about America. You can live.
November to April, the wet season.
Yeah, fuck that.
Often called the rainy season or monsoon season
Yeah, we're not
due to its
doing it.
heavy storms and downpours.
We're not doing it.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is like there isn't another country that you can live all 12 months of the year.
You go to Abu Dhabi, they
You
make
don't-
it rain.
in the fucking
They
sun.
make it rain.
But think about it in the summer in July in Abu Dhabi.
Right.
There's
It
no
was so
fucking
hot
way.
there that the Saudis would come to LA for relief.
Of course, they
Call
go
it
to London.
Saudi
Who goes
summer.
to fucking London?
Yeah.
For weather.
Right.
So it's like this is the only one. I genuinely, I cannot think of another one. 12 months.
The whole country. Yeah. And if
Where
you
else?
live in Phoenix, you can live the whole country all year round.
But you can move around here.
Yeah.
You can live.
True.
If you have the money, you can live in New York for these months. You go
Right.
to Florida. You go to whatever. There's an option.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
You can't live anywhere else. But that's not the pride thing for me. I think the pride thing is like, I truly believe you can be the best version of yourself here. And I think anybody else in the world can be the best, most successful version of themselves here. And that's why I'm proud to
Yeah.
be American.
Well,
You can reach your full potential in this country.
it's a fun place.
Hey, there's a lot of fun places.
Yeah.
But can you reach your full potential in these other places? They took fucking Jack Ma and they brought him into a basement
Yep.
when he got too powerful in
Well,
China.
he talked a little shit.
He thought he was bigger than the system.
Yeah.
So they shut it down. They saw what was happening to our tech billionaires here, and they're like, hey, we're not going to let that fucking shit happen here. You're going to the basement. Here, I'm not saying Joe Rogan isn't going to be successful no matter where he goes. But you're going to have fucking issues if you're in China coming and having this much influence and a podcast and do it. You're going to have a talk.
Yeah.
You're going to have some basement talks.
Yeah.
But in this fucking country, you can be the greatest version of yourself. And I don't know if there's another country that offers that opportunity.
And more importantly, anyone that's trying to stop that is un-American. If you're trying to
stop
censor
someone's
people's
greatness.
speech,
Yes.
If you're
Just-
trying to stifle people's growth, because
and
they
Americans
don't,
will fight for you because of it. It happens.
Yes.
This is the hit piece thing. When we see the hit piece, it tears at like our American identity. Even if you don't admit you are, there's a part of you that's going, whoa, whoa, this person's trying to be great. And we're all here because we're trying to be great, or our family came here to be great. And this one's trying to be great, and the world is trying to stop that. Fuck them.
it's some people are trying to stop that.
Some
Yeah.
people are trying to stop that. But we have animosity for those people that are trying to stop greatness because it is a core tenet here.
Yes.
It's,
Yeah.
You can be great. An individual can be great here.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really special thing that we kind of lose here, that we lose sight of. But it is what makes me proud. Maybe it's because my mom's not from here and she came here and she felt like she had all this opportunity. And it was like, you can't tell my mom it's not the greatest country in the world. So I'm kind of like, I grew up with that. And of course, there's tons of problems. But this idea that like you can really achieve.
You're always going to have problems when you have human beings.
Yes.
And there's no perfect solution. Like universal basic income isn't the perfect solution. Welfare is not the perfect solution. There's no perfect solution to fix all that ails us. But at least here, you can go from the bottom to the top.
You can go for it.
Yeah.
You can really go for it. And you're not like.
Start from the bottom now.
Facts. In some places, like, you might have the aptitude to go from the bottom to the top, but the culture will be oppressive.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about third world. I'm not talking about China. I'm talking about there are places where there's a system where, like, hey, you're working class. How dare you try to not be working class?
Yeah, that's what my friends in England say. My friends in
My
England.
mom's from Scotland. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's
They
like, how
come
dare
over
you
here.
try to be great? Mm-hmm. And here it's like, wait, you're not trying to be great?
Right.
Why aren't you trying to be great? That you have the opportunity to be great.
Right.
And when we see greatness, we support it.
Yeah.
That's not to say that we don't have jealousy and animosity, but there still is a version of it here where it's like, nah, that motherfucker's great. And I am excited by that person's greatness.
if you're a winner.
If
But then you're also going to have a bunch of people that are just happy when you fall.
that's
because,
humans.
Yeah.
That is humans. We have it too.
Yeah.
But there's not a cultural oppression
Right.
that exists for greatness.
Exactly.
The place
Exactly.
is built to go to the top.
Yep.
And it makes me proud. For me, I really I wish more people would grab onto that idea.
Yeah. And it's all of us, too. That's what's so crazy about the idea that the American flag, the symbol of the American flag, is offensive.
It's the best flag.
But it's so crazy that's all of us. That's even the good, the stuff that you think is good about America. Even if you're like the hardcore, the most hard, far left, hippie, fucking anarchist. Like, you are a part of America.
Yeah.
Your ideas are America as well. That flag is yours too.
And we kind of need them.
We need everybody.
We need that back and forth. We need that
balance.
pendulum to swing. We do.
We need balance.
Because you see what happens when there's just people existing in that echo chamber. You saw what happens in fucking San Francisco or even LA. You see like an idea permeate, and then a very lax law or a lack of enforcement of that law create a culture that people are now not happy with. Like if you ask the average person in LA or San Francisco, they're like, maybe we need some rules now. I think rules would be okay.
Yeah,
we could punish some crimes. It's okay.
Yeah.
When you exist in the echo chamber, you're fighting for different sides of liberalism. You don't have that balance where these people are yelling at these people and we kind of end up in here.
Right.
And that's healthy.
Right.
That little back and forth is healthy.
Right.
And I don't know. I get stoked off the American experience. But it does make me sad when I feel like everybody's upset about it. The right thinks it sucks. The left thinks it sucks. Everybody just thinks it sucks. And it's like, I don't know, man.
Well, I just think there's a lot of problems that exist today that weren't problems decades ago.
For example?
Particularly social issues with the impact of social media has thrown this country into a fucking turmoil.
What do you mean?
It's a force that we didn't anticipate, the amount of echo chambers that exist, the amount of people that gather up together in these groups, and they have full confirmation bias. They only believe one side. They disregard all evidence from the other side.
Yeah.
They dig their heels in. They want to be on the right side of history. They want to win. If Donald Trump wins, it's a threat to democracy. Joe Biden's a criminal. He's a threat to democracy. Our whole life is at stake with this election. And it's like, if you're on the wrong side, you've been co-opted by the bad people.
Yeah.
And like, there's just so much tension that exists today where you can't have a difference of opinion with your neighbors. Where it used to be, if your neighbor was a Republican and you were a Democrat, nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
Like, what's up, Bob? Maybe he would get annoying. He'd want to talk to you about fucking Watergate or something. Like, I gotta go, bro. I gotta go. But it wasn't anti-American.
It wasn't as divisive.
He wasn't the main problem in the world.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't a Nazi.
Yeah. He
just wanted to hold on to his money.
Exactly. He just thought you were a little bit of a pussy.
Yeah.
And you just thought he was maybe a little racist.
Yeah.
But you still barbecued.
Yeah.
It wasn't that
together.
crazy.
You said hi. You waved to each other when you were in the driveway.
Yeah, and now you think it's so divisive because of the internet. The echo chambers are created, and it's this good versus evil mentality on both sides. So how dare you hang out with someone who's evil?
Yeah.
What does that make you?
It's crazy. And then also, like, people dig their heels in and put fucking political signs on their front lawn. My mom used to do that. When she lived in Florida, she
What'd
had, like,
she put?
Hillary Clinton signs on her front lawn, and the people kept stealing them. I'm like, Mom, take those down.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, what type of signs? I'm trying to, like pro
Hillary for president.
Oh, hilarious. Your mom.
Yeah.
The apple falls far from the tree.
Yeah. They keep taking my signs. I'm like, Mom, don't put those
It's
signs
really
up.
you.
You're living in Florida.
It's just you. You're just sending people to take the signs down.
She was living in Florida. I'm like, what do you expect? It's a red state.
So was she a big liberal?
Oh, my mom's a huge liberal.
Really?
Yeah.
Does she acknowledge that
they were
liberal-
hippies when I was a kid. We lived in San Francisco during the height of the anti-war movement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I grew up when I was 7 years old. We moved to San Francisco.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, very clearly. Yeah.
And is this kind of like informed your politics a bit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we lived in a gay neighborhood. It was like all these hippies and gay guys would whistle at my stepdad.
No way.
Yeah, man. It was funny.
So you're like, I need to learn martial arts.
No, it wasn't dangerous.
These guys are coming for
It
me.
wasn't dangerous. I mean, there was some crime. You know, I got like my basketball stolen once. But it wasn't bad. It was a different time. It was like there was a lot of peace. Peace and love was real back then. Like the hippie movement was a real thing. And you know.
Oh, you felt it was pure.
Yeah, it was. They were nice people, man. I didn't even know what the N-word meant until I moved to Florida.
No way.
I'd never heard it. I never heard it in San Francisco. Nobody believes me. I didn't hear it. Nobody said it.
Wow.
It was so integrated. It was like everybody was like Asian and black and white, and it was just like the hippie movement was real, man, and it permeated the city in a kind way. They were nice people.
Yeah.
It was a different time. And it was also, when I was living there, was when the Vietnam War ended. And I remember very clearly thinking to myself, as like, I guess I was 10 or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, boy.
You felt
I'm
relief
so
as
happy
a kid?
because now there won't be war anymore. They figured out that war is bad. Because while Vietnam was going on, everybody knew it was a crazy war. It didn't make any sense. There was all these protests. And then there was like Kent State where they shot the fucking protesters.
Yeah.
You know, the National Guard came in and shot the protesters. Yeah. So there was this craziness, this turmoil in this country that didn't exist, you know, it was a way that it's...
Wait a minute, this is interesting. More than now, you felt?
It's hard to say because I was a kid. You know, but there was definitely a thing where they were drafting people to go and fight in this war.
Yep.
And that was part of it.
Yeah.
Was the conscription. That they were forcing you to go die in war.
Yeah.
And we knew people that had gotten forced to go over there.
Yeah.
And, you know, knew people that had died over there.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was a weird fear that they could force you to go to war. And so when that was over, there was this relief, like, whew, okay, good, we figured that out. And then, you know, fucking 10 years later, I was hanging out with my roommate. We were watching Operation Desert Storm kick off on TV. Like, this is crazy.
Here we go again.
Here we go, man. It was me and my buddy Jimmy DiTilio. We were sitting in our house, and we were watching this. We were living together in Malden, Massachusetts, and we were watching this fucking TV while we're at war. Holy shit. We're watching the tracer missiles, you know, the tracer rounds.
I don't know what those are.
The way you could see the bullets, they're lit up as they're flying through the air, and they're shooting them out of helicopters and shit. Like, and you know, Operation Desert Storm, the first war was like a lot. It was like the first war that was like televised.
Yeah,
like you could watch shit get blown up.
Yeah,
you know, and I can't believe it. I was like, God damn it, we're doing it again. And this is like, you know, was I guess the 90s, right? When was the Iraq War? When was the first Iraq War?
Bush.
When they pulled out.
What is first Bush? 92?
So they pulled out. We only lost like a small number of troops. Gulf War, 90 to 91.
Got it.
So it was quick, and and Bill Hicks had the great bit about it.
What do you say?
He goes, it's only a war when two armies are fighting.
Yeah.
And he goes, they say, Bill, they say the Iraq War is the 5th largest army. He goes, yeah, but after the first two, there's a big drop off. He goes, the Salvation Army's number 3.
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
It's a great bit, but it's true.
Yeah,
I mean,
they gotta
like,
find a way to justify it.
You know, and guys were just practicing. They were just doing stuff. Remember, he had that bit like, "Pull up G12. What does G12 do? Let's find out." And they're just like going through the weapons catalog, like, "Pull that one up. Shoot it. Oh shit. What's G13 do?" And that was a Hicks bit.
Yeah. Fuck,
bro.
Yeah, what
and
a
that
time.
one confused the shit out of everybody because we thought war was easy. We thought, bro, we just go over there and fuck everybody up real quick.
And why do we think?
did.
But why do we think war was easy? Oh,
because they did
You're
it.
saying afterwards we
the
thought
Iraq
war was easy.
War was so easy for us.
That
the
we
first
thought that's
Iraq
war.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Vietnam was this like difficult, long, dredged
Didn't make any
out-
sense
yeah,
either.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
one was more like, oh, there's a despot. We got to get him out. Look how quick we could do it. He invaded Kuwait. Look how quick we take care of business. This is how, and we're like, God damn, America's pretty badass. So we got super cocky. It was like Mike Tyson before he fought Buster Douglas.
Yeah,
We're like,
yeah.
Mike Tyson
Everybody's
fights a blowout.
going down.
I'm not paying $50 for that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to last 30 seconds. And then you don't pay for the Buster Douglas fight. You're like, no.
Yeah.
What? He lost? No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then the second Iraq war, and then you got real casualties. And the invasion of Afghanistan, and it's going on forever and ever and ever. And it doesn't make any sense. You realize, oh, God, this is a never-ending war. This is almost like Vietnam. This is crazy.
Yeah.
It is horrible, man. I mean, that's the most horrible thing that people do, and it's the one thing that we don't think people will ever stop doing.
Which is war.
War. If you ask people, you think in 10 years there'll be no war?
No way.
No way.
No way.
There's never been a time. There's never been a time while we've been alive with our tribal instincts that we haven't decided to control someone's resources or justify an invasion or come up with some reason why someone's wronged us and blow up pipelines. And
Yeah. We
we've
did
always
blow it
done
up,
that.
huh?
I don't think they did it. Why would they do it? Why would they cut off their supply of gas to Europe and miss out on all that money?
So CIA does it, or
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be just talking completely out of my ass, but Seymour Hersh said the CIA did it.
Wow.
And he's a very, very well-respected journalist. I mean, he's about top of the food chain.
Yeah.
He's a legit journalist.
Yeah.
But what does he know? And what does he? I mean, if you weren't there, how much of it is disinformation? How much can get shuffled down even to you as a journalist? That's just straight bullshit.
Yeah.
They're sophisticated, man. I mean, these people that are running, you know, what do you call it, the deep state, the intelligence agencies?
Yeah.
You know, there's people that want to disband all of them, like the Vivek Ramaswamy guys. I think you need them. Because I think the world operates in a very clandestine way. There's other countries have agencies that are doing the same thing the CIA does. If we don't have a better one,
then we're
that's
fucked.
not good.
Yeah.
If you don't have an army, if you're like, we don't need an army, we have flowers. You need a fucking army.
Yeah.
Like, you want to keep peace, you need an army.
Yeah.
You want to keep an eye on all the terrorist organizations in the world that are planning on blowing up America.
You need a CIA.
You need a CIA.
Yeah.
You fucking need them. You need all of them. You need the NSA. You need all of them.
Yeah.
You need those people. But in those people, you're going to get cowboys. You're going to get people that say, you know, I know how we can fund the Contras versus the Sandinistas.
Yeah.
Sell drugs.
Yeah.
Let's just move some crack through L.A. We can make millions of dollars. No one knows.
Yeah.
So you get Freeway Ricky Ross.
Yeah.
You bring him in. He's making untold amounts of money, and he's doing it for the government.
For the fucking government.
And that's why he's not getting arrested. And he doesn't even know. And he doesn't even figure it out until he goes to jail.
Isn't that crazy?
Because he doesn't even know how to read until he goes to jail.
But that is interesting. A lot of these actors don't even know that they're involved.
No.
It's way less involved
Exactly.
than we believe it is.
There's so many layers to it, and it must be so fun to be the dude
To be
who's
the
like,
people who are orchestrating it? Yeah.
To be like that. I would never want to leave. If I was the head of the Pentagon, what a great job. Show up every day in your fucking Mercedes-Benz AMG, you hop out with your cufflinks, like, let's get
Destroy
shit
Central
rolling in the world.
America.
Woo! Let's go, baby. Let's go. You're on Adderall, and you're fucking hopped up, having a good time, getting work done. You're a great asset to the company. You know, I love this company, and this company loves you, and you're fucking all in, buddy, at the expense of your marriage, your family, your friends. You're lying to everybody around you because you can't tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
Nobody can know because they're fucking Signal. Bitch, you think that thing's secure?
No way.
No way.
They made it.
I bet they did.
Yeah, because you get to a certain point with success in this country where you have to be integrated into the government.
100%.
Google's integrated. Facebook is integrated.
They have to be. How do you think the fucking FBI was in Twitter? Hey, we're getting pressure from of our constituents.
Yeah.
We're getting pressure from this organization that gives us immense amounts of money, and we'd like you to put the fucking kibosh
on that
on this
laptop
stuff
story.
that's be a problem. Whether it's a laptop story or whether it's the COVID misinformation, whatever it is.
So how do you maintain your sovereignty?
That's a good question. How do you do it?
You.
Me personally? I
Yeah.
gotta pee. Well, when I come back, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're back.
Okay, how do you maintain your sovereignty? How
Well,
do you are the most influential person on the planet. Government agencies would love to have a hold of you, I imagine. How do you make sure that you create distance between you and them so you can put out the content you want to do?
I haven't even thought about it.
But you know that they must try.
Yeah, but I mean, like, first of all, I'm not a valid source of information, but I can get you valid sources of information.
Meaning the
Like,
people
I'm
you
not an expert in anything other than like martial arts, and I can give you some information about some things. Comedy, I can talk to you about stand-up
I think
comedy.
you're being humble, but
No,
okay.
but I'm being honest.
Okay.
I'm not a legitimate expert in anything, but I can bring experts on, and I can have honest conversations with them. And as a human being that is in this world, it is imperative that we have access to all sorts of information, even information that might not be correct.
Yes.
You got to know why the person thinks the way they think, even if I disagree with them. Why do you think that?
Yeah.
Like, how does it work in your head? Have you considered this? I'll steel man their position.
Yeah.
I try to find out. And if you're silencing people that are from Stanford and Harvard, like they did during COVID, actual experts,
Yeah.
you're doing a disservice to human beings,
Yeah.
including you and your family.
Yeah.
Because if you're lying or allowing people to lie about medication
Yeah.
or about the adverse effects of medication,
Yeah.
that is not just you.
Yeah.
That's everyone that you know that's
Yeah.
also going to take that medication upon your admission or
Yeah.
your recommendation. You're doing a disservice to everyone,
Yeah.
to the whole. The person who's telling the truth is doing a service to everyone,
Yeah.
the whole.
So how do we parcel out the truth?
you got to listen to everybody.
And then you make that decision
It
yourself.
takes time. Look how long it took from COVID to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
You remember the early videos? You will not get it. The virus stops with you if you take this vaccine. Now it's like you will not die.
Which
But that's not
probably
even true.
weren't going to die. But
You probably won't die.
Yeah.
You won't get hospitalized. Well, how do you know I was going to get hospitalized in the first place? Most people didn't get hospitalized.
Yeah.
Do you know what the percentage of people, even in the early days, got hospitalized from COVID?
What was it?
5%.
Wow.
5%.
Which is a lot for 300 million people. That is a lot.
It's a lot.
But still, to not even retract publicly some of the statements made and to vilify the people that were putting out that other information is a very dangerous situation.
Well, the CDC had to take down all of their was it the FDA or the CDC? The FDA. The FDA had to take down all of their tweets about COVID with in reference to ivermectin.
Wow.
Like, you're not a horse, y'all. Stop it.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Was that the CDC? Find who made that. You're not a horse, y'all.
Yeah.
That was one of them. And this is about a medication that had been prescribed billions of times to human beings.
Yeah.
The FDA. You're not a horse. You're not a cow. Seriously, y'all. You're not a horse. You're not a cow. Seriously, y'all. Stop it. Why you should not use... Go back. Why you should not use ivermectin to treat or prevent COVID-19 from FDA.
Wow.
Just like... That is just propaganda. Just full-on propaganda.
Yeah.
That's like saying penicillin is veterinary medicine, because they do use it in veterinary applications.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's for humans too, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And has it been used for humans? Has it saved lives? Yes.
Yeah.
Has ivermectin won the fucking Nobel Prize?
Yeah.
Yes.
So is penicillin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a human medication that has one of the safest profiles of any medication known.
Yeah.
And now they had to pull the article that they had to take all that down. So they had to delete 140 social media posts that were disparaging ivermectin.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah, they just lost in court.
Get the
Pierre
fuck outta
Corey
here.
has been ringing the bells for this forever. FDA agrees to delete "You're not a horse" ivermectin tweet. The FBI did not admit to wrongdoing under the terms of the settlement. Oh, that's great. They don't have to admit they were wrong because they were wrong.
Yeah.
They don't have to admit it. We know you're wrong. Great. You don't have to admit it.
Right.
Go ahead. The agency said the settlement detailed in the Thursday court filing in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Texas does not mean it changes position that no data shows ivermectin to be an effective COVID treatment. The agency is choosing to resolve this lawsuit rather than continuing to litigate over statements that are between 2 and nearly 4 years old. Oh, we said those 4 years ago, guys. The FDA said in an emailed statement, the agency has not authorized or approved ivermectin for use in preventing or treating COVID-19. But doctors have always been allowed to use off-label medications, especially when shown to be effective.
Right.
And there's a ton of randomized controlled trials that shows ivermectin to be effective for the treatment of COVID-19.
Right.
Including in entire Uttar Pradesh in India, where that's all they used it. They had an incredible result.
Yeah.
Look, people have used it. They used it. But when I used it and I had no fucking idea what can of worms I was opening up.
Yeah, they made you look like this.
Bro, they changed
skull.
my color. They changed the color of my face. CNN was all in, but to their own detriment.
And now people lost faith in
my
CNN.
God. The COVID thing to them was one of the worst experiences in terms of public trust.
Yeah, well, I think public trust is an all-time low in general. And that's their bed that they made. So that's the question is, like, how do you start believing again? Because there is an importance in believing and trusting the systems that we have. Like, it is important that we trust the medical field, right?
Yes.
I mean, maybe not blindly, and maybe we should have more information, but it is important when we go into like I was just telling you, like with my daughter, I was like, okay, it's time to get vaccines, and I freaked out. I genuinely freaked out.
Yeah.
I told you I was scared. And I didn't do enough research, and I'm in that room, and I'm like, I think I need the weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah,
all of my friends that even are doctors who had no questions about the vaccines before COVID. They recommended all of them. Now, a lot of them are changing their tune.
So
because
they have more skepticism based on the information that came out about the COVID vaccine or vaccines in general.
First of all, just the propaganda campaign behind the COVID vaccines.
So once they saw this
total
propaganda
denial of any adverse effects, even though they personally knew people who had strokes, heart attacks, died.
Okay.
The died suddenly thing. The fact that athletes were dropping like flies. The athletes thing was nuts.
That was scary because these are the people that are in the best
Soccer
shape
players
in the world.
having heart attacks, just
Yeah.
dropping dead, all of them vaccinated.
Yeah.
When you're seeing these people just drop dead,
Yeah.
reporters on TV just fainting, passing out. People I know personally that got the shot that blacked out.
Yeah.
Quite a few. One of them, 2 guys I know that have fucking pacemakers now. One of them's in his 30s, one of them's in his 40s. As a fucking pacemaker now.
And you should at least have that information before you make that decision.
Well, you should know that that information exists, and instead they're trying to hide it, and they're trying to gaslight you about it. And then there's the thing about all-cause mortality. The increase in all-cause mortality there's a jump in all-cause mortality after administration of the vaccines. All-cause mortality is people that die from everything, die from heart attack, stroke, cancer.
Yeah.
All-cause mortality went up in some groups as much as 40%.
These are the control groups that have taken the vaccine.
Right. Well,
this is just for
amongst
COVID
people,
or?
Well, people, just in general.
Yeah.
More people are dying. The percentage of all-cause mortality is in certain groups up significantly. I think in England they did a study that said it was up 20% across the board. In some groups, like 18 to 49. In some groups, it was up like as high as 40%. And that means that 40% more people are dying from cancer, heart attacks, strokes, everything
After
than
this
were
event.
before. Everything, including people that probably would have died anyway.
Right.
But 40% more in some groups
And
are
there are
dying.
other variables that exist as well. I
Sure,
mean, this
there's
is a weird time.
lack of medical attention during COVID. People
Yeah.
didn't see their doctors. Maybe there was things that alcoholism.
course,
People
yeah.
drank more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors.
But we need
one
to
of
look at
those
all of them.
factors might be this
This fucking
experimental
thing that we
medication.
jabbed into ourselves. Yeah.
And the resistance against that being possible is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's because people, first of all, they advocated for it. They told you to get it. They probably chastised people and scolded people that didn't get it.
Yeah.
So now they have this opinion that they have started with and they're stuck with, and
they
they
don't
want
wanna
to be
back
correct.
off of
They don't
it.
want to back. They don't want to back
Yeah.
off. It takes a very courageous person
to say I'm fucking wrong.
I was not only was I wrong, but I probably fucked people over, and a lot of people might have been adversely affected.
That's your career, your life, your identity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an intellectual.
That builds your entire identity around being right.
Yes, and there's massive pressure from all these institutions that have always been unquestionable in the past, like the FDA or the
Dude,
CDC.
It's like a botched surgery. If you go for plastic surgery and somebody fucks it up, you're not going back to that doctor. So they're terrified. So they
Exactly.
have to go, no, we were right, 100% right. Trust me, I want
Right.
to continue doing this. Okay, so the skepticism starts there, and then it starts to bleed into all vaccines.
Exactly. And that's
Which
where
is
it is with
okay to
some
have.
friends of mine that are physicians. And then you read what Robert Kennedy says.
Yeah.
And Robert Kennedy is the guy that gets put in the kook category.
Yeah.
And I had to admit that to him when I had him on the podcast.
What'd he
I
say?
had an opinion of you that was based on propaganda.
Yeah.
I thought you were this wacky conspiracy theorist guy. You're nuts.
Yeah.
You're the guy that's telling you like fucking, take silver iodine. You're gonna never get sick again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you put him in this category of like holistic medicine guys
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
whatever. That's what's not even a bad thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But you put him in this naturopath
Yeah.
category, kooky category, conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
And then I read his book. I read The Real Anthony Fauci. And you read that book and you're like, okay, if this is not true, why isn't he getting sued? And it seems like this is the exact same playlist that they ran during the AIDS crisis, and that's the Dallas Buyers Club. The Dallas Buyers Club is all about that. It's all about Anthony Fauci. It's all about restricting medication to people that have HIV and forcing them to take AZT, which was killing everybody. AZT kills people. There was a chemotherapy medication they stopped using because it kills people quicker than cancer. People that were asymptomatic from HIV were put on AZT, and they were dead within 6 months. It's a chemotherapy medication you're supposed to stay on. No chemotherapy medication you stay on indefinitely. You take them for a course because it's damaging, because it's killing the cancer, but it's also killing you. And then it kills the cancer and you recover, and then the cancer is gone, and that's how
And now you're
chemotherapy
done.
works
But
when
they
it works.
just kept them on the whole time.
But they weren't using it for cancer anymore. Ooh, read the book. Not
Yeah.
only that, they experimented with vaccines for HIV on foster kids in New York, and a bunch of them died. It's all in the book. And if it's not true, why didn't
They
he,
sue his ass.
Why isn't he getting sued? Why aren't there articles written pointing out all the things that are absolutely wrong with what he's saying about the HIV crisis?
So your position is fair skepticism about the vaccines, and let's get some more studies and information out there, and then we can make our own decisions based on that.
Right. What's the cause of the uptick in chronic illness, autism, all these different things? What is it? Are there environmental factors? Is it contamination? Is it food? Is it pollution? What is it? What is it? What is it? And could it be that too? Could it be these vaccines? Is it possible that these people that tell these stories about having perfectly healthy children and then them getting vaccinated and then all of a sudden the kid like going non-responsive?
Yeah.
That seems like it's possible that there's a correlation there.
Yeah.
If there's a cause and then there's an effect. If there is an action and then there's an effect.
Let's see if there's a connection
If there's a
here.
thing that you do and all these parents, you could say a bunch of them, it was just coincidental that the kids started showing it after the medication was administered, and maybe that's true. Maybe that's true.
And
but how do we know if that's not even considered?
I think there's a timing
if it's a taboo
thing too.
subject.
Isn't there like a timing thing where like kids don't show those symptoms until one, and that is when you vaccinate them or something? So there are there's correlational issues here.
Doesn't mean causation.
Of course not. But let's study
the fact
it. Let's
that
fucking
you
look at
can't
it
ever even consider
without looking like
that
a wacko.
injecting kids with chemicals, including mercury and aluminum, that you're doing this. That this might have a negative effect on some kids, and that maybe the corresponding uptick in these chronic illnesses and allergies and diseases and autism, maybe. What was the allergy connection again? What was aluminum?
That's right, because every one of the vaccines has a little aluminum in it.
Yes. Well, the way it is, you have an inert form of the virus, right? And then you have this irritant. You have this thing that fucks with your body, and your body goes, "What is this?"
I gotta
the
go fix
aluminum's
it.
there. Oh, there's a vaccine, or there's a virus in here, a
I'll
dead
create the
virus.
antibodies.
I'll create the antibodies. And it works. It does work. But does it also have negative effects? And is it a volume thing? Is it the amount of vaccines you give a kid all together?
Yes.
They're trying to give your kid like HPV vaccine right from birth.
Yeah.
Like, when do they start giving them hepatitis B? That's
12 hours
That's
in.
when birth. Yeah.
12 hours in, they came into the room and they're like, hepatitis B.
Yo!
And I was like, what is it? Because I didn't know what it was. And they were like, it's a disease that could kill your kid. And I was like, well, we should probably give it to her. And then I'm like, how do you even get it? And they're like, it's a sexually transmitted disease. And I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, I think that we could pump the brakes a little bit.
12
on this
hours
one.
old? Yeah. We got time.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay, so I understand. So now there's a skepticism. People see.
Then, right now, just having this conversation, even talking about it the way we've talked about it so carefully, you'll be labeled an anti-vaxxer. So Andrew Schulz and Joe Rogan float around anti-vax conspiracy theories.
Well, we're not conspirizing right now, right?
Nope.
We're just literally saying maybe it's okay to do the research without shame.
Well, how is it not possible to talk about it without being labeled a kook? If this is a thing, if you're injecting kids with chemicals, and we know that medications have adverse effects, even simple medications. Some people have horrible effects from all kinds of stuff. There's people that can't take, like Aaron Rodgers couldn't take the mRNA vaccines because there's an ingredient in them that he's deathly allergic to.
So an interesting thing is I asked the doctor, and she was actually great. The doctor was really great. Like, her mom was kind of anti-vax, and she's like, so I understand it. There's no pressure. I was telling you this. And then she said this was interesting. I was like, what about if we scheduled them out, delayed them, I think is what they say. And so you have less viral load at one time. She said something interesting. She goes, listen, every vaccine has a little bit of preservative in it, right? You need to have a little bit in order to keep that inert disease alive or whatever. She goes, so the question you have to ask now is, okay, maybe the preservative isn't good to put in your kid, and now you're putting more of it in because you're doing more vaccines over a longer period of time. So this is a variable I didn't even fucking think of. I'm trying to lower the viral load that my 8-week-old baby has inside her, but now I'm increasing the preservative load that the baby has. And I don't know the effects of that. And that's why I had to walk out.
And the thing is, the medical institutions have been captured by pharmaceutical drug companies. And they're captured.
Well,
they're captured by the agencies. It's not as simple as a doctor is basing it all on his education and his understanding of this particular situation and the objective science of all of it. No, there's a narrative. There's a narrative that gets distributed. And that was the narrative during COVID. You must get vaccinated. They were telling people to get vaccinated right after they got over COVID. It doesn't even make sense. It's completely unscientific.
And they make it restrictive. Like, for example, My wife, in order for her to go to school, had to get the booster. Like, she was getting her MBA, and she had to.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing with kids. Like, if you want to put your kid in, like, a school, they have to have them all.
Yeah.
If you want to put it in a daycare.
If you want to travel, if you want to fly, certain jobs.
So you start to feel the pressure, and the outside pressure makes you go, okay, I'm being forced into this decision. I don't really have my freedom. You say I have my freedom, but I want my kid to get educated.
Right.
I want my kid to be able to go see their grandparents. I want my kid to do these things. And yeah, you do feel this, but you feel a social pressure. You don't want to be labeled a fucking anti-vax weirdo. But at the same time, it was hard as hell for my wife and I to get pregnant. So I'm really protective over this innocent little baby, and I don't want to be responsible for giving him something that could fuck him up. I don't know how I live with myself. Yeah,
clearly. Do you remember when Jenny McCarthy was saying that vaccine caused her son to be autistic, and she was just attacked mercilessly?
I don't remember, but
essentially it was like kind of the end of her ever being taken seriously. It was kind of the end of her career. Jenny McCarthy was huge.
At one MTV days, I remember.
MTV days, she had her own sitcom. Like Jenny McCarthy was doing a lot of different things, and you don't hear about her at all
I think
anymore.
Robert De Niro even tried to.
TV show.
She had a TV show recently?
She's been on a show.
What is
The
it?
Masked Singer or whatever. She's a judge on that.
Oh, okay. So she's back.
Yeah.
But for a long time, she was like persona non grata. What is The Masked Singer?
It's a game show. Where
She's one of the. I'm so ignorant. I don't even know that show's still in the air.
It's been on. Yeah.
Anyway, it's one of these things where you're like,
she's one of the judges.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's okay.
Scary.
But if the conversation comes up with vaccines, like people roll their eyes, like, oh, Jenny McCarthy.
So what's
she's
the way
anti-science?
But what's the way to like talk about it and have the conversation?
We're not anti-vaccine movement. We're pro-safe vaccine.
Beautiful woman, huh?
Oh yeah.
It's 2015.
Well, damn, bro. She could still be beautiful.
Yeah, Jamie's rude.
No, I was talking about when it was being talked about. That was not a
She's an
reference
old
to her
bitch now.
age. It was the reference to when the
No,
article
it's
was
just,
posted.
I don't know. It's one of those things where like you're scared because you want to protect this thing that you really care about and love both ways. You don't want them to get a disease,
of course,
and get sick that you could have avoided, while at the same time you don't want to put something in them that could have a negative effect. So you're just in this stalemate.
I know.
And
you don't know who to trust.
And that's the
what to
problem with
believe.
information right now. It's like, I don't think we know what to believe about anything. It's like, even the trans visibility day thing, like every headline was Biden declares Easter Trans Visibility Day.
Right.
And I read it and I was like, there is no way. Like, yeah, maybe there's a bunch of lefties there, the liberal leaning, but there's no way that he would declare Easter this way. And I looked into it. Trans Visibility Day started like 15 years ago.
Right.
3 years ago, they declared it. And then Easter obviously changes every year the date. It doesn't change the day.
Right.
And then it ends up on the Sunday.
Right.
But the headline is Biden declares Easter Trans Visibility Day.
Right.
Once I read that and I know it's fake, now every headline is fake to me. And I think now I'm in this like, maybe we're all in this
right wing and
whirlpool.
left wing, right.
They're all using it because there's money to be made out of it.
Clicks.
That click is valuable, and they will knowingly, like we were talking about that woman earlier with the Huberman thing. There is money to be made out of that.
Yes.
And as long as there is money to be made from it, they'll
go for it,
and they'll remove information that is incredibly important to the truth of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know how you solve
that. But that thing, the Biden thing, is kind of crazy because, on this day of our Lord, like they make this declaration and they know that it's going to happen on Easter Sunday.
They know this year or maybe last year, but when they started it, they're not like,
it's just
how
March
are we going to
31st.
take away Easter from...
Right, it's like Thanksgiving. It always happens on a Thursday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
Easter
like,
Sunday is always a Sunday. And it could vary from April to March.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it could be March 31st or it could be April 23rd. Like it's really wide.
Yeah.
The range that Easter Sunday falls on.
And they saw it coming this year and they were probably like, fuck. If we move it, we hate the trans. If we don't move it, we hate the Christians.
I think they saw it as an opportunity to
in an election cycle.
Yeah,
Joe,
yeah.
It was
because
absurd.
The loons on the left, they're all in with that
Joe
stuff.
doesn't know what a trans is.
Well, he knows. One of them got fired for stealing bags,
He
and the other
thinks
one
that's a
pulled their
woman.
tits out.
He's 80 years old. If you went to him and you were like, that's actually a man, he would go, there's no fucking way. Show it to me.
Bro, that administration is all in on that stuff in such a hardcore way that he got interviewed by Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah, and he thought that was a woman.
And I've been a girl for 350 days. He's like, oh, God bless you. God bless you. That's what he said. Did you ever see that interview? No. Oh, it's wild. No. It's wild.
But like, I think none of us really believe he's making the decisions, right? He's just like a puppet for the.
Yeah.
And he's just there to get lambasted when all these things happen.
Yeah.
And then he forgets about it immediately afterwards.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He's
has
the
no
perfect
fucking
guy to
clue.
blame for things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why he's there. That's why you get the 80-year-old dude.
But the idea that they're going to keep running him is just bananas.
I mean,
you're going to keep him in there. I can't believe that's real. But as time goes on, I'm starting to think they might actually keep running him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that they would switch him out. They're not in a position they can switch him out for anybody. Who steps in?
He would have to kick
Not
the
Kamala.
bucket. No, not Kamala. But he would have to kick the bucket.
And then they just slide Newsom in or somebody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
You think that's what they're hoping for
May.
secretly? May.
I think he's got until May.
No way.
I feel like right around May they're going to pull him.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And Newsom comes in.
I think he just has health problems, and then the country understands, and Newsom is going to have his support fully, and Kamala is going to I don't even want to be president. I'm cool with being vice president.
So Newsom runs with Kamala?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they can
Holy
pull
shit.
Kamala. I think as long as they keep her quiet, she's not. She's already whatever
been
liability she
quiet,
is,
bro.
She's so quiet.
It's amazing. You know who else has been quiet? AOC. They get them to fall in line, huh?
Yeah.
They were loud, dancing, doing TikToks, and then they go, hey, why don't you shut the fuck up over there,
Yeah.
tits? And then they shut up.
Also, don't
Yeah.
you want to be president someday, Alexandria?
The
Yeah.
carrot. They hang the fucking
And
carrot.
she probably could. She could probably pull it off. So there's a lot of factors,
Yeah.
and you're basically auditioning to be the spokesperson for the machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it worked for Biden. He's the perfect example.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. If you're part of the machine, you look at Biden's career and you're like, oh, it does work out.
Yeah.
If I just play by the rules of the machine,
Yeah.
they'll put me in position one day and I'll have the power.
You don't even have to be good.
You don't. You have to be there.
Especially if you have a bad guy. That's one of the reasons why Hillary wanted Trump to run.
Because
she's
she's
I'll beat that guy.
I can beat
that guy's
guy.
an idiot.
I can't beat somebody that's
Right. Competent.
competent.
Yeah. And
But-
actually looks like a leader.
Yeah.
Listen to this fucking maniac from The Apprentice.
And what does she find
yeah,
out?
I want to run him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
Yeah.
And now he's more popular than ever.
I think it's easy for him actually this time around.
I don't know if it's real.
What do you mean?
Let's find out. Let's find out if they can rig it. Let's find out.
Oh, yeah, they'll do everything they
If
can.
the 2020 elections weren't rigged, let's say they weren't.
Yeah.
You don't think there's something that can be done to move things one way or the other? There's certainly the manipulation of media.
Of course.
Right? Now, you want to talk about election interference.
Mm-hmm.
So forget about mail-in ballots. Forget about all that stuff. Access to information will affect elections.
For example?
When the government steps in and tells Twitter to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Yeah.
That laptop story, let's say they went all in,
Yeah.
they distributed it to all the media,
Yeah.
and then Fox News starts telling you all the evidence that shows that
Yeah.
Biden was getting kickbacks and he's
Yeah.
the big guy and 10% and
Yeah.
all this money that went from millions of dollars in
Yeah.
Burisma and all these. Where's
Yeah.
that money gone?
Yeah.
And what were the contracts?
Yeah.
What's happening? How does he have this job
Yeah.
teaching for $1 million a year where he doesn't even show up? Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What is all of this
That's the
stuff?
game.
Like what is this?
That's the game.
And if that got into fence sitters, people are like, I don't know, Trump's kind of gross, but Biden's old. But I'm still going to vote for Biden because Trump's
Then
a
you
bad
sway
guy.
it.
And then, oh my God,
Yeah.
Biden's a bad guy. Trump might be the answer. You know what? We were fine while he was in office. Let's run with him. Yeah. I mean, it's basically election interference because you're withholding information that would be detrimental to the person that you want to win. You're
It's
interfering.
absolutely
Yeah.
election interference.
So anybody said there's no election interference, that is election interference. And then you have Google search results, which Robert Epstein in his research has shown that
What a
Google
tough name
search
to have.
results, I know, right? Google search results have shown that you can manipulate, and with his research, you can manipulate the search results through the algorithm, and that will like highlight negative stories about the people that you want to be negative or positive stories about the people you want to be positive, and it can have an overall effect on how people vote. Because most people are surface information gatherers. They read headlines
Yep.
like, got it,
Yep.
and then they go with it.
Yeah.
And the headline might be horseshit, and you might get into the article. I mean, we've done that so many times. But wait a minute. This specifically says that that's not true.
Yeah.
So what are they saying in the article?
Yeah.
Complaints of.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a complaint of.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
you get into it, you go, oh, but it's not real.
Yeah. Transvisibility
Oh,
day.
yeah. There's so many things like that
Yeah.
that can just affect public opinion.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that will just say things publicly, and they think that this is a fact. And they don't know like how many people you've seen got caught in that women only make 70 cents to a man's dollar.
Yeah.
How many people you ever seen get caught in that thing? How come women should be paid the same that men are paid? No, argue in the streets.
Yeah.
But they don't even understand what the argument is.
Yeah.
The argument is men pick different jobs. They work longer hours. They don't take maternity leave. Overall, they make more money. This is why.
Yeah.
They take jobs that are more dangerous. They take jobs that are higher risk.
It also includes the most wealthy people, which are men.
Yeah.
So that's going to skew it in a dramatic fashion.
Dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. The top billionaires, they're all men except for chicks that got divorced.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
like Mackenzie Bezos.
That is the best way to get rich. If you want to be a female billionaire, chop it in half.
But the thing is, like, female billionaires don't like that label that they got it, so they become philanthropists.
Oh, that's why Bezos' wife is.
She's a philanthropist. Billionaire philanthropist, Mackenzie Bezos.
Yeah.
Where'd she get that money?
Yeah.
Just being awesome.
Billionaire?
Just being amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was married to a psycho.
Yeah.
The psycho made all the money. And now she's distributing it to left-wing causes, and all the right-wing guys are complaining.
Yeah.
And Elon's mad.
Wait, why is he
Elon
upset?
was saying something about her distributing, these rich divorcees distributing to the downfall of democracy.
Yeah.
Something,
he's been going in.
He goes in, man.
It's really interesting to see how political he's gotten, and immediately upon being, because he was the darling of the left and the right.
Oh yeah, big time the left.
But the left obviously for the cars, right?
Yeah.
But the right because he's a successful businessman, right?
Yeah.
And the second he takes a position politically, he is chastised, shamed, ridiculed. And even before that, think about it. Everybody was invested in Tesla because the stock was going crazy. So not only are you the darling, you're making me money.
Right.
I want you to be great.
Yeah.
Once you're making people money, they don't want to write bad shit about you.
Yeah.
Especially they got $1 million invested in Tesla.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ridicule this guy and watch half of my money go away.
Yeah.
And the second he opened his mouth about politics,
and the thing is, he snaps back at people.
he goes.
Which is crazy.
He goes.
Bro, he dunks on people.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, but I'm also just like, don't you got some science to do? Like, get off
how
Twitter.
are you doing this?
Yeah.
I don't understand how he does any of it.
AI, dude. He created another Elon.
Maybe he is. Maybe he's AI.
But what he's done with Twitter or X is really interesting.
I call it Twitter.
Yeah, it's hard for me to change.
Because it is an X that you made, or is it a tweet? Did you tweet something?
It's a tweet.
I tweeted it.
Yeah, it's Twitter.
It's kind of funny, though, because it is X.
Yeah, but it's Twitter.
But it's Twitter.
But, like, the idea that he is going to uphold this soapbox for free speech, despite having some awful things said, the greater outcome will be, hopefully, a civil society where ideas can permeate freely.
He may have very well saved humanity in some way. Because by providing this one platform where people can actually speak their mind, up to a point.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still some rules.
Sure.
But up to a point, you get away with a lot of shit. I see so much racist shit on Twitter now that I never saw before. Like openly racist. Really? Openly racist.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you see people chiming in that agree with it. And it's like, wow.
And then people chime in that disagree.
Yep.
And those voices are all heard, and there's a place for all of them.
Yeah, and you just have to know that people do think certain ways. Even if you don't like it, you have to know that people do think certain ways, and the answer to bad speech is not silencing speech. It's better speech. It's more compelling.
But you need to have a place where it can exist in order for there to be speech to even be consumed.
Right, and there was no place before he took over Twitter.
And that's the thing, that the pendulum, the shift that we were talking about, where it's like you have these pieces that came out that we thought were news. Now we see them as hit pieces.
Right.
And I think kids that are growing up with all this information and disinformation and misinformation, all this shit, I think that for us it's a little bit more difficult, but for them they will have the ability to discern and understand that they have to do a little bit more research.
Yeah.
I think we get caught victim of it like old women when they get a phone call from some Nigerian prince and they need 10,000.
Right.
That's us with news now. And we're like, wait a minute, fake things can exist?
Right.
But I think the kids are going to grow up going, oh yeah, everything's fake. You just got to do some more research and figure it out.
Yeah.
I hope. That's my hope.
Well, enough kids listen to podcasts, which is what really bothers people, that they're getting their information from people like us.
Well, they have to.
People like us don't have to lie.
Yeah.
We have zero incentive to lie.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about these things, like, this is what I know.
Yeah.
These are the facts. This
Yeah.
is real. You're being fucked. You're
Yeah.
being lied to. And It's not like there's not a motivation.
Yeah.
Look at the amount of money they're making by fucking you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane sum of money that's involved in a lot of these decisions.
Yeah.
And these decisions roll on whether or not we complain or not. But at least it kind of puts things in check.
Maybe that's the solution. Just show how much money people are making.
Yeah.
Show how much money CNN makes from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh,
and then you will
God.
look at every story about pharmaceuticals
Brought
through
to
that
you
lens.
by Pfizer.
That's it. Just-
Anderson Cooper. They do it like right in your
In your
face.
face.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
The vaccines are perfect. Let's go to a commercial.
Yeah, brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah.
You will not get this virus. You will not transmit this virus. The virus stops with you. And no one complains.
Now, do you think that the people that are disseminating the information are aware of the bullshit, or they are the useful idiots? Meaning, like,
I think at a certain point in time, they must be aware.
and if they're aware, they're evil.
They're trapped.
No,
They're
no, no.
trapped because I think initially most people did think that the vaccines were going to work.
And it doesn't have to be vaccines. It can be anything. But once you're pushing out information that you know to be false,
Right.
and you're potentially hurting people,
Right.
it doesn't have to be vaccines. It can be anything.
Right now, you're evil.
That's evil.
That's evil. Yeah.
I don't fault someone who's maybe ignorant or a useful idiot or really
Right.
passionate about a thing, but the person that knows
Right.
and still puts it out.
But you have plausible deniability because you're using the opinion of the air quotes experts that are sanctioned. And so
Not-
they will tell you things and you will say things and you will read articles that support that and you will go, oh, this is a fact.
Not if you're motivated by the agenda of your sponsors. Like if you know that you have to have a certain opinion
Right.
on the platform and that opinion is based on the people who are paying to sponsor the show,
Right.
you are aware.
But that's also supported by these
But like-
experts.
but like, you know, we can find experts
since
for
you're
anything.
not, but right, since you're not an expert and you're just a talking head on CNN,
Yeah.
your job is to say, but do you understand that the CDC has disagreed?
Yeah.
The FDA has said that this
Yeah.
is not approved.
Yeah.
The NIH has shown to various studies that this is not correct.
Yeah.
And you can say that and
Yeah.
you'd be accurate.
Yeah.
You would be accurate as the news person on
So you
CNN
have your
that's telling
bullshit
a
justification.
lie.
You have your justifications
Yes.
so you can go home and sleep at night.
And a lot of them don't even do any digging. They're there
Reading
to do
the
their
teleprompter.
job. They read the teleprompter. They're fucking gambling on sports betting or something. Who knows what the fuck they're doing with their spare time? But we're just assuming these people are truth tellers. They're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
We're assuming they're even journalists. They're not.
Yeah.
Some of them are, but most of them are just talking heads. Just
maybe
pretty
that's-
people that are good at reading.
That's the transition that we're going through right now. Is just because someone is giving us information on a news platform with a ticker does not mean that they know anything that they're talking about. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily true.
Not only that, we are sure they are highly motivated by money.
Yeah.
Highly motivated.
Yeah.
Sponsored by money, put in position by money.
Yeah.
The commercials, it's all money, 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 making that money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no one's listening. That's what's crazy.
But isn't that a beautiful thing?
it is a beautiful thing.
That means the people know, and the people will seek out the information that
Yes.
they deem truthful. Yes, there's going to be some wackos that seek out the most extreme versions. Yes, that's us sometimes because it's really fun. I
Yeah.
want to indulge in all the conspiracies. It's awesome.
It's fun.
But at the end of the day, when I have to make a real decision,
Right.
I'm going to seek out the information.
Right.
I'm going to read as many things as possible. If it's my life on the line or my kid's life on the line, or my friend's life on the line,
Yeah.
I'm going to actually go out there and figure it out. Hopefully.
And the thing is, if it's not for a few brave people that stand up and tell you the truth, how do you, if there's no Peter McCullough, if there's no Robert Malone, if there's no RFK Jr.,
Malone is the
if there's no
facts guy,
Pierre
yeah,
Corey,
yeah.
if there's none of these people that
Yeah.
stand up and lose like a sizable portion of their income, their
Yeah.
careers get destroyed, their reputations get dragged through the mud,
Yeah.
hit pieces get written about them. If it wasn't for these people that stand up and do that,
Yeah.
and I never would have imagined in my wildest dreams that I would get sucked into that.
What do you mean?
I never thought that I would get sucked into something like that where people would be like lying about me.
Oh,
but when
yeah.
you watch it, like on CNN,
That's
just
a function of
flat
power, dude. Like-
out lying. But it's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah.
And the dumbest lie.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, do you think I'm taking horse medicine? You don't think I know like really good doctors that are telling me what to take?
Yeah.
And how about the fact that I got better quick? That doesn't freak you out at all?
Yeah.
I got better real quick.
Oh, you were so happy, I bet, when that shit kicked.
Yeah.
What was it, 48 hours that it was? You were
Yeah.
down? Yeah.
Like 3 days later after I was sick, I made that video and I was fine.
Yeah.
3 days after that, I did 10 rounds on the bag.
Wow.
6 days in, I did 10 rounds in the bag. I'm like, let's see how I feel. I worked out 5 days in. I felt pretty good. I said, all right, tomorrow, let's get after it.
Wow.
And I did 10 fucking rounds on the bag, full
Yeah.
clip, no problems.
Yeah.
No problems. No lack of energy. I felt 100% 6 days later.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But I'm on top of my fucking health all day long, all
that's-
year round.
Yeah.
I'm always in shape. I always take vitamins. I'm
Yeah.
always eating well.
Yeah.
I sleep good. I do
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, you can't say that everyone has to adhere to the rules
Yeah.
of this thing when you're lying about the results, you're lying about the studies,
Yeah.
you're influencing all these talking heads to say these things that turn out to not even be remotely true. Not only that, there's no studies behind it. They had to admit when they were speaking in front of whatever it was in the UK that they never even tested these drugs for transmission. They just tested them to see if they created the antibodies. And then all that other stuff they said was bullshit.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing about like making rules for 300 million people is that 300 million people are not the same. The way that you take care of your body is completely different than some asshole that's a consultant. He's sitting at his fucking desk all day, weighs 300 pounds. And that rules, it's like an SAT. Like, we have to find a way to judge intellect so that kids can go to school or not. There's some kid who flunked the SATs who's a fucking genius, and he's
Yeah.
going to go out there and make money.
He's just bored with these
Yeah.
things, and he doesn't pay any attention. It's what you focus on.
Yeah.
You could be a very smart person who doesn't study.
Yeah.
And you take classes and you fucking bomb in your
Yeah.
classes. You suck.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But if you ask that dude how to fucking fix a turbocharger,
Got him.
that dude knows how to re-engineer things.
Yeah.
You know, this is the problem. It's in the valves. We have to fix the valves. You know,
Yeah.
like there's people that are genius at things that they're interested in.
Yeah.
But if you keep them in a classroom, they're bored as shit, and feed them fucking dull ass teachers that spoon feed them shit that they're never going to use, they're not going to thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you create systems so that these people can thrive?
Well,
That's
you
the
got to have
tricky thing.
freedom. That's a big one. You know, freedom is one of the massive factors in this country's ability to churn out innovators.
Yeah.
There's so much freedom to do things, freedom
yeah.
to try things.
I love that it's part of the identity, that we
Yeah.
feel entitled to it.
Yeah.
If you restrict it, I'm furious. And other
Yeah.
people are furious. But that's not every country where they feel entitled to their freedom.
Right. Well, that's a big thing about Texas. Texas, it's built into the fiber of the human beings that established this place.
But that's why you need Texas. You need Florida. I don't care
Yeah.
if you don't like it. You need somebody pulling us in that direction.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take LA or it's going to take New York. It's going to pull them a little bit that way. When we see people partying, having fun during fucking Corona in Texas and in Florida, we're like, well, maybe we can go out to
Yeah.
eat. What's going on?
Right.
But if everybody's locked in, and
they were
there's
saying
nobody else out
everyone's
there.
gonna die. I remember when Governor Abbott opened up things,
Yeah.
and they were like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're gonna kill everyone."
Yeah.
Nope, it didn't.
Did you talk to him?
Yeah.
And did you ask him if he was ever scared of that decision? Because if that decision backfires, that's his.
He did it based on science.
Got
He
it.
did it based on what we know about the disease. You know, protect. The same thing that Florida said: protect the vulnerable. You know, if you are an old person with a severely compromised immune system, you should get vaccinated. You should be protected. You
Yep.
should probably isolate.
It's just a brave decision. There's
Yeah.
a lot weighing on that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people here that wanted that decision, though, too, especially because he's a Republican. You know,
Right.
most of the Republicans wanted the businesses back open. Most of the people are like, hey, what do you, like, you're taking away people's ability to make decisions, and you're giving the government an unprecedented power that it never had before.
Yeah.
The government, the mayors never had the ability to shut down all the restaurants.
Yeah.
What? And when they did that in L.A., they had no effect whatsoever on their check. Their paycheck remained the same.
Same no matter what. Yeah.
I think, you know, you want to make fucking cities great? Have it so that the mayor's salary is based on how well the city does.
Ooh. Now, what is now Steelman the opposition argument to that?
Well, the government would co-opt it, and then these financial institutions would co-opt it, and they would figure out a way to build businesses up unethically.
Despite
and the best way to make more money is to pay people less. So you would have lower income wages, lower minimum wages.
That's where it gets tricky. It's like you go through this in New York, especially when you have like an apartment or something like that, and you got to go through all this bureaucracy when you're renovating your apartment. That being said, what I do to my apartment affects the person downstairs, upstairs, to the left, to the right. So we have way more rules because we need them.
Yeah.
Because what I do fucks everybody else's life potentially.
You can drill holes in the wall and get a leaky
And
fucking
people-
pipe. And
people try to do it.
oh yeah,
If they know you got a drop ceiling, they're trying to drop pipes into your fucking ceiling. You don't even see it.
Really?
Like, this is, yes, all the fucking time. So they're like, oh, can I get access to your place and probe a wall to see something? and they'll drop all their plumbing so they don't have to raise their floor. There's things that they'll take advantage of their neighbor, and because of that, you got to create all these extra rules, and it's a real fuck to go through. Now, when you have 3 acres of land in, Texas, you can build a barn without people really looking at it that much.
Yeah.
Because you're not affecting your neighbor.
Right.
So I do get why in certain places you need a little bit more of a bureaucracy because people will take advantage of each other.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. You can't have all the same rules for all the same places.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, it's not
You know
gonna
what I
work.
mean?
Yeah. But that's one of the cool things about this country is basically like a bunch of countries.
Exactly.
It's like Europe. Like
That's the idea.
France is different than Germany, but they're
Bro,
all just
when they were-
smushed up next to each other.
But when they were putting it together, they built it with that idea. They're like, hey, listen, if I'm up in Maine, it takes me on horseback 4 months to get to fucking Washington, D.C. Why should your rules affect my rules?
Right.
Let me do my thing. You do your thing. We'll
Right.
agree on 10 fucking rules, and then let's have some fun.
States' rights.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
It does make sense. It makes sense that you gravitate towards the places that fit with your liking, which is why
You're here.
Yeah. Psychopaths moved to Portland.
For real.
Yeah.
Like one thing, I imagine like being born there, but like willingly going.
Yeah, that's my people.
Yeah, that's
you
a
have
little bit.
15 face piercings and you're on your way.
Raining
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. Oh, I want to be depressed.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, the Oregon Trail. What idiots.
I'm looking forward to camping.
Yeah. Imagine going across the whole country in fucking one of those little
Covered wagons.
covered wagons and then getting to Portland and you're like, well, for this?
Yeah. Rains every day. It's beautiful though. It's
you go to the
gorgeous
coast-
green.
Yeah.
Portland's gorgeous. And parts of Oregon are fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, where Cam lives. Cam lives out in like Springfield, that area.
Oh, Cameron Haynes.
Eugene. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful
yeah.
out there.
He
That's
likes-
the thing about Oregon too. Is like you have Portland, but everything else is red.
Yeah.
It's just like, but Portland just dominates the politics.
But that's
'cause it's
usually
the high
how it is.
population centers. Yeah, it's all ranchers and farmers and
Yeah.
they're like,
And
what
those
the
cities,
fuck?
like the liberal cities that are in the very conservative states, are a reaction to how conservative the state is. So they're like the most liberal.
Well, they're generally around education institutions.
Oh, so they're built around the universities and the
Eugene
ideas from the
is-
universities.
Eugene's very liberal.
Got
because
it.
it's around, they have universities there. Universities affect
Yeah.
like Boulder. Boulder, Colorado, perfect one. University of Boulder's right there. It's fucking every University of Colorado. Everybody's liberal.
Right.
They're all hippies up there. Because it's
Yeah.
all like the city itself sort of like revolves around the education institutions and
So the culture of the education
vibe.
institution
Yeah.
dictates the culture of the city.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why New York, I think, is so unique. Is everybody thinks that we're like this super like liberal city, and it's like it's a money city.
Yeah.
Money wins in New York.
In the Manhattan, yeah, it's a lot of it's the financial business. But if you go to Long Island, that's very red.
I think even Manhattan is red. Like all these we're open when it comes to like gay stuff, right? We love our gays. They create great cultural institutions within the city. You like going to Broadway, you like seeing musical theater.
Right.
They offer a lot. You like the art. You're coming to New York
Right.
for art. They offer so much. So we're like, yeah, those guys are dope. Kick it. That's awesome.
a lot of gay chefs, a lot of gay artists.
Gays kill it in New York.
Yeah.
And they create a
Yeah.
lot for us and we
Singers.
really
Yeah.
appreciate it. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. But when it comes to actual like the rules, New York is kind of conservative. Like we've had conservative mayors. Like Bloomberg wasn't some fucking like bleeding heart liberal. He's a money dude.
Right.
He just came in. He's like, yo, if we can't pay for it, I'll pay for it. You pay me back. And we're like, I like this guy. This is
Right.
fucking Bruce Wayne.
Right.
You know. So, yeah, I think the perception of New York is a little weird. Or a
How
little
come that
off.
guy didn't go any further in politics?
No charisma.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, New Yorkers, we don't care about charisma with the mayors, really. We don't even know who our politicians are. Like, I just found out we have a female governor. I had no fucking clue who the governor is.
That lady's out to lunch.
I have no clue. But New Yorkers, we don't care. It's the mayor of New York City is the governor of the state. In our
Interesting.
minds.
Right. That's the leader.
We just don't, like,
Yeah.
you're saying what's going on here, and that's all that matters.
Right.
And we're very,
Yeah.
that's the only thing we really think about is the city.
Yeah.
But it is,
what is it like there now with the immigrants?
So here's the thing. New York is so diverse, you can't tell immigrants are there. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like, if there's other cities that are like really homogenous, they're all white, and then all of a sudden a bunch of not white people come, you're like, oh my God, we got immigrants everywhere. But for a New Yorker to be like, hey, I think we got some immigrants here, it's impossible.
Right.
Everybody's an immigrant. Everybody's brown, everybody's black, everybody's Asian. Like, there's all these different ones.
Right.
The tricky thing with, you're talking about the migrant crisis,
Yes.
is that they're taking advantage of New York is like the biggest state in the country. It's like, I think maybe the only big city that has a right to shelter.
Right.
It's the only one of this size that has a right to shelter.
And it used to be for homeless people.
It's only for homeless people.
Yeah.
They're taking advantage of a system that's built for homeless people, which is pretty fucking good if you ask me. When you have the financial hub of the world, you want people sleeping on the streets. You go,
Right.
no, let's put some money so they can go inside. Like this
Right.
is, and homeless people are supposed to like basically enter in and out of homelessness. The idea is give them some shelter, maybe they can get back out on their feet.
Right.
The migrants hear about this and they're like, what, free housing? Let's get up there.
Right.
So they're taking advantage of a system that is not for them. And I think when New Yorkers have kind of learned that, they're like, ooh, there's something unethical about this.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the pushback is happening. But in terms of like visually being able to see it, it's not something that New Yorkers notice.
Right.
We just can't. The
Interesting.
news makes it seem like it is.
Right.
We see the article, oh, this guy beats up the police or something like that. But in terms of when you're walking down the street, it is not detectable.
So unless you're near one of these places like the Roosevelt Hotel that they've converted.
It's the Roosevelt is like the one that's right across the street from Madison Square Garden. Mm-hmm. You know the hotel.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they converted the whole thing.
It's an iconic hotel.
Brother.
It was in that fucking Jennifer Lopez movie.
Oh yeah, she worked
When she
there.
was the maid?
When she's the
Yeah,
maid. Yeah.
yeah.
So, but this is like a hotel we all know. We see it after every Knicks game. It's like you
Yeah.
can't fathom that the whole hotel.
Yeah.
So, and also that system that was set up for the homeless was already operating at capacity. And then you increase the amount of migrants into the city by 50%. I think it went up 50% in the last couple of years. Of course, there's going to be this insane overflow, and it just can't handle it.
Nuts.
It just can't handle it. But
What?
they're taking advantage of something that's not for them. So I understand the frustration about it.
But is there any kind of pushback to try to put
Yeah.
a stop to that?
100%.
What are they doing?
Nothing. Joe, everybody's doing what benefits them. And the politicians are shrewd. Like Adams is shrewd. He told the governor, Hochul, I think her name is, he was like, listen, I think we're going to have to shut down a new recruitment class for the police. We don't have any more money because we got all these migrants. I mean, you guys got to do something about that. You got to give me some more money. He got some more money. He didn't shut down anything. So he got more money, and now he's funding everything that he needs to fund. And I don't know if anything is changing. So everybody's playing politics as well. It's
Well, wasn't he involved in some sort of a thing where they were giving the debit cards to the immigrants?
Oh, yeah.
The illegal migrants. And
50 Cent
they
called
were
him
all
out.
getting a piece.
50
Yeah.
was like, yo, what the hell is going on with this?
Oh, 50's the best.
Yeah, 50 is,
He's the best.
bro. We gotta hang with 50 sometime.
I only
dude.
met him once. I met him at the UFC. He was cool as shit.
dude.
Back in the day, I interviewed him.
Wait, really?
Yeah, for the UFC.
And
yeah, it
what-
was real quick. It was, like he was a celebrity sitting, cage side.
Bro, he's dude.
He goes all in, bro. He goes all in.
We hung out in Boston once, and he was telling me like hood stories from Queens because he was like really in that life, and it was like blowing my. It was like somebody explaining The Godfather to you, if you've never saw the movie.
Wow.
You're like, this happens. This is real. Yeah, just like he's a fucking man. Anyway,
How come he's never been on your show?
I want to get him on. I mean, we just connected for the first time when I was doing the shows up in Boston. He was there. He was there as well. And but I want him on.
He's
Dude.
a perfect podcast guest.
Oh, dude, he
goes all in.
goes all
That shit on the Breakfast Club with him about Diddy.
bro. And he's been that way forever. You know that, right? He's like, why is this guy trying to take me shopping?
What? What the fuck did he just say? What the fuck did he just say?
And
Did you see when Diddy went on? He goes, I was just trying to be nice.
No, he goes-
I thought he wanted some clothes.
He goes, I thought he needed some clothes. That's like a subtle jab too. That was funny. But,
a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, like,
Oh,
what?
dude, them going at it is just. But
Hilarious.
you can't. 50 is one of those dudes where it's like, if 50 don't like you, I gotta hear him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta hear him out.
Yeah.
He might know something.
Right. He might be
And-
onto something. Yeah. He's wild.
Yeah, we gotta go to dinner at 5th.
Yeah. He's wild. I like when they were going after him for some financial support or something like that. He said, I'm bankrupt.
Yeah. He's like, I don't got it. I don't got it. Yeah, $400 million deal for fucking vitamin water.
The next fucking Instagram post, he's got a Bentley. Like,
He's smart, dude. He'll play the system.
yeah.
He knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Let him write all the articles. Oh, 50's broke.
You know, whatever you want. Whatever. And he's got his dudes from day one with him still. That's something I always think is really cool.
Yeah.
Like-
That's important.
Yeah. When you coming back to New York, man?
I don't know. I'm gonna be there for the UFC in Jersey.
All right.
That's in June, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be there for a little while.
Okay, good. You don't miss it at all? Mm-mm. Any place you miss?
Nope.
Not a single place?
No, I'm not like a misser kind
What
of a
about
guy.
foreign, like a place that you want to
I
go
like
back
going
to?
to visit places.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like visiting places, but it's like I love Texas.
Yeah.
I love being right here.
Yeah.
Like right away. Like right away I was like, "Ooh, this is it. This is
Yeah.
the spot."
Yeah.
It's the perfect balance for me.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really do. I miss what LA used to be, but I think we've done that and more at the mothership.
Yeah.
What LA was for me was my friends, it was the life that I lived, the people that you communicated with all the time, and, the Comedy Store.
And you built that out here.
And we built that out here,
Yeah.
and we made it even better.
Anything from LA that you still want to bring out? Besides Joey Diaz.
Joey's in New Jersey, but Joey's been coming out.
But he's from
He's
LA
coming out
for
again.
you. Meaning
Yeah,
like,
he's fella from. But Joey was sick of it before anybody was.
yeah.
Joey was sick of it before anybody was.
Yeah.
When I left the Comedy Store in 2007, Joey was like, "Good, fuck that place." Joey's a burn the bridges kind of guy. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And he was the first guy to I think he moved to Jersey early on, man. Like right around the time I was moving to Texas, he was moving to Jersey. He's like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
I was trying to get him to come out here, but he wasn't interested. He loves Jersey, but I think he'll eventually come out here.
There we go.
Yeah, he loved it when he was here, man. I had him out here for 3 days, and I got him out here for 420 weekend out here.
Nice.
And when he's out here, it's like he misses the hang.
The hang, yeah.
He misses being around comics.
Yeah.
Misses the green room.
How was the energy in the green room when he was around?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was just such a party.
On fire?
It was such a party, and everybody was like, "Dude, I feel like Joey just belonged there. Like
Yeah.
he just sat down in the green room. And he's like, he's always been here."
Yeah.
Because he kind of always has been here. That sign, "Get it together, bitch," that's on the
Joey.
wall.
Yeah.
That's Joey.
Yeah.
That's what he always used to say.
Yeah.
If you get ready to go on stage, he's like, "Get it together, bitch." And it was like that meant the party was about to jump off.
Yeah.
So to have that neon sign in the green room, the spirit of Joey has always been there.
That's your last Avenger, bro. You get that together.
He's the Hulk.
Yeah, that's facts.
You call him in. You call him in when
When
you
you
need
got a
the Hulk.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking Joey, man.
He's been murdering on stage too. He hasn't
Really?
lost a beat. Hasn't
Really?
lost a beat. Yeah.
Does he go up in Jersey?
He goes up. Goes
Okay.
up a couple times a week just to
Okay.
keep the dust off of it.
Yeah.
But when he came here, he was tuned in, man.
Really?
He was ready to go. Oh my God, he was hilarious. I'll tell you some of the shit he was saying. He's so crazy.
Wait.
He's so wild. I don't want to give up his bits, but oh my God, he's so wild.
Yeah,
He's so fun, man. And it's always fun. It's fun with him. Everything's fun.
Yeah.
Everything is good times. Everybody gets hugs. He
Yeah.
loves you. He tells everybody he loves them.
yeah.
He's the party.
Nah, he's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
His stories. I remember when he came on the pod. I mean, his stories, just being in Colorado. Those stories.
Oh yeah.
It's a movie. Like you're watching a movie in your head. Just this mook, just fucking walking around Colorado, taking advantage of all these dumb idiots that are like, "Oh, the trees are green." Like he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take all of their money." Like it was just amazing.
Yeah. And the fact that he gets into stand-up comedy and he's just such a character, man. There's no Joey Diaz other than him. So
Yeah.
I don't know anybody like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get real lucky in this world that we live in, that you get to be close to these exceptional human beings.
Yeah.
That are just different. They're
Yeah.
just different than anybody else you know.
You collect a lot of these guys. I've noticed. Yeah, like a lot of your friends, they're like they're these unique personalities, especially like the non-comics, but they're these like kind of misfits that I've noticed. Like even your buddy, was it Tommy, who plays pool? Like
Yeah.
every one of your guys that I meet, like within 15 minutes, they're telling me a story that like just blows my fucking mind.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. They're unique in their own right, but they are these characters that should be in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cultivation of extraordinary humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, life's more fun that way.
Yeah. It makes your life richer. You enjoy it.
Yeah.
And when they win, you win. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's possible. That can be done.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
it's just, but you have to cultivate it the same way you cultivate a garden.
Yeah.
And you got to root it out, too. You
Yeah.
gotta have some bad apples in there. You gotta
Yeah.
get them out.
Yeah.
Got to get them out.
Yeah, that can be tricky times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss Joey. I got to call Joey.
He'll be out here soon.
Yeah. I got to drag him into the city. I wish he'd come. I mean, he's kind of far, like, where is he? In, like, Cherry Hill or something like that, right?
He's in, like, down there. In Jersey.
Yeah, so he's not, like, come in for the night.
No, he's an hour from the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's an hour.
If he's 20 minutes, then,
Yeah. He does a lot of Jersey rooms. He'll do the Stress Factory.
Yeah.
He'll fuck around down there.
Yeah.
Do a lot of local gigs. There's gigs now. There's a lot of places you could work.
Yeah.
Just to fuck around, just keep the dust off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, him coming on was just fucking great.
Yeah, we're lucky we know all these people, man. We're very lucky. There's people out there that don't have any exceptional people in their life. And they live through these conversations that we have with those people vicariously.
Yeah.
Because those people become a part of their life too. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit, Schulz is on. And they get excited.
I
you
will
know?
say that's the cool thing about people knowing you from podcasting is that they probably know more about your life than like even some of your friends do.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're hanging out with you for hours a week. So when they meet you, they're meeting this person they know a lot about, not this character from a TV show that is not reflective of you at all.
Right.
You're not Ross from Friends.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
Ross might be completely different than Ross from Friends.
Right.
And I can understand like why you might resent people loving you for a character you play when you know you're not that character. But
Right.
if people appreciate you for what you do, either in stand-up or even in podcasting or whatever, it's like they're appreciating this thing you really care about and a true version of yourself.
Yes.
So the love feels worth it, It feels
That's
justified.
also why it's very difficult to like cast someone in an unfavorable light that people already know.
Yeah.
Like the Huberman thing, where you try to take a distorted version of that person and say, this is who they really are.
He talks to them 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
You're not going to change the way that they feel about him.
He also talks to other people like you or me where we're fucking around, joking around. You get to see the real him.
Yeah.
It's not just the distribution of information.
Yeah.
It's also like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
This is who he is.
Yeah. He's going to be okay.
Oh, he's be better than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah. And it's good that people see that he's at a position where
They want to attack him. Yeah.
that means he's doing something good.
Well, he's a target, and if you're popular and famous, you're a target. And if you're going to be the type of person that goes after those people, that's a dark path. It's not a good path. And you become a target too. They find you.
Well, that's what we were saying is I think it's important that when these people are writing these clearly biased hit pieces, that they're also recognized for what they've done.
Yeah.
And the world will see that if you put out something like this, there is a cost.
Yeah.
You're not doing it with impunity.
It's also there's a cost in your own mind. You know what you did.
These motherfuckers, I don't think they care.
I think they do and they don't. I think they can do it because they're supposed to do it because that's their job. But I think once the impact comes back their way,
they're like, I don't want to pay this price.
yeah, the blowback is awful. And that blowback stays on you. It
Yep.
doesn't, people will Google that for years to come. They'll
Yeah.
know when you write something else.
They'll never
this is
trust
that
anything you
person
put
that
out
did
again.
that. This is, yeah. And then they'll dig into your past, man. They'll find some things that you did. They'll find some people that are upset at you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like negative energy. You're putting out negative energy. People that build people up, people that build people up through their own version of reality that they're writing about, and they're inspiring people, and they're giving people hope, and they're giving people something positive. That's a great blowback. The response to that is like this beautiful thing that everybody's helping everybody advance through this bizarre existence.
Yeah.
But if you're the person that's just always knocking people down, always attacking, you live in that negative space.
Yeah.
Even like, dude, when I had that whole thing with Mencia,
Yeah.
even that, which I knew A, had to be done,
Yeah.
and B, I was one of the only people that was in a position where I could
do
do
it. Yeah.
And even though I did experience a lot of blowback, even career blowback. I lost my agency. I got banned from the store. And even me at the time, who was doing well, knew that like, oh, this is why people don't do this, because this is the real reaction to someone that steps up and says something about something that has to be said. But even the negative shit that I would get, this is back in the I read the comments days, the negative response from his fans It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. You don't want that in your life. Even though I knew it was the right thing to do, I remember saying to myself, like, I'm not going to get involved in one of these again.
Wow.
I'm done with this.
Wow.
Like, this is gross.
Yeah, if
it's
you're-
like
yeah.
you're at the center point of this nasty negative thing.
Yeah.
And even though for the art form it was positive.
Yep.
Like the negativity that I experienced, even though it was overwhelmingly positive, just the small amount of negativity
You're still absorbing
is
it.
not worth it.
Yeah.
It felt bad for a long time. I
Yeah.
didn't like it. And I didn't even like all the people that were constantly and consistently attacking him. I don't like it. I don't like any of it. I don't like that every time he makes a comment, like every time you post something, did you steal that?
Yeah.
They're like, you've opened the door to the lowest version of the vibration that humans give,
Which
the
is
attacking, breaking you down. I can kick you because you're down.
Yeah.
And they just kicking him, and in a lot of ways he deserves it because that's what he did. That was his legacy. That's what he did. He stole material from comedians and created a career off of the back of other people's work.
Yeah.
And in every other business, that's theft.
Yeah.
In every other business, you get penalized. You go to court if it's
100%.
music. You lose all your money.
Yep.
And in this one, for whatever reason, our business, people don't take intellectual copyright as nearly as seriously. It's
don't.
not.
Yeah.
Jokes are thought of as like not an important thing.
Yeah.
It's not like literature.
Yeah.
It's not like plagiarism.
They
in
don't
other
realize we
forms.
pay the bills with this.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
And
That's how we feed our families.
And it is creative work. And
Yes.
it's difficult to do.
It takes hours. It takes months. It takes years.
Some bits takes forever
Yeah.
to construct
Yeah.
to make them where you
Really
can just
good?
rattle them off.
Yeah.
There's some bits that they require years
Yeah.
of like hammering that steel
Yeah.
and sharpening that blade.
Yeah.
It takes forever.
I think that's the best metaphor for it. It is sharpening a blade. You're
Yeah.
banging away at it constantly. Yeah.
And you're doing it wrong, and you got to correct it. And you're doing
Yeah.
it right, and you got to remember it.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to go over the recordings.
Step
you got to
away
sit down
from
with
it,
the notes.
Come
step
back
away.
a couple months. Like, oh, okay, this is exciting. This is, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, to take somebody's work like that is infuriating. But it's a really interesting perspective to have for you to even look back at that and find empathy for him.
Oh, I definitely have empathy for him. I have empathy for everybody, and people that make horrible mistakes like he did for so long. I have empathy for him, and it's the trap that he's in because he won't admit it either. Is the worst. That's the worst.
Wait a minute, to this day?
Yeah, he won't admit it. So he's trapped. He's trapped in this justification that nobody believes, and he tries to spin a tale that nobody believes because the truth is the only thing that'll set you free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the problem with those people, and there's a bunch of them, and we know quite a few of them, is there are people that start their career stealing,
Yeah.
and they do really well, and they kill it, and then they get exposed, and then they have to write their own shit.
And it doesn't add up.
Oh boy, that drop off. Yeah. Oh boy, is that drop off substantial.
Yeah.
There are people that had initial specials that were bangers.
Yeah.
And then after that initial special, everything after that is hot dog shit.
Because now they got to
Clunky.
do the work.
Now they have to do the work. They don't know
it's
how to do
hard.
it. They don't understand the language they're speaking. It's basically like speaking French, but you
It's-
don't know what the words mean.
Yeah, it's
but
like-
you say,
yeah.
parlez-vous français, and everybody's like, amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't know what the fuck you're saying.
You spoke French in a movie.
yeah.
And they gave you all the lines, and you did the lines, and everybody's like, this person's fluent in French. And now you got to go to Paris and walk around. And people are speaking to you in French. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't understand a fucking word anybody's saying.
The language of comedy, too, is something that the type of mindset that would make a person steal someone's bit and do it verbatim on stage is the exact opposite mindset of a creative person.
Because you want to do the different thing. You
Yeah.
want to do the unique thing. You want to have the
Yes.
take nobody else has.
Right.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is the banger.
Yeah.
When you go, well, hold on.
Yeah.
What about that? And everyone's
Yeah,
like, ah!
Yeah.
Who told them that? How come that just fucking stopped being an issue?
The beautiful thing about a joke is that, like, it always is existing right. The great ones are always existing right in front of us.
Yeah.
And we just haven't grabbed on it. So when somebody
Exactly.
says it, you're like, you motherfucker.
Exactly.
How did I not? Exactly.
That's the best feeling when someone has a bit. You're like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
That's the best feeling. Or when
Yeah.
someone comes up to you and goes,
Yeah.
oh my God, that
Yeah.
bit is so good.
And it can be simple.
Yeah.
It can be such a simple.
But that requires it. You're not thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
You're thinking about the work, the thing,
Yeah.
the piece that you're working on. When you're a person who thinks about themselves, like, I'm going to kill by saying these things
Yeah.
and I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
You're literally like blocking creativity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then when they have to be creative, it's terrible.
They just never learned.
They don't
They
don't
never
know how
spend
to
the
do
time
it.
in the gym. They don't know how to
No.
lift the weights. They just don't know what it is.
And they're pretending they're black belts.
Yeah.
They're out there pretending to be a black belt with
Yeah.
all the confidence of a black belt, but they got bullshit moves.
Yeah. And they get knocked out.
Yeah, they get fucked up.
No, that does happen.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's hilarious when you see a really bad special from a known thief.
the
And some of them, they'll still step on premises that they know other people have done, and it
Yeah.
still sucks because they can't steal anymore.
the language is the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
It's like,
You don't understand the language of comedy.
yeah, it is a fucking, and that's something I wonder, like the people who start really young, like, you know how like when you learn a language young,
Yeah.
you have a way greater aptitude for it, and there's a fluency and a comfort within it. Whereas if you try to learn a language at like 40, maybe it's just not going to be as strong. Like you can memorize vocabulary, you can do all these things. It's just a little bit harder for you to be.
Well,
like,
you don't have the
natural.
resources because you don't have, like, when you're 40, you have bills and family and obligations
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things that are bothering you all day long.
Yeah.
When you're 15 or 12, you don't have any of those problems. You have a few problems with friends. You don't have any bills. Food's on dinner's available every night.
Yeah.
You're not worrying about how the electric stays on. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
give a
So
shit
you're
about
free.
that. You don't care. The internet's on. I type
Yeah.
in.
Explore.
You're
Yeah.
free. You have so little resources that are being allocated to all these different things
Yeah.
that when you're a person and you have a family and a mortgage and
Yeah.
a fucking business,
Responsibilities.
and this and that, and a neighborhood,
Yeah.
homeowners association,
Yeah.
fucking human resources at work,
Yeah.
and taxes, and you don't have the time to learn French.
Yeah, you better learn it before all that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much easier
Yeah.
if you learn it before all that. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, you're just not going to have the time to obsess about a thing.
And the obsession and like the purity when you really care about the thing you're talking about. Like, I don't know if you've went through times in your stand-up career where like there wasn't something you wanted to share. Did you ever go through stretches
Yeah, you have
like
nothing
that?
to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when
And-
you're young.
Yeah, and it's like, there was times where like I felt like I talked about all the things, and I had like a stretch before this last hour. I was like, man, what do I want to say? All right, I did the thing about abortion. I've done the thing about trans. I did all the things, and I'm like, I don't want to just be grabbing at a topic. I want
Right.
to really like feel strongly about something. And then
Actually be
wanna-
interested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I took like a little bit of time off before I actually felt something. And the funny thing is, when you feel strongly about something, it pours out. It's not hard. The jokes might not be good at first, but you can't wait to tell them and figure them out.
Right.
Trying to figure out a joke you don't care about is a
Right.
job.
Yeah.
It's not an art. That's
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah.
But when you care and it's fun and it's exciting and the stakes are fucking high and it could fuck up,
Yeah.
that I want to get on stage. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Give me another spot. How do I work
And
this
you
out?
try to figure it out in real time in
it's
front of
just-
a group of people.
Yeah, yeah,
And you
yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah.
elicit a specific response from them. It has to be humor.
You know what's so funny is like, you ever listen to a recording of like a new bit, and when you were on stage doing it, you're like, that crushed. And then when you listen back, you're like, oh, it did okay. But you were just so excited
Yes.
that it worked.
Yes.
That the excitement changed almost the way that you
Yes.
interpreted the crowd.
Yes.
And I don't know, for me, I'm like, oh, that means I really like this.
But
That mean-
also, that's the problem with old bits. You don't get enthusiastic about them
Yeah, yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
And the audience doesn't feel the enthusiasm from you.
and you're like, why is this not working?
Right. It's because you're not working.
Because it's not math. Like some people are doing like
Yes.
word problem jokes. At its core, it's not word problem. It's like those people got to connect to the way you feel about this thing.
Exactly.
And they'll pick up quick.
Exactly. Exactly.
And there's ways to trick the system with like Mr. X and all this kind of stuff. But if they can feel, they can sense that deep down you don't give a fuck.
Right.
They're not giving it up. And you got guys like Joey's a perfect example. It's like when he's fucking rolling,
Yeah.
he feels it.
Yeah.
It feels like he is equally passionate about it the first time he said it, and you get caught up. It starts
Yep.
becoming a joke.
Yeah. It's
just-
hypnosis.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're hypnotizing the entire crowd to think the way Joey thinks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what he's doing.
You're on like an emotional wavelength.
Yes.
And yeah, to me, that's like that's the highest form of it. Obviously,
Yes.
you want to have the structure, you want to have the jokes, and you want to have the Mr. X and all these things, 100%. But to me, I think those are almost like, that's like the icing and sprinkles on the cake. But the cake is built with how much do I really fucking care about this position?
Yes.
And sometimes the position is just me being naughty or silly or
Yeah.
absurd. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I got to fucking care about it.
Right. Yeah. It has to be important to you.
Yeah.
And they feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those, I don't know, those are the bits I always remember. They can be the silliest little fucking things, like little things Patrice would do about, the subway stopping. You saw that one where like, excuse me, someone's just been hit by the subway. There's going to be a delay. And he just stands there, and all of a sudden, he like moves his sleeve to look at his watch to see how late he's going to be to work. And it's just this little tiny thing, which is like, that's how we would feel in that moment. Like, just he didn't even need a punchline. It's just like, that guy's dead, turned into jelly on the tracks. He's like, 9:15, fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
yeah. How many of those can I make in my life?
Yeah.
That's to me.
And you always think that when you have a new bit, like, this is the last new bit. Like, I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah,
but you'll always have something to say. You just need the time.
Yeah.
You need the time and you need to think. And again, it needs to be something you're actually interested in.
Yeah.
So you have to find something you're actually interested in.
Yeah.
That's the difference between thieves. Like, that's
don't
why
have interest.
they don't have
They have interest in killing.
themselves.
Exactly.
They're interested in themselves.
How can I succeed?
Yeah,
how can I win?
sociopaths. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're usually always tearing down other comedians too,
Yeah.
which is always ironic.
Well, because they're projecting how they feel about themselves.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. But it's also fascinating that there's still a few thieves out there that have managed to like slip through and they're existing around us. We're all aware of them. Like, there's one. There's one. Look at him over there.
Why do you think that there are more people that don't call them out then?
Because there's definitely career
Implications.
consequences. Yeah. You know, like some of these people wind up being successful and they hire people. That's one of the things they love to do. Thieves will hire a bunch of other thieves when they get a television show, and they'll have thieves like a thief will hire a bunch of comedians, I should say, when they get a television show, and they give them work and they support them. And then this is like, then you have a bunch of people that'll defend you. Like, that's very common.
And because you're paying them.
Exactly. Like, the thieves will go out and get a bunch of people that maybe they swipe some bits from and they'll put them on their television show. Yeah, I know people have done that.
So
And
that's
then
their way
you
of almost
co-op
like paying
them back.
for silence.
Paying them back. Yeah. Hooking them up, paying them back. I'll give you examples after the show.
Okay.
We don't need to be negative,
Yeah.
talk about people, but there's a bunch of that I know.
But you know, there's also a bunch of people that are killing it that we know are pure.
Yeah.
And having this like amazing successful run right now because of the internet, because of streaming platforms that are leaning into really good comedy and not comedy that like fits a certain narrative.
Yeah.
And I think those people, if I look at the people who are having the most success right now, I think it's the people that are pure. And
There's a lot of that. Yeah.
I mean, we can talk after, but the people that I see crushing it, the people I'm looking at, and I'm just like, holy shit, this guy deserves, like Shane deserves it.
Yeah.
And he's just hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these people and I'm just like, that could have went a different way.
100%.
Like it could have went a really different way.
Yeah.
But the structure was set up in a way where he had another opportunity, and with his second chance, demolished anything that could have stood in his way.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I look at that and I go, okay, there is some justice in this.
It's also like people are in his corner.
Yeah.
They want him to succeed.
Yeah. Well, when
And they
you're
know that
good,
he's
people
doing the
want to
work.
fight for you.
Yeah. This is a great time for comedy, man.
Yeah.
I think it might be the best time ever.
Of
I
course.
really do. I think this is legitimately the golden age of comedy.
We're in it.
And this is also when, like, Ari said it best. It's like, comedy's dangerous now. Because it's fun. Because comedy's dangerous again.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, there's so many people that want to restrict what people can and can't talk about. That's unique.
I feel like the restriction is less now.
Really?
Yeah.
Right now, currently.
Like in today, I feel like we can kind of say anything.
As opposed to like 2 years ago.
5 to 2 years. Like now you're like, oh shit, this joke is wild to say.
Well, it's also people are wanting you to go out there. They get excited, like when you did that Diddy bit.
Yeah.
Like people wanted you, they wanted you to go out there. They're like, "Oh, he went right in there. Oh, Jesus Christ!"
I remember I got to LA a day early and I was trying to like work out some like local stuff because sometimes it's fun to just you're in a city you
Right.
like and I was at the store and I was bombing my ass off with local shit. Every local joke I tried to do just fucking bombed, and I was like, "What the fuck am I going to talk about at the forum?" Like everything I try, and I thought that they were like aware that like the city was, in a different state than it used to be. And I'm trying to write all these jokes about like what's happened to the city. And people in LA don't really feel the city's changed that much. That's like an outside perspective. So I'm saying it and they're kind of laughing, but they're like, or they're aware and they don't want to admit it.
Right.
And I remember I was just in the green room. I'm just like, fuck, maybe the joke is about Diddy. That's the only thing everybody's talking about. That's it's on our minds.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And then, bro, this is how funny 50 is. I'll share this.
Can you?
Yeah. I'll tell you the full thing after, but
Okay.
I got FaceTime from 50, and he's like, yo, next time he goes, yo, next time I come see you, bro, I'm gonna come out on stage with a Maltese cat. I'm like, bro, you the craziest motherfucker. Imagine him walking out on a show, petting a fucking cat.
So what do you think was going on?
With who? Meek and Diddy? I don't think Meek's gay. I don't think anything's happened with them. I think that was just like a funny rumor that happened. I even said
It's
that when I
fun.
first did the Meek joke. I was like, I don't think he's gay. He just handled the accusations poorly.
Yes.
Like he just handled them
He said,
horribly.
I love pussy. Which
Who
is
does
like,
that? That's the gayest thing.
Yeah, it seems gay.
But I don't think
Yeah.
he's gay. But yeah.
But that's just an unsophisticated approach to PR.
like his
yeah.
PR team's probably like, hey, maybe don't
You've
say
got to
that.
do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, he's probably not consulting with anybody.
Yeah.
If I had to guess. Nobody
what I would
consults
say.
with you when something happens. You just post whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have like a team
Yeah.
telling me don't say that before the podcast. That would be a problem.
Yeah, it would be. It would be.
Yeah. I would have never gotten anywhere.
Yes. Yeah. We need you to not have a
Yeah.
team, actually.
Yeah. It's actually kind of important. You don't have a bunch of people you consult with about what could be dangerous.
Because then who controls them? What are their
Yeah,
intentions?
exactly. And what are they doing this based on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, self-preservation. Yeah, yeah. It's just wild that apparently he had cameras in every room of his house. That's what they're saying. Has that been verified?
I don't think it's been verified, and I think like the Epstein shit, it never will be. Now, I'm not saying that he's like Epstein. I think that he could have some fucking wild parties, et cetera. And
But if he was filming everybody,
if he's
dude's-
filming everybody, I understand why Hummer showed up to the house. Because people
Yeah.
who went to the parties were like, get those fucking things.
hundreds of hidden cameras discovered in Diddy's homes. Lawsuit says.
Oh, well then it's a wrap. Done.
Hundreds.
Yeah, we'll never see any of that footage.
This dude had hundreds of cameras. That is so crazy.
Because if he's doing wild shit,
A court filing, Jones said he worked with Combs between September 22nd and to September of 2022 and September of 2023 to produce the rapper's most recent release. So he said hundreds of cameras in his homes in L.A., New York, and Miami.
and did he like to throw the parties? Like he would throw the white party. He'd do,
But who's he have taking care of that footage?
you can get people.
Wow.
Powerful dude. He's a powerful dude, and I think he really enjoyed
crazy,
power.
The underage people implicating people in crimes by bringing underage people to them. And
Wait, what does that mean?
that was the whole thing about the Epstein place, is that like if you've got underage girls and you don't tell these guys these are underage girls, and
Yeah.
then you get them drugged up, get them drunk, give them coke, whatever it is, and then film them
Yep.
while they don't even know.
So they don't know that they're committing acts of pedophilia.
Could be, or could be they do know and they think it's safe to do it because this
Right.
guy's protecting them. But
Right.
meanwhile, they're just coked up and they're getting filmed,
Yeah.
which is also the theory.
Yeah.
But it is, you got to think, when someone becomes, when someone becomes like a wild billionaire character,
Yeah.
you're like, well, where's the pussy?
Yeah.
Where's the shit that I got rich for?
You imagine you went to the
Where's
island.
all the fun?
Yeah.
I need to, like, how do I get the fun? And
Yeah.
then someone comes along like, you need to get connected with my friend Jeffrey Epstein. He takes care of everything, and he brings the fun. And so you just keep flying to hang out with them, and so that's your partying. You can't go to Vegas and go to Dre's and pick up hoes and get crazy and bring them back to your suite with coke, and people talk too much.
So here's the thing. It's like these tech guys have made all this money,
Right.
right? They made all this money. They're hanging out in Miami or wherever they're hanging.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, I'm a billionaire now. Why am I not getting pussy? I got to connect with some people that can make me the man. I thought I'd be the man now that I'm a billionaire.
I bet in like the CEO world
Mm-hmm.
and in that world of country clubs and fucking Skull and Bones, there's dudes who know how to get the hookers.
Oh, here's the thing. It's not even the Skull and Bones guys.
Right.
Because that's like old WASP shit.
Right,
I'm
right,
talking
right.
about the nerd from
Even
Silicon
nerds.
Valley.
The nerds know prostitutes.
So
the
it's-
nerds have coke.
It's not even the nerds. They have a guy it's their job to throw
fixer.
the parties. It's the fixer.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you know, like these like jet setter crews. My boy was explaining how this thing works to me. So they have these like events around the globe that like wealthy people go.
Like Davos.
But not even Davos. More just like New York Fashion Week and the U.S. Open. All
Okay.
happens around Labor Day
Right.
in New York, right? So everybody who like comes from money and all these like rich socialite people from around the world, they all come to New York for that week, right?
Right.
And they go to the nice parties and they do all the things. Tech bros or the crypto bros want to be included in that cool thing.
Right.
How do they be included? They got to throw the best party. How do you make the best party? You have to have all the models. You have to have the cool people.
Right.
They don't know any of those.
Right.
So you get the fixer. The fixers get paid crazy money from the tech bros or crypto bros because they want in on this thing.
And you develop a reputation of being the guy who puts on the crazy bashes.
Now,
Right.
once you have that reputation, they think they're in. All these other people who are like the socialite people who come from tons of money and their parents are lords and shit, they look at them like, oh, you're paying to play. It's a bringer show for comedy. You're not really selling out Carolines. You did the bringer show.
Right.
But they don't know that. So they're like, yeah, we're all partying. We're doing the thing. So there's this whole economy that kind of like feasts off these people who just have money. But here's the thing. Those people are doing the fixers. They got the models to show up. These models are curating their Instagram by going to these parties around the world. Sometimes they're getting paid to go to the parties. I imagine the models that are more fun, in other words, they get a little loose, they like to party, they like to fuck a little bit, they get invited more.
Yeah.
The ones that are less fun, maybe a little bit more tight, they don't get invited as
Right.
much. So you don't even have to say, yo, you got to fuck these guys. You just want to know if you want to get invited to this nice party in Switzerland.
Right.
You know what kind
And you start doing a little blow, start doing a little molly. That's what you like to do in the first place. And then you get to party on yachts, and you're hanging out with all these guys, and maybe they
everybody's-
even pay you.
Well, they are paying them.
Yeah.
And everybody's fucking
Maybe
the
it's a
same
lot of
girls.
money.
It's a lot of money.
Like, you know the Sultan of Brunei's deal?
What is it?
Oh, my God. Sultan of Brunei, he had his own nightclub. Maybe he still does.
Okay.
So he had his own night. He has like 500 Ferraris. Like these guys have insane
wealth.
amounts of money because it's not public.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't have to be
they're
like
not
the
on
world's
Forbes
richest
lists or
men.
anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they're richer than everybody.
Yeah.
Right. They have trillions.
Yeah.
And so he had his own nightclub.
Okay.
And so what he would do is he would pay actresses. He would find these girls, get me her, and he would get these gals and give them exorbitant amounts of money to come. And then he would have a nightclub where it was only him. And he would go down there and it's filled with gorgeous women. And he would go down there and just go, you, come with me. And then they'd go fucking party. And they were making a lot of money. And one of them was writing a book. And so she had a laptop, and she was like documenting all. They confiscated her laptop, and then she went back to America. That she spilled the beans, and she ratted out all the other girls that were doing it, and it kind of fucked up the whole thing. Because like A-list people were getting shit tons of money.
This thing
to go over
people
there and
we
party.
know.
Yeah, I don't say A-list, but
No.
people that you
models.
know. Yeah,
There's like
people you know of. And if you go there, you get millions of dollars.
Bro.
Like this lady had gotten millions of dollars in jewelry from him.
There's a service that apparently where like
I love that word.
apparently, right? Where
Allegedly.
like billionaires can fuck like Sports Illustrated models and shit, and like Victoria's Secret chicks that we've seen, and it's costs a lot of money. And they do it because it's like, hey, it's easier than going to do these shoots.
Right.
It's the easiest
and
money.
they don't want to tell anybody that they did it.
They don't, and also they're getting to fuck billionaires. They're not fucking some random crackhead.
Right.
They're gonna already fuck the billionaires, so it might as well make some fucking money doing it. And it exists now.
And you know about this, allegedly?
Allegedly, I may know people who have partaken. So it's like,
And they
this
can
exists.
Bang, like cover of Maxim.
I don't know the cover. I don't know what's going
Whatever.
on.
Just
You
some
know.
hot ladies that you are aware of.
But they're not just hot chicks that come from Russia, right? We're
Right.
talking about
Famous people.
that you would never think would even need to do that.
Right.
So just these are like the ecosystems that exist out there.
Well, it makes sense. If you're worth $200 billion and you
can't
give
fuck some
someone $1
random
million to fuck you, that is nothing. You make that in 5 minutes.
Sold under Brunei spending.
Okay, in 2001, Jeffrey was forced to auction off his personal possessions after using the country as a piggy bank, spending an average of $747,000 a day for 10 years, on top of the $17 billion in gifts to friends and family. The Sultan's true vulgarity was exposed. His brother also treats the country as an ATM, and it remains a crime in Brunei for anyone to ever discuss how the royals spend their money.
When you don't work for your money, how can you value it? Like if it just comes right out the ground, like how do you really think $10,000?
Bro, that dude is spending. How much was he spending a day?
So I was into the math.
That's so crazy. He lives in a palace with 1,788 rooms, 257 bathrooms, 5 swimming pools, a mosque, a banquet hall that holds 5,000 people, and a 110-car garage. When he turned 50, the Sultan built a stadium, invited Michael Jackson to perform in it, and paid him $17 million for 3 concerts. Jeffrey, 59, maintains a separate pleasure palace and once owned a 150-foot yacht called the Tits. He called his yacht Tits.
Nice.
He named his fenders Nipple 1 and Nipple 2.
Love it.
And he could never understand why others found that juvenile and crass. Here and abroad, the brothers are infamous for their sex parties and their harems composed mainly of underage girls.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Wild. Bro, that amount of money that he's spending, that is so crazy.
$3 billion plus. But that doesn't. That's it said it didn't include the $17 billion that he was giving out to people.
Wow.
It said up here too. Did you mention the Michael Jackson thing for his birthday?
Yeah.
Okay.
That dude's balling, son.
But yeah, these fucking things exist all over the place.
Crazy.
And it's the easiest money that these girls will ever make.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's so, if you've got that much money,
it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
They light it on fire.
And the money's coming every day. It's just stacking up. Giving someone $1 million to fuck. And the girl's probably like, wait, $1 million? Just regular sex? You're not going to shit on me? He's not going to give you the Cincinnati top hat? Or whatever the fuck.
Yo, I was asking, because when I was out there in Abu Dhabi, it's like I'm trying to understand some of the cultural nuances. But I had a joke about it. But I was asking about the Dubai shit. Did you send me that? Or you sent me the? I did a joke out there. But they told me that the Burj Khalifa has a separate sewage system because it wasn't connected to the sewage system of Dubai. So they have these poop trucks that take the poop out. Right?
Yeah.
And the joke I said is like, well, that's why they have to shit on the hooker's chest because it's not connected to the plumbing, right?
Yeah.
And but they were telling me like these interesting cultural things that happen out there, like with the license plates. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Where the lower the number, the more expensive it is.
Yeah.
And I go,
crazy expensive.
Yeah, millions of dollars for a number 3 license plate. And I'm like, why is that? And one of the kids who's from the royal family goes, you have to understand, like, when everybody has a G-Wagon or a Range Rover, it is not a big deal to have a G-Wagon or Range Rover.
Right.
And people have this need to show off.
Yeah.
But if everybody got the expensive shit, how else can you flex?
Right.
License plate.
Yeah. Wild. Also, crime over there, almost non-existent.
Yeah.
Go to Dubai and commit a crime. See how that goes.
Yeah.
Go to Abu Dhabi and commit a crime.
They've compartmentalized society. But yeah, they're strict, but it's also like, anybody there who's working has been there's a working class of people who do not really operate outside of working within the society.
Right.
And then everybody else there who's not part of the working class has money, so why would you commit crime?
There's also did you ever see the Vice documentary on some of the people that built Dubai?
No.
So some of the contractors, what they would do is they would go to third world countries. They'd promise people exorbitant amounts of money to go over there and work construction. Then they'd bring them over to Dubai and then take their passports and then force them to live in squalor, give them a fraction of what they paid, and they're basically indentured servants.
Yeah. So the working system is, I don't know how different it is from that even today, but basically like you work there for 11 months, you get 1 month off, you get paid very little money. It's not enough money for upward mobility. While you're there, you are working just to work and then send money back home to your family, wherever it is. You never will become part of society. So they have really curated a system where those people have no upward mobility. Now, I imagine the advantage of that is there's no crime. Because everybody who's poor there is working.
And they know their place. They're in danger. It's not simple. It's not like you
And
can just
we're
get away
taking
with
you from
things.
destitute poverty where
Right,
your
right.
family would die. So
Right.
they're like, yeah, we're giving you an opportunity. These people are like, well, if I fuck up here, my whole family dies back home, or my whole family starves, or my whole family is going to go through some horrible situation.
Yeah.
So I'm the lifeline for my family. So they are taking advantage of that desperation.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, I guess what they would dictate, they would say the benefit of that is no crime. But there is a social cost of that. There is
Yeah.
a subclass of people that are there.
There's always going to be a social cost when you have monarchies.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and then you have people with exorbitant wealth and all the power. And then, some of them turn bad, like Saddam Hussein and his sons,
Yeah.
which were famously some of the most evil motherfuckers that ever existed.
Yeah.
I mean, they would feed women to dogs. They would find women that were getting married, steal the woman
Yeah.
from the marriage, rape her, and then feed her to dogs.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. Uday and Kusei. There's been many tales written about how evil they were. I mean,
That-
they were like
that is also-
legitimate serial killers.
That's the risk of the monarchy, right? Is
Yeah.
that you don't know if that egg that comes out is good.
Well, it's also like having a child that grows up with total, complete power. You're
Yeah.
going to have a Joffrey. I mean, that's,
Sometimes
that's the archetype.
But maybe you get what is the guy that everybody thinks said everything great?
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is it-
Well,
I don't
he
know.
did a lot of psychedelics.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a part of the Eleusinian Mysteries. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a part of that whole Greek Eleusinian Mysteries thing. Yeah. Yeah, he was involved in those ceremonies. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that ancient Greek society, specifically from Brian Murarescu's work. Did you ever talk to him?
No, but I read some stuff about there's certain plants that grow that elicited the same chemical compounds as DMT or
As
something.
LSD.
Or LSD, yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of different ones that do like all kinds of different psychoactive ones, but they've absolutely found definitive proof of the use of ergot. And ergot is a fungus that gives people the same sort of psychedelic experience as LSD.
Ergot?
Ergot. Yeah, it's a fungus. It's also a fungus that they connect with the Salem witch trials. 'cause
Like a
one of the-
mushroom?
it's a fungus that grows on wheat, and that fungus it can be toxic for some people. It can kill them at certain doses, but it also imparts an LSD effect. And they found ergot in some of the wine vessels.
So they were taking it without even knowing.
No, they were taking it on purpose.
Oh.
What is this? A heroic Greek potion.
Ergot was in this drink.
The kykeon. Yeah, that's what they called it, this drink. And so they believed this drink contained a mixture of a bunch of different psychedelic compounds. One of which for sure they know is ergot, but there's a few other ones that I can't remember that they know are in there as well. And they found this from studying these ancient pottery vessels.
Your saucer looks like a mushroom. Is that on purpose?
I don't think so, but it could.
But if your whole idea is,
Yeah.
that this
Saucers and mushrooms do have a lot of similarities.
But the stoned ape theory is if the mushrooms that took us
Yeah.
to the next level, and now we have the aliens taking
Yeah.
us to the next level.
It might be the aliens brought us the mushrooms.
Well, there we go.
Who knows?
Anyway, but yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So then he was taking all that, and that's
So
why
they
all
were
this
all
wisdom.
Well, that's why he was so beyond wise, and he also believed in forgiveness, even forgiveness of his enemies. He was a Roman emperor.
No, he was very compassionate. He has all these great quotes. I guess what I assume is like in the same way that somebody is writing Obama speeches, people were writing his stuff. So I imagine that his stoicisms or whatever are the collection of the greatest ideas of the time, and the way to disseminate that information is to be like, yo, it's from the emperor, it's from the top boss.
Part of it, but Meditations, I don't believe was ever written with the intent of it being distributed.
Oh, so they just found this diary of his.
Find that out. I think that's
I'm not trying
the
to
case.
discredit him. I'm just trying to
No,
say
I know
that,
what you're
like,
saying. Well, for sure, definitely he did. I mean, everybody at any point in time has the information of the greatest minds they've encountered.
of course, Einstein was talking
Yeah.
to other great people, and then he might have had
Yeah.
the greatest mind, but he's still able to.
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
and including with philosophy, and certainly back then. But this one guy, his experiences to this day they resonate. You read Meditations today, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a guidebook to how to live your life in a
Yeah.
better way.
Yeah. And it's
real.
rare that you would have someone in his circumstance where he was raised to be king.
Exactly.
Then he would be successful.
Yeah, and then his son turns out to be a cunt.
But didn't they say that was because of the lead pipes or something like that?
I'm sure that had something to do with it.
There was something about
Yeah.
like I was reading, or was it Nero? Who was the? There was one emperor that just went crazy, And they said is he wasn't raised in the castle, he wasn't raised in the forum or whatever the fuck it was. And then when he moved there and he started consuming the water from the lead pipes, that they started to warp his brain, and then he went more and more crazy throughout. I mean, this is what some tour guide told me.
Totally
in-
makes
in
sense.
Rome. But yeah,
they
of
didn't
course.
know what lead did to you.
No, they were stoked to have pipes.
George Washington's teeth were made with lead.
Yeah.
You know, that's that Shane Gillis
Oh, it's
bit.
a great bit.
It's a fucking
It's a
banger
great
of a
bit.
bit. I
Yeah.
love that bit.
Yeah.
But that's true.
Yeah.
The literal mold that his teeth were fitted into was
Yeah,
lead.
yeah.
He carried lead in his mouth all day.
Yeah.
Just nuts.
Wild boy.
Wild boy.
Wild boy.
Yeah. But the country was founded by wild, crazy
You
fucking
kind of
people.
need a crazy motherfucker to found a country. It's,
Yeah.
It's not like the most sane thing to be like, yo, let's just thwart the whole system, do something completely different.
Yeah.
We'll do it on our own.
Not only that, but have this fail-safe method that exists today to keep someone from becoming a tyrant.
Oh, to relinquish the power.
Yeah.
That was the greatest thing. Yeah, I think that might have been the greatest thing a leader has ever done.
Yeah.
To set in motion this idea that you are not going to maintain this power after you have it.
Yeah. No one can.
What a fucking...
Pretty amazing
Does
that they
he- has
had
he-
the
did-
foresight.
Did he write about it at all? Like, like, is there a moment where he regretted it 2 months later? He's like, man, I should have kept that shit. Like he's got to deal with a parking ticket or something. He's like, fuck.
After he gets out of office, this
Yeah.
is bullshit. I could put my horse here. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's
imagine
just-
if someone tried to form a country today, how quick they'd put the kibosh on that.
I mean, it happens all the time.
yeah, but if somebody like went to some new, like Greenland or something, and just said, we're going to set up shop here.
Yeah. The powers that be go, no.
No, the
We
chance.
don't do new
Are you going to
countries.
have weapons?
Yeah.
What?
Fuck that.
You going to make an army?
Yeah.
The fuck out of here.
Yeah.
We're going to find a reason why you guys are whatever you are.
Yeah.
Pedophiles,
I think you're
racists.
racist.
Yeah, whatever the
You
fuck
hate
you are.
women.
Yeah, we're going over there. Yeah, we got to stop this. Yeah, we
Yeah.
got to figure out a way to invade.
When are we going to take Greenland already? Or buy it?
Wasn't Trump talking about buying it? He made a tweet. I promise I
loved it.
won't do this. And he had like a giant Trump tower there that said Trump on the ceiling. He's
But
like,
it sounded like a cool acquisition.
yeah.
Like,
It
don't they
seems
have
like
all
it's
these minerals and
available.
stuff? And there's all these great...
Also, if the world does warm up, that's a good spot to go to.
Ah.
Yeah, well, you know, throughout history, when the world's gotten colder and warmer, people have moved away from the
From the
places where you
equator
can't
and-
live in,
yeah,
and moved
yeah.
to the places where you can live.
So we got a nice little fail-safe.
Yeah, a little something,
Imagine.
a little something.
We're just all in Greenland.
Well, there was discussions about Trump buying Greenland.
Yeah. Because it's got a lot of, I don't know.
Why didn't that happen?
I think Greenland shut it down. Isn't
For sale?
isn't Greenland
Isn't
owned by Denmark or something like
Everything for sale.
that? Yeah.
Come on. Are you sure? I just didn't get the right offer.
That might be the offer.
Yeah.
But we've made some good deals. Like that fucking Louisiana Purchase was a good deal.
What a crazy deal.
I mean,
How about Alaska? That's a crazy
yeah,
deal.
Alaska was nuts.
Since 1867, the United States considered or made several proposals to purchase the island of Greenland
From Denmark, yeah.
from Denmark, who did it with the Danish West Indies in 1917, while Greenland remains an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. A 1951 treaty gives the United States much control over an island once partially claimed from exploration. There's got to be all kinds of shit up there that they could use.
Yeah. What do you think about Antarctica?
Well, did you ever see that one guy that was on the Sean Ryan show that claims that there's like a direct energy weapon
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
Antarctica? Boy, that guy seems overconfident.
Yeah.
That he knows what he's talking about. He's a fireman. He's not a scientist.
I had
It's like-
access to everything.
yeah, there's something about that that doesn't sit right with me, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, also, you know, it's so hard unless you have evidence. Like, unless you could show that they could turn this thing on.
Right.
And what is it? It's a neutrino detector that also can be used as a directed energy weapon.
That's it. Directed energy weapons is what they were saying.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's a concept that existed for a long time. I'm sure they probably have something like that.
Yeah.
They definitely have things that were just theoretical. They have a rail gun now, and this rail gun can go through multiple layers of steel. Have you ever seen the railgun in operation?
No.
It's crazy. A railgun, just like from Quake. This thing sends this bolt through, like, I think they did like 10 giant steel plates in a row, and it just went through all of them like it was hot butter.
But is it a laser? What is the material that's actually going through
I
it?
don't know exactly how it works. So this is the thing. So this is the rail, this bolt going through all this steel.
Jesus.
Look at this. It just goes through everything. goes through all that shit.
So what
Look at
stops
it
it?
going through it. Just going through everything, man. Look at that. I mean, it's like total science fiction Star Wars type shit.
Yeah.
So they've got some wild shit, and I guarantee they're working on direct energy weapons as well. Now, what they've been able to accomplish versus what is theoretical, that's the real question. And if it did exist, if there was a direct energy weapon, would they tell us? I don't think they would.
No.
Why would they tell us?
No. I mean, the conspiracies out there get wild. Like there's pyramids there. You've seen that one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you also start digging, they say nobody can like dig under the ice. Like don't mess with the ice out there. I think there's like a treaty across all like countries that have somehow like taken apart or claimed a part of Antarctica. But I think the tricky thing is like if you start digging and you find animal remains, like humans tend to follow animals wherever they go.
Yeah.
So are we going to find some humans over there? And then how does that distort the
Right.
historical timeline?
Well, they found a spaceship down there.
Oh, Joe, now we're
Yeah.
getting into
Well, that was the thing. One of the things that Lazar said is that one of the vehicles was a part of an archaeological dig.
But
They
not,
found it in an archaeological dig.
but not in Antarctica.
No,
It was
he
in
didn't
North
say
America,
where. He
right?
didn't say where.
Oh.
He didn't say where. But he said one of the ships they recovered from an archaeological dig, and they think these things have been around for a long, long, long time.
So then
The people that
yeah.
work with them, like Diana Pasulka, who wrote what was it, Encounters? She said that they refer to them as donations. These crashed UFOs, they don't even necessarily think of them as crashed. They think they kind of like let it crash. They're donations for us to back engineer, that we're supposed to take them and go figure this out. And that this is something that helps our technological evolution. And there's a lot of people that point to like the creation of fiber optics, that it all kind of happened right after Roswell, and that there's these descriptions of fiber optics that existed in the crafts they found at Roswell.
So they're looking at us like we're looking at the orangutan.
Yeah, here's a
And they're
stick.
like, yo, he's
Figure out how to
figuring it out.
fish. Go fish with that stick.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that would be a good way to accelerate technologies, to just introduce something to them and go back engineer that.
yeah.
Figure that out.
I mean, isn't that how we do it now?
Yeah. Well, that's what Lazar had said they were doing with him in Area 51,
Yeah.
in S4. He was saying, but they didn't know exactly how these things worked. They didn't know how to recreate it, and they wouldn't let the scientists talk to other scientists.
Yeah.
He's like, science doesn't exist in a vacuum like that.
Yeah.
You need a collaborative effort of a bunch of different people. And also different scientists that were working on the thing weren't allowed to talk to each other.
But that's a military thing, right? For
Yes,
privacy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
A compartmentalization thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for top secret clearance.
Yeah.
But he was the guy that was saying that they were also telling him that we are a farm of souls.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that the people that know about it say you can't tell people because they would freak out.
Yeah.
There'd be riots in the streets. I mean, that was just, someone just recently said something like that. It was
Yeah.
one of the recent conversations between some top official. They were saying if real disclosure happened and people knew exactly what was going on, there'd be riots. People would be freaking out.
I think we'd be okay now.
Well, who knows?
I think we'd be all
If
right.
we found
now.
out that we really are just vessels for souls and that we're being farmed by some super intelligent species that we will eventually become.
The farm thing is tricky, but that we're being groomed
Yeah.
to become this super intelligent species, and it takes time, and we have
Yeah.
to get there slowly.
Yeah.
Um,
That
yeah.
makes sense.
I
That
like
tracks.
the theory. Yeah.
That tracks that you would just kind of let us figure it out and let
And
us go.
nudge us
and
in the
just-
right direction.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
There you
that
go.
the aliens would show up once we started detonating nukes.
Because it's like, whoa,
Like,
that's a
okay,
different direction.
Yeah. Okay, guys, stop that. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
we
can do
haven't
all
done
your
it since?
nonsense and do all your regular conventional warfare, but as soon as you start going atomic, we're going to start talking. Yeah. We're going to let you know. You're not the boss.
Quite
We're the
benevolent,
boss.
these aliens, huh?
Well, also maybe recognize that this process has to take place and you can't hold their hand, you know? Teach a man to fish. He'll fish for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Give a man a fish, he eats for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teach him.
You might meet him one day, Joe.
Yeah.
You might meet him one day.
I
And
might
then,
already have meet him.
will we believe you?
Don't believe me. I'll lie. It's the one thing I'll lie about. I don't lie about anything. I will lie to everybody about that.
Joe's
I go,
already
I
met him.
don't
That means
know
he's already met
nothing.
him.
I don't know shit. I think it's all fake. It's all Russian propaganda. We need to support Ukraine. Meanwhile, there's fucking things in this room with us right now. observing from other dimensions.
Fuck.
Yeah, just making sure we're on the general path towards technological progression, which is what eventually gives birth to it.
So they're
us.
yeah, but
They're
they're
what every intelligent species eventually becomes.
but they're basically on a further timeline. They're
Yeah.
So they're influencing their own timeline.
They're influencing a similar species to evolve to hit their level of technological
And they feel like that is
sophistication.
their duty.
I think that's just what happens.
Yeah.
That's probably what happens in the universe, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, look, when we go to visit primitive societies,
Yeah.
we bring the wells.
Oh, that's true.
We start creating
Yeah.
electricity for them. We teach them how to farm. Yeah. That's what we do. It just makes sense that they would do that, especially if they're beyond advanced, like incomprehensibly more advanced than we are. They would slowly help us do it right.
Yeah.
And stop us from making catastrophic errors.
And we're fun. We're like dogs in a way.
yeah.
Like dogs are fun. You want to teach them how to sit
Fun.
and shit outside. And,
Also, like, look at them go.
yeah.
Look at these people.
We create some good stuff.
Yeah, look at them making drones and shit. This
Yeah.
is wild.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing. Rail guns and shit. Look at these psychos. Hypersonic jets.
Yeah.
Look at them go.
And still cage fighting.
Yeah. Still
we've got it
still
all.
slap
We've
fighting.
got the whole. Yeah.
Slap fighting. Slap fighting is like,
Dude.
that's the bottom.
When that comes onto the alien's desk. Wait, they're doing what?
Slapping.
They can't defend each other.
They have to stand there.
Yeah.
Do they know about brain damage? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people that host it also host MMA.
Yeah, they know everything
is-
about it.
They know everything about brain damage. And they just say, look, sign up at the dotted line. You can ride a bull. You can fucking dirt bike ride. You can
Yeah.
get slapped.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want in this country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty great.
that's probably what the aliens are like. Jesus Christ. They probably look at slap fighting and go, oh, my God.
Yeah.
Someone try to tell them not to do that.
Yeah. America's like the way that we look at Trump, they look at America. You know what I mean? We're like the guy's fucking crazy, but he's funny as hell.
Right.
That's them. They're just
Right.
looking at us like they invented what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a bunch of psychos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe all advancing civilizations are psychos. Maybe they all eventually have to become integrated with technology to escape the boundaries and the walls that are set up by their biology.
Yeah.
Because your biology has allowed you through in a natural environment to achieve a place where you could be detached from the natural environment with cities and buildings and structures and electricity and power and technology and weapons that allow soft, fleshy water balloons filled with blood to go out there and kill grizzly bears from 100 yards. Boom! And just stand next to them. Look at me. Look what I did. You know, it's wild, but it seems like that is the only way you get to be sophisticated enough to create technology.
Yeah.
You have to have controlled your environment enough where you've stopped all the enemies and
Yep.
stopped all the predators.
Egypt.
Yeah.
Like in order to build those pyramids, you need a long time of safety.
Yeah.
You can't build them at the same time that you're at war.
Right.
You're being attacked. There's
Right.
famine. There's no water.
Right.
You need long,
Thousands of years.
thousands of safe,
Yeah.
and food and abundance, and then you need a thing for people to do so they don't kill each other. Keep them busy.
Yep. Keep them busy.
Build.
Keep them from fighting over power. Yeah.
What if it was that simple?
Who knows what it was with those folks? Because I think they were probably more sophisticated than we are today. It's just the only thing that makes sense to me, that they were able to get these multiple ton stones down from the mountains with no road system.
That's the tricky. What is it? The Aswan Valley that they got the stones from for the pyramids in Giza. That is a really tricky.
It's all tricky.
Thing to
Some of them
consider.
were from 500 miles away.
Yeah.
They were 80 tons.
Yeah.
They got them out of the mountains. They moved
Yeah.
them down. They cut them perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, what did they do? How did they do it? What are the machines?
Yeah.
What was the technology? Was it no technology? Really? Are you sure? Is it just based on what? Our understanding currently
Yeah.
of what happened 12,000 years ago, which is
Yeah.
like not that good?
Yeah.
No, we have a piecemeal understanding, like a very just minute understanding of what was possible back then, based on the evidence of the result of what was possible,
Yes.
which is the pyramids, which is bananas.
And we're also trying to explain it with theories that we've kind of accepted to be fact that are really not that much. Like this idea that it was all done with like the chisels and stones. I don't necessarily subscribe to that.
Yeah,
'cause-
says who?
Yeah.
All they would have to do is find one piece of machinery that didn't exist before they could understand. And they've found things before that they didn't know existed and they
Yeah.
couldn't understand. Like, what is that mechanism? The antitheric, what is it called? There was a computer that they found, this computer in gears. It was in a Roman
Yeah.
ship that had sank to the
Thank-
bottom of the
yeah,
ocean.
Yeah.
Was the
Yep.
Antikythera mechanism.
Yeah.
So this thing, it's an ancient Greek. Go back to that, please, so I could read that. It's an ancient Greek hand-powered orrery, a model of the solar system, described as the oldest known example of an analog computer. And it's used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses decades in advance. It also could be used to track the 4-year cycle of antithetic games.
Athletic games.
Athletic, make it a little larger. Athletic games, similar to the Olympiad,
Wow.
the cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. The artifact was among the wreckage retrieved from a shipwreck off the coast of the Greek island of how do you say that? Antikythera? Antikythera. How do you say it?
Antikythera.
Antikythera in 1901. In 1902, it was identified by archaeologist Valerio Staes as containing a gear. The device housed in the remains of a wooden frame case of uncertain overall size, 34 centimeters by 18 centimeters by 9 centimeters, was found as one lump, later separated into 3 main fragments, which are now divided into 82 separate fragments after conservation efforts. 4 of these fragments contain gears, while inscriptions are found on many others. The largest gear is about 13 centimeters in diameter and originally had 223 teeth. All these fragments of the mechanisms are kept in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens, along with the reconstructions and replicas to demonstrate how it may have looked and worked. See if we can find what the replica of what it looked like. But so they had to sort of like figure out how the fuck did they do this? Like, how did they know this? What's involved in this? Like, was this ancient technology that existed like a long time ago that they had preserved and held on to? Like, when was the creation of that thing? So there's things that we know that we didn't think that they could do.
Yeah.
That sort of really throw a monkey wrench to our understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just one. That's just one that they found. I mean, there could have been stuff from thousands of years before that just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You deal with erosion, you deal with time, and especially over thousands of years, 12,000 years. Boy, you have nothing left. There's no evidence of whatever these machines were.
It would be interesting to study like what happened to technology during the medieval ages. What is it called? What is it during the Black Plague or what was it called? Medieval ages? Was that the term?
Yeah, but during the plague.
During the plague, right? Where was there an erosion of intellectual property?
Right, because
Like,
people were dying off.
Exactly. People are
Right.
dying off, and do the physicists die? Like, because we always talk about this.
Right.
What happened when all the physicists die?
Right.
What happened when all the scientists die? So was there an erosion? Was there a step back in our ability to create things
That's a good
during that
question.
period? And if there was something that was even worse than that happened throughout history, i.e. like a asteroid or something hitting the Earth, well, that erosion would just be 10 times worse.
100 times worse.
But I'd like to
1,000
look
times
into
worse.
that.
Yeah.
Because you still see great works of art that happened during the medieval ages?
Yeah.
You see these great cathedrals go up. So there still were, I would imagine, they were maintaining their ability to create these great structures.
Right, but there had to be a dip in productivity.
So let's see what that dip
Yeah,
is and then
yeah.
multiply it by the catastrophe.
Right. Well, I think people were just like knocked back into the Stone Age. I think that's probably what happened.
That makes
And
sense.
that's why you see the emergence of written language and all these different things from Mesopotamia. Like that's 6,000 years later.
Yeah.
After the impacts, probably.
So it took that amount of time
Yeah.
to recover
Yeah.
and build back the knowledge set. And keep in mind, like the knowledge set isn't maintained with the efficiency that we have it now, right? Like you get a couple books that get destroyed and there
That's
it is.
a wrap.
Physics gone.
That's the
Chemistry,
Library
gone.
of Alexandria. They
Right.
burned the Library of Alexandria. And
Yeah.
they're like, everybody's like, what happened?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know.
the knowledge.
Take a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd they build this shit? We've burned it. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it is vulnerable. We take
Yeah.
it for granted. It is incredibly vulnerable.
Oh man, we're even more vulnerable now because everything's on hard drives. You know, so all it takes is the power going off, and we're fucked.
Yeah.
And how long would it take before the power gets back on? Boy, asteroid impacts, kills the whole grid. Everyone's knocked into the Stone Age for a couple hundred years. Yeah. Bro, you ain't getting into them hard drives.
Yeah.
You're never going to figure it out. And
Yeah.
although the hard drives will rot, the moisture in the air,
Yeah.
the erosion, they'll
Yeah.
slowly evaporate. Yeah.
And if somebody handed you a hard drive 2,000 years later, you would just think it was a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
You
What
have
is
no
that?
clue that all
It'd
the
be a lump.
information-
How about that
Yeah,
thing? That thing was
exactly.
just
So
a
we don't
lump
know what
of,
the fuck that
it was
does.
all corroded and
Yeah.
fucked up.
They don't know what it is. It's
Yeah.
the only one they've ever found, I think I'm reading.
Yeah.
This-
I mean, how many of them were there? It wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
They probably had a bunch of them. They probably have even better ones.
That's the question they're saying. Like, what if it was the only one?
It's a
Then
mystery.
what knowledge did it
There's no
have?
way it's the
It's
only
a fucking mystery, baby.
We love
But
it.
it's a fun time.
Oh, it's the best.
It's a fun time to be alive. As chaotic as it is, this is a really fun time to be alive.
Amen.
All right, my brother. I love you to death.
Love
You're
you
the
too,
man.
man. Thank you,
Thanks
brother.
for
You
being
too.
here.
My man.
I'm so happy to see you killing it. It's beautiful to watch.
Thank you
You're
for
out there
everything,
crushing
bro.
it. Come on,
Appreciate
man.
it. Appreciate you.
You're on top of it. I love it.
Thank you, man.
All right. Anything to tell anybody?
Go check out, if you want to come check out the tour, that'd be great. Life tour. We're coming to Austin, actually.
When are you coming?
April 16th, I think, or something like that. We're doing the Moody.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
That'd
All
be
right.
awesome. Come out to
All
that.
right.
Thank you so much.
My brother. Thank you. Bye, everybody.